He is reincarnated as a baby, and when he opens his eyes, the first thing he sees is a notification from an infinite evolution system. As long as he continuously trains any part of his body, that part becomes infinitely stronger. With every sip of milk, he becomes stronger. By the time he is 3 months old, he has already kicked his legs 10,000 times. At 4 months, he learns to crawl. By 5 months, he can already walk. At 6 months, he is already watching TV with his parents and finds out that in this world, there are 2 different kinds of superhuman powers. One is cyborgs and the other is gene fusers. Cyborgs strengthen their bodies through mechanical modification, while gene fusers gain abilities from mutated beasts by fusing with their genes. And humanity's enemies in this world are the various mutated beasts that start appearing around the world. Soon after, new neighbors move in next door. They also have a daughter named Shen Qinghan. This girl becomes his first friend in this world, but at that moment, he has no idea that their destinies will become tightly intertwined in the future. At 7 months, he learns to run and jump and even starts to speak. At 8 months, he begins doing sit-ups to train his abs, although he only dares to do this when his parents aren't around. But one day, he is accidentally caught by his mother. She rubs her eyes to make sure she isn't imagining things, and when she looks again, he is already pretending to be asleep. A few days later, during bath time, Zhang Wangshan notices her baby's tiny torso, defined abs showing faintly across his belly. Shocked, she screams for her husband. Lin Yansheng rushes in. His shock turns to excitement. He declares their son may be a once-in-a-generation talent, destined for greatness as either a cyborg or gene fuser. Hearing this, Zykan feels reassured. Inwardly, he even feels grateful. Having 2 web novel authors as parents might be the perfect camouflage for his abilities. Later, while watching the news with his mother, he sees a report of a 2-year-old prodigy from a martial arts family lifting a 20-kilo dumbbell one-handed. Hugging her son proudly, Zhang Wangsun insists her Zichen is just as extraordinary. In his heart, he wonders, will he be able to match that feat when he turns 2? That day came faster than expected. On his 2nd birthday, after countless secret hours of training, he enters the storage room, grips a 20-kilo weight, and lifts it with ease in one hand. Just as he's about to continue, his mother calls out that Shen Qinghan, nicknamed Han Han, has come to play. Startled, he sets the weight aside and rushes out. Their playtime, however, is far from ordinary. Though she is just a toddler, Zichen carries the mind of an adult. Over time, he discovers a clever method. Since Qinghan loves to cling to him, he uses her as a living, child-sized weighted vest during his workouts. Yet one recurring problem keeps interrupting him, like now, when he suddenly feels warmth soaking his clothes. Han Han has peed on him again. A year later, at 3 years old, Ziken's strength reached new heights. He can now casually lift a 40-kilo weight one-handed. One day, the television shows a 4-year-old prodigy lifting 30 kilos. Watching, Ziken smiles faintly. He already surpasses them. Still, despite his progress, his system stubbornly labels him as ordinary Tier 1. He can't help but wonder, what exactly must he do to break into Tier 2? Thinking, he steps outside his home for the very first time. The world beyond stuns him. It is a dazzling futuristic city. Among them are beast-like beings and cyborgs. He assumes these must be the gene fusers and mechanical ascendants he's heard of. He walks with his mother alongside their neighbors, Xu Meng and little Shen Qinghan, their destination, the library. Since his parents refuse to let him use electronic devices, he relies on books to uncover knowledge. Once there, his mother gently points him toward the children's section. But instead of colorful picture books, Lin Zichen wanders into the aisles stacked with advanced encyclopedias. Han Han trails close behind, worried he'll get scolded. Though, Xu Meng wonders why he's so drawn to difficult texts, while Zhang Wangxin simply shrugs and suggests it must be his genius genes. While Han Han offers him cookies, Lin Zichen stays deeply absorbed in the pages before him. Through these books, he uncovers the truth. All life is divided into 6 great biological levels. Ordinary, advanced, rare, epic, legendary, and mythical, each split into 9 tiers. Suddenly his own place becomes clear. Humans like his parents sit at the lowest rung. This revelation ignites his determination to train harder, grow faster, and climb beyond his current limits. Right then, his system pings with a new quest. Read 100 million characters. Thrilled by the chance to sharpen both mind and body, he accepts without hesitation. For the next year, he divides his time between relentless training and devouring books. By the time he turns 4, his hard work bears fruit. He and his friend walk hand in hand into kindergarten, guided by their teacher, Miss Jiangmei. Not long after starting school, Lin Zichen finally breaks through to ordinary Tier 2. His progress is astonishing as he can lift an 80-kilo weight with a single hand, leap 1.2 meters in the air, and sprint 100 meters in under 11 seconds. One day, he comes across a group of children circling Han Han, who is crying while being mocked as a bedwetter. Seeing his friend bullied, Lin Zichen knows he cannot stand by. He springs forward, landing in the center of the group with dramatic force. Fixing the bullies with a glare, he delivers a chillingly childish threat. If they ever pick on Han Han again, he will pee on their beds every single day. The children burst into tears and swear never to return to kindergarten. Half a year later, he completes his massive reading quest. After consuming over 100 million characters, he earns the Celestial Root of Wisdom. This grants him flawless eidetic memory and peak human learning abilities. Time races forward, and soon he and Shen Qinghan are nearly 7. Even during the long break, Lin Zichen never slows down. By now, he's strong enough to train with a 200-kilo barbell. His mind advances just as quickly. Boosted by his new attribute, he masters the elementary school curriculum far ahead of schedule. When he begins at Sunshine Elementary School, academic contests feel like child's play. Outside competitions, he spends his spare time tutoring Shen Qinghan. Though she lacks natural genius, her diligence shines. With his help, her grades soar, and by the end of the semester she ranks second in class, just behind Lin Zichen himself. To speed up his quests further, he throws himself into athletics as well. Just when he begins to think his school life will follow this predictable routine, something unexpected happens. A new transfer student arrives in class. The teacher introduces her simply as Bai. Lin Zichen senses something unusual, a faint but distinct aura unlike any ordinary human. Meanwhile, Shen Qinghan finds the girl very pretty. But Lin Zichen isn't distracted by appearances. His attention is fixed on that strange aura. Could she be a gene fuser, or perhaps the descendant of one? In the days that follow, Bai Jue remains an enigma. She keeps to herself, never speaking to anyone. When lessons end, she lays her head down on the desk and stays motionless, barely even going to the restroom. Soon, something disturbing happens. A thick white fluid begins leaking from her body, soaking through her clothes and dripping down her legs. The stench is unbearable. Students wrinkle their noses, muttering complaints. One boy takes it further, sneering at her misfortune. With a cruel laugh, he pours water from his bottle over her head, mocking her by saying he's washing her clean. Drenched and humiliated, Bai Shui trembles at her desk. Her fists clench as silent tears roll down her cheeks, while the bullies laugh even louder. From her seat, Shen Qinghan turns anxiously to Lin Zichen, whispering if they can do something. He had sensed danger from Bai's presence before, yet now, she's just a girl being tormented. That alone is reason enough. He steps forward without hesitation, seizes the ringleader, Guan Chun, by the collar, and with a sharp grin orders him to wipe down Bai Xue's desk. Terror flashes across Guan Chun's face. He stammers out his agreement. The other bullies, too frightened to resist, scramble for tissues, frantically cleaning every drop of water. When the desk is spotless, Lin Zichen gives one final command. They must all apologize to Bai Xue, right here, right now. Under his cold glare, the bullies crumble. Drenched in sweat, they bow their heads, mutter apologies, and swear never to bother her again before fleeing the room. As silence settles back over the classroom, Bai Xue slowly lifts her head. Her voice trembles with gratitude as she thanks both Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan. Han Han steps forward, gently resting a hand on Bai's shoulder. She tells her firmly that classmates should protect each other. From that moment on, she takes it upon herself to be Bai's friend, and drags Lin Zichen along with her. The three begin spending time together. Shen Qinghan in particular dotes on Bai, always offering her the best snacks first. One day, Bai hesitates when Qinghan offers her treats. With her eyes lowered, she softly asks if they aren't disgusted by her smell. That kindness feels too unreal to be true. Qinghan shakes her head with conviction. This isn't a dream, she says, because she knows what it's like to feel rejected, and she could never be disgusted. Smiling warmly, she declares that if Bai is willing, they'll be friends forever, and pulls Lin Zichen into the promise as well. Overwhelmed, Bai Xue bursts into tears and hugs her tightly, thanking them both. Once she calms down, she insists on giving something in return. From around her neck, she removes a necklace threaded with 2 beast fangs. She explains that it was a birthday gift from her mother, and now she wants it to be a symbol of their friendship. Qinghan accepts it joyfully. That evening, beneath the setting sun, the 3 children stand side by side and pledge to be friends forever. But one day, Qinghan is stunned to learn that Bai Xue has suddenly transferred out of school. When she asks Lin Zichen, he confirms it. He saw her signing the withdrawal papers himself. He remembers that scene vividly, standing at the door of the principal's office, watching as Bai Xue sat with the principal and a man he didn't recognize. The principal assured the man that her paperwork was complete and that her records would remain strictly confidential. That moment cemented Lin Zichen's suspicion. Bai Xue's identity was far from ordinary. And just like that, she vanished from their lives. He never saw her again. One evening at home, Lin Zichen stands behind his mother, massaging her shoulders as she sighs with relief, saying his touch feels perfect after a long day at the keyboard. Lin Zichen smiles inwardly. With the celestial root of wisdom, he has mastered professional-level massage techniques and realizes just how practical this gift can be. Suddenly, the television interrupts with breaking news. The anchor announces another astonishing feat by the Kyoto prodigy. At only 10 years old, the boy has already fused with aberrant beast genes. The broadcast shows him effortlessly hoisting a massive 500-kilo boulder with one hand. Lin Zichen recognizes him instantly and realizes with a jolt that his rival has already stepped into gene fusion. His father, Lin Yansheng, grumbles about the boy's constant appearances on television. Zhang Wangxin argues back, criticizing how cruel it is to experiment on a child. Lin Yansheng explains that the prodigy belongs to a 1,000-year-old martial arts clan, with access to advanced fusion techniques. While his parents argue, Lin Zichen's mind is elsewhere. He recalls how the boy could lift only 100 kilos before fusion. Afterward, his strength jumped 5-fold to 500 kilos. By comparison, Lin himself, only 8 years old and without fusion, can already lift 300 kilos one-handed. and he knows his potential goes far beyond the Kyoto prodigies. Before he can dwell on it further, the news shifts to an even grimmer report. A nearby city has been annihilated in a massive explosion, the result of a horrifying invasion. The footage shows endless hordes of monstrous aberrant rats swarming through the ruins. One grotesque rat seizes a screaming woman in its jaws and devours her alive. The anchors continue reporting that the catastrophe had been shown by heretics, an underground cult that manipulates aberrant beasts to strike against humanity. At a press conference, an official from Sakura country, the nation devastated by the attack, pleads for international aid. He denounces the heretics as traitors to humankind. Watching the news, Lin Zichen feels a surge of relief that he was born in a strong, stable country where he can quietly grow stronger. Suddenly, from outside, deafening sonic booms split the night sky. Alarmed, he rushes to the window and pulls back the curtain. The squadrons of heavily armed cyborgs are streaking overhead in formation. He wonders if something terrible has already begun. The next morning starts as usual. Our boy waits outside until his friend comes running as she apologizes for being late. As she arrives, his gaze shifts to the beast fang necklace hanging at her chest, the one Bai Jue had given them. To his shock, the pendant glows a vivid blue for an instant. This was no ordinary trinket, but the fang of an aberrant beast. Between the necklace's reaction and last night's cyborg deployment, danger feels closer than ever. On their way to school, they pass a street lamp where a striking woman leans casually against it. With a smile, she remarks on how cute they look together, asking if they're siblings. Before Lin Zichen can answer, Han Han proudly corrects her, saying they're childhood best friends. The woman smiles and says that she wishes she'd had such a bond. But then her tone changes as she leans closer, asking why the two of them are walking to school alone, and where their parents might be. Before Qinghan can respond, Lin Zichen firmly takes her hand and cuts in, and he pulls her away. Once they've gained distance, he stops to scold her gently, reminding her never to talk to strangers. She nods obediently. After school, Lin Zichen guides them along a shortcut through a deserted alley. Qinghan looks around nervously, whispering that the place feels eerie. He reassures her. It's only empty because the area is marked for demolition. But a familiar voice cuts through the silence. The same woman steps from the shadows, as she remarks that school must be over. This time, a hulking man looms behind her. Lin Zichen's heart sinks. He had deliberately chosen a different route, yet she still found them. She tries coaxing them closer with a promise of treats. But her partner Sheng quickly loses patience. With a cloth reeking of chemicals in hand, he charges forward, growling that they should just knock the children out and sell them. Acting on instinct, Lin Zichen shoves Shen Qinghan aside and steps up. His small fist clenches tight, every bit of strength condensed into one blow. He drives it straight into Sheng's face. In the next instant, Sheng's massive body is hurled backward, crashing into the alley with a howl of pain. The red-haired woman freezes. A child had just sent a grown man flying. On the ground, Sheng coughs violently, blood pouring from his mouth. Lin Zichen doesn't hesitate. He spins toward the woman, slams a punch into her stomach, then follows with a crushing uppercut to her jaw. He thinks of killing them both right then and there. Standing over their fallen bodies, Lin Zichen's expression hardens. But before he can act, the ground trembles violently. A colossal claw smashes through the side of a nearby building, scattering rubble. A monstrous aberrant rat emerges, towering over the alley. It ignores the children, its focus locked on the unconscious woman. With one swift swipe, its claws sever her head cleanly. Knowing how dire this is, Lin Zichen scoops her into his arms. He tells her what they face, a giant aberrant rat, and that they must run. Without hesitation, he bolts, carrying her as they flee the collapsing alley. Behind them, the night sky splits again. A blur of red and gold streaks downward. A female cyborg with blonde hair and rabbit ear attachments gleaming on her helmet. She dives with breathtaking speed. The cyborg lands behind the monster, her gauntlet lighting up as she arms her weapon. A barrage of projectiles launches in rapid succession, exploding in a fiery storm that engulfs the rat. Lin Zichen shields Qinghan as flames and smoke fill the alley. The beast roars in agony, staggering under the anesthetic's effect. Seizing the opening, the cyborg darts forward in a blur, her strikes carving into the beast. At last, with a decisive blow, the monstrous rat collapses lifeless to the ground. Later that evening, Lin Zichen sits at home, watching the news replay of the battle. He analyzes every movement and comes to a sobering conclusion. The cyborg's strength is far from overwhelming. She needs to wear the creature down first, and even then, the fight drags on for 7 minutes. The encounter replays in his mind. Aberrant rats, capable of growing over 10 meters, are said to reach the ordinary 5th tier. Tonight, he faces one directly. Though he escapes unharmed, the danger is undeniable. Lin Zichen makes a quiet vow. He will train even harder, strong enough to protect himself and those he cherishes. Soon after, he is back in his training chamber, a massive barbell resting across his shoulders as he grinds through punishing squats. Life, however, does not pause for looming threats. His and Shen Qinghan's 9th birthday arrives, celebrated with family. After exchanging wishes, they trade gifts. Drawing on his celestial root of wisdom, Lin Zichen masters wood carving overnight. His present to Shen Qinghan is a delicate wooden hairpin, which she immediately slips into her hair, glowing with joy. Before long, the two graduate from elementary school, preparing to enter middle school. As they leave, Lin Zichen's system chimes. The dominate 9 years of compulsory education achievement is complete. He also unlocks the titles Kindergarten Kid King and Elementary School Top Dog. The next milestone is clear. Middle School Overlord. Determined, he pushes himself through brutal training during the break. One exercise sees him performing 1,000 push-ups beneath a crushing boulder, the system steadily showering him with stat boosts. After a grueling 10-kilometer run, the breakthrough comes. He advances to the ordinary 3rd tier. His stats skyrocket. A one-handed lift of 700 kilos, a vertical leap of 4 meters, and a 100-meter sprint in 6 seconds. Yet one thought nags at him. How far has Kyoto's prodigy progressed? That night, a news report answers. The 14-year-old, now fused with giant ant genes, casually lifts a 2,000-kilo alloy block. Lin Zichen carefully runs the numbers. Ant genes multiply strength 4 to 8 times. Stripping away the enhancement, the prodigy's base strength is barely 500 kilos. Lin Zichen exhales in relief. His raw strength still surpasses his rival. A quiet smile forms. If this is his potential without fusion, then with the right genes, he will be unstoppable. The start of middle school arrives. Invitations pour in from the city's top institutions, but Lin Zichen chooses Shanghai Middle School on one condition. His best friend must be in the same class. At registration, the principal and homeroom teacher warmly welcome them, praising Lin Zichen's reputation. The true reason he chooses this school, however, is its cutting-edge athletic facilities. Before classes begin, the two head straight for the badminton court. Han bounces with excitement. Lin Zichen intercepts with ease, but before the game continues, a group of upperclassmen swagger in. Their leader snatches the shuttlecock midair and declares the court theirs. His friends jeer, mocking that Shen Qinghan can stay behind to spar with them. But she stands her ground, insisting the rule is simple. First come, first served. Lin Zichen's eyes narrow, warning them to back off. The leader sneers, declaring rules meaningless. That is when Lin Zichen moves. He declares only the rules that will be followed will be his. He jumps upward, smashing the shuttlecock with overwhelming force. It shatters the leader's racket in half and knocks his cap flying. The upperclassmen freeze in horror. Their arrogance crumbles instantly. They bow, stammering apologies before fleeing in terror. Word spreads quickly. After that day, no one dares bully Lin Zichen or Shen Qinghan again. Academically, Lin Zichen is far beyond his peers, having already mastered the middle school curriculum. He passes classes quietly, spending his nights balancing harsh training with new skills. With his celestial root of wisdom, he masters cooking, swimming, photography, and driving. Still, the middle school overlord title remains locked. To earn it, he knows he must dominate beyond academics. He pours his efforts into national competitions, stacking up trophies while deliberately avoiding first place because too much attention is dangerous. By semester's end, the title still hasn't appeared. What he does gain, however, is a mountain of admirers. His desk is constantly buried in love letters, though he ignores them all. His focus stays on tutoring Shen Qinghan and preparing for the upcoming sports festival. He enters just 3 events, and each becomes a perfect showcase of raw power and speed. The results leave the crowd speechless. His shot put 200 meters. Even holding back to seem human, he crushes all competition, winning first place across the board. As he sits beside Shen Qinghan afterward, a surge of power courses through him, and a notification appears before his eyes. He has achieved the title, Middle School Overlord. Due to his remarkable achievements outshining every other student, he had secured all 3 school-age titles. The dominant 9 years of compulsory education accolade was now complete, granting him a powerful new biological trait, survival of the fittest. A surge of energy coursed through him as the realization hit. The title had finally activated. Later that afternoon, as he walked home from school with Shen Qinghan, Lin Zichen quietly mulled over the new attribute, survival of the fittest, a predatory ability that enabled him to consume the life essence of other creatures to evolve. But what exactly constituted life essence? Deep in thought, he almost missed Shen Qinghan's voice calling for him to slow down. He turned to her and asked if he could borrow the Beast Fang necklace Bai Jue had given them. Without a second thought, she handed it over. Instantly, his system flared to life, informing that he absorbed a trace of the abyssal giant butterfly's life essence. A shadowy image appeared before him of a massive dark butterfly. That fang wasn't from an ordinary creature. It belonged to the abyssal giant butterfly. That night, he scoured the internet for answers, diving into every corner of the web. To his frustration, he found nothing and no records. If he wanted to understand, he'd have to figure it out himself. Recalling that Bai Shui had gifted them a pair of fangs, he searched through his things until he unearthed the second tooth. Gripping the second fang, Lin Zichen absorbed its power. A system alert flashed. Another sliver of life essence consumed. But to his disappointment, the abyssal giant butterfly guidebook only crept forward to 2%. He scowled at the fang, realizing it held barely any essence. Unlocking the butterfly's full potential would demand something far more substantial. The following afternoon, after classes, he decided to incorporate cycling into his routine. It would strengthen his physique and, more critically, provide a swift escape if aberrant beasts ever appeared. Each day, he rode Shen Qinghan home, their bikes cutting through the city streets. During one such ride, Coach Guo in a tracksuit called out his name. Lin Zichen stopped and turned. He praised Lin Zichen's record-breaking performance at the sports festival, declaring it unmatched in the school's history. His eyes gleamed with excitement as he formally invited Lin Zichen to join the team, insisting his athletic talents even outdid his academic prowess. Coach Guo spoke with such an enthusiasm, barely pausing for a response or giving him a chance to refuse. Before parting, he mentioned that the martial arts team trained in room C of the gym and urged Lin Zichen to stop by whenever he was ready. That evening, Lin Zichen sat in his room, ready to experiment with his new trait, survival of the fittest. He clapped his hands, squashing a cockroach and a mosquito he'd noticed earlier. But when he opened his palms, there was no rush of power and no system notification. Our boy frowns as he deduced that common pests were too weak, lacking any life essence worth absorbing. Only rare or formidable creatures possessed the energy needed to fuel his growth. To test this hypothesis, he decided to take a bolder step. The next day, with Shen Qinghan riding behind him on his bike, he steered towards the supermarket in the city. Inside, they had neatly packaged beast meat. Lin Zichen felt a pang of frustration. Packaged meat wouldn't do. He needed direct contact. Just then, a loud voice grabbed his attention. A butcher was promoting freshly cut beast meat. Following the sound, he spotted the counter beneath a striking sign: fresh beast meat, not pre-packaged, safe to eat. Shen Qinghan looked puzzled as Lin Zichen told her to wait. Without explaining, he fixed his gaze on the butcher's table. He approached the counter, reached out, and pressed his hand firmly against a slab of freshly cut beast meat. The moment his skin made contact, a wave of purple energy surged into him. His body buzzed with power. Just as he'd theorized, the beast meat contained a potent stream of life essence. He could barely contain his excitement. Shen Qinghan stared, confused. Why was touching raw meat making him so thrilled? Curious and slightly worried, she stepped closer and asked what it felt like. He said it just felt fresher than usual, then asked if she wanted to try touching it. She waved her hands frantically, denying. Having validated his theory, Lin Zichen decided to buy some meat to experiment further at home. Han couldn't believe it when he was buying a lot of meat, because beast meat was exorbitantly priced. Even the cheapest kind, ghost shadow squid, cost nearly 1,000 yen per jin. The protagonist picked up a package regardless. His friend nearly freaked out, urging him to put it back and at least check with his mother first. But he only smiled, gently patting her head to calm her. He smoothly lied, saying his mom had already told him to buy plenty for both their families. A quick memory flashed through his mind where his mom was agreeing to prepare a grand feast. That was only half true. He did intend to share, but his primary goal was more pressing. He needed to determine if eating beast meat would allow him to absorb life essence directly. He suspected that relying solely on touch might compromise the meat's quality. At the checkout, he paid nearly 3,000 yen for just 3 small packages of ghost shadow squid. The cashier thanked him, and he bore the steep cost with a composed expression. As they left, Lin Zichen couldn't help but dwell on the meat's price. By the time they finished shopping, it was past 9 p.m. On the ride back, Lin Zichen's thoughts fixated on his experiment. Unable to resist, he subtly rested his hand on one of the squid packages in the basket. A familiar pulse of purple energy flowed through him. His system confirmed that a trace of ghost shadow squid life essence was absorbed. The moment Lin Zichen consumed the ghost shadow squid's essence, a new guidebook unlocked in his system. Yet the progress bar barely budged, only by 0.1%. As Lin Zichen cycles through quiet streets, he calculates his progress in absorbing ghost shadow squid essence. The tiny amount he consumed barely moved the bar, and he estimates he'll need around 100 jin to reach full mastery. Still, the squid's unique ability, to dissolve into water and vanish, makes it worth the effort. He considers the financial challenge of obtaining so much meat, since asking his family is out of the question. Testing another idea, he checks whether absorbing life essence spoils the food. To his relief, the squid remains fresh and edible even after extraction, giving him both nourishment and power. By the time he continues riding, his progress has crept up to 3%. His focus shatters when Shen Qinghan's urgent voice makes him slam on the brakes, narrowly avoiding hitting a couple. She then points ahead, where the real crisis unfolds. A large man holding a knife to a woman's throat. Lin is shocked because it's their teacher, Xiao Mei. The man screams threats at the surrounding crowd. The police captain restrains one of his men, Officer Ah Bing, warning him not to fire recklessly. The suspect is using the teacher as a shield, leaving no clear shot. Ah Bing suggests sleeping gas, but the captain shakes his head as it is too risky. The gas wouldn't take effect fast enough, and the suspect might panic and strike before then. Suddenly, a pebble slams into the hostage-taker's hand. He howls in pain, dropping both the knife and his grip on the teacher. The captain sees an opportunity and the officers surge forward, tackling the suspect to the ground. Shackles snap into place while a female officer rushes to teacher's side, gently steadying her trembling form. With the situation under control, Lin Zichen quietly climbs back onto his bike. Shen Qinghan stares at him with wide, questioning eyes and whispers if he was the one who threw the rock. He quickly hushes her, urging her to save it for later as he pedals away. But before they can escape, a firm voice cuts through the noise, stopping them. The police captain calls out, asking if the protagonist had been the one to throw the stone. He panics, and with a nervous smile he quickly denies it. The captain watches as the two pedal off, frowning. It was strange. Why would someone refuse to admit to a heroic act? Shaking his head, he mutters aloud that there's even a reward for bravery. That word slams into Lin Zichen like lightning. He skids to a sudden halt, whirls around, and rushes back to the captain. He retracts his denial and admits it was him. With a straight face, he explains that the reward money is very important to him. The captain tells him to come to the station later to file a report. He promises to personally make sure Lin Zichen receives the reward he deserves. Relieved, the two of them notify their families and prepare to head to the police station. He assumes everything will be simple from here. But then, everything goes horribly wrong. As the police lead the suspect away in cuffs, his body suddenly convulses. His face twists grotesquely, bone and flesh warping as horrified officers realize the truth that the guy is a heretic. Right before their eyes, his form mutates into a monstrous giant aberrant rat. With a thunderous roar, he shatters the handcuffs and lashes out. The captain orders to open fire on the aberrant rat, ordering his men to protect the civilians at all costs. Gunfire erupts in a deafening hail, but the bullets bounce uselessly off the beast's thick hide. A frantic report comes crackling in. The heretic has fused with Rat King genes and backup is requested immediately. Seeing the chaos, Lin Zichen grabs Shen Qinghan's hand, apologizing as he pulls her along to run. He is relieved when he notices the mutant isn't chasing them, but he knows they need to put distance between themselves and the battlefield as fast as possible. Suddenly, a streak of light wrapped in a purple aura dives down from above. A female cyborg descends in futuristic armor, slamming a devastating blow into the giant rat. The impact knocks the beast staggering backward, dust and rubble scattering with the force. Hovering effortlessly in the air, the cyborg raises her head. A brilliant laser cannon begins to charge, purple light burning brighter by the second. Her voice is sharp and commanding as she gives the order to fire. The cannon unleashes a massive beam of pure energy, engulfing the mutant rat entirely. With a final roar, it disintegrates completely, leaving behind nothing but scorched ash. Lin Zichen stands frozen, as he has just witnessed power on a scale he could barely imagine. With the giant rat disintegrating, the danger finally passes. Teacher Cao Mei and Shen Qinghan exhale long, shaky breaths of relief. The protagonist, however, has a very different concern. His eyes dart to his bike, and he sighs in relief when he sees it untouched. If the blast had destroyed it, that would have been a devastating financial loss. But just as the tension begins to ease, another realization hits him. His gaze shifts to the basket. The packages of Ghost Shadow squid meat began to rot, sinking his heart. His theory had been correct all along. Absorbing life essence does cause beast meat to spoil. It just doesn't happen immediately. He lifts the tentacle, knowing he needs an explanation. Without missing a beat, he puts on a dramatic performance, tossing the spoiled meat onto the ground and loudly blaming the heretic and the cyborg's blast for ruining it. Teacher Cao Mei gently comforts him, reminding him that what truly matters is that everyone made it out alive. At the police captain's request, they prepare to return home, but instead are escorted to the station alongside the security team. What they didn't expect was to ride in the same van as the heretic's remains. On the gurney lies what little is left, a mound of scorched flesh, blackened and stinking. Our MC sits silently, and a bold possibility flashes in his mind. If the fangs held power, then could this corpse, even in its ruined state, still contain life essence? And if so, could he devour it? Could he claim the Rat King gene for himself? Xiao Chen examined the remains of the fallen heretic, discreetly absorbing a fragment of the giant mutant rat's essence through his system. He quickly realized that the fresher the corpse, the stronger the essence. Though he tried to act natural, Ah Bing noticed his movement, and the security captain grew suspicious, watching him closely. Later, Xiao Chen was summoned to the public security office. While the captain had already filed for his bravery award, his real concern was how Xiao Chen, just a student, had managed to throw a stone so precisely to disarm the heretic. Xiao Chen claimed he often trained his right hand, but the captain remained doubtful, even if he didn't press further. During the meeting, Han Han entered with Xiao Chen's worried parents. His mother rushed to him, relieved he was safe, and insisted that if danger ever came again, he must hide rather than fight. Xiao Chen promised, though he knew deep down it might not be possible. Before leaving, he overheard public security discussing the Rat God cult. They revealed the group's growing boldness, infiltrating universities and preying on students barred from legal gene fusion. Shockingly, the heretic killed that night had once been a liberal arts student, corrupted and recruited by the cult. They agreed the cult needed to be eradicated, but eliminating individual followers wouldn't suffice. The real threat stemmed from the Rat King itself. Until that entity was destroyed, the danger would persist. The name lodged in Xiao Chen's mind. On the way home, he searched for information. Reports indicated the Rat God cult was most active in Shanghai, its members largely societal outcasts. Their activity had surged recently, with suspicions that the Rat King was showing a massive collection of evolutionary resources. If the Rat King sought further evolution, amassing such resources made sense. But if it possessed consciousness and ambition, the threat was far graver. An intelligent Rat King could unleash catastrophe beyond the cult's chaos. Staring out the window, he spotted a massive rat cornering a cat on the street. For a moment, he wondered if it was tied to the Rat King, but he reminded himself that oversized rats were common in the South. Perhaps it was nothing. Across from him, Han Han sat unusually silent, which he noticed. Since childhood, her emotions had always been obvious. Fear or nervousness showed instantly, but now she was unreadable. When he reached home, his mother immediately noticed the missing meat. Her face filled with shock. Xiaochen quickly explained that in the chaos, he'd dropped it, too preoccupied with survival to care about food. She accepted his story, relieved only that he was safe. He sighed inwardly at how easily she believed him. His father, however, reacted differently. Without pause, he prepared to search for the lost meat. Our boy calmly convinced him it would be spoiled and useless by now. After a brief silence, his father relented and stayed. Meanwhile, the security captain couldn't shake his unease about Lin Zichen. The idea of a middle schooler throwing a stone with such lethal accuracy troubled him. Suddenly a rat appeared, not an ordinary one, but the size was huge. Instincts sharpened, the captain reached for his weapon, aimed, and fired, the bullet speeding toward the creature. The next morning, Lin Zichen sat in class, still thinking about the fierce battle he had fought the night before. Facing the heretic and the female cyborg had shown him how far he still had to go. To survive and grow stronger, he needed resources quickly, especially beast meat like ghost shadow squid, which advanced his guidebook's progress. He briefly considered safer ways to make money, like becoming an online influencer or selling study guides, but dismissed them as too risky and attention-drawing. Instead, he realized the best path was through martial arts and gene fusion, the fields most valued in this world. That afternoon, Lin went to Building C, where the martial arts team trained. Inside, he found Coach Guo drinking tea. After greeting him respectfully, Lin asked whether joining the team would involve citywide tournaments, and if those competitions came with substantial prizes. Coach Guo's face lit up. He confirmed that joining the team would indeed offer that opportunity, with prize money reaching tens of thousands. That was all the confirmation Lin needed. With a firm handshake, he declared his immediate decision to join the martial arts team. Delighted, Coach Guo gathered the team to introduce their newest member, Lin Zichen, proudly noting that he had been the champion of the school's sports meet. The team members stepped forward to greet him one by one. Zhang Kai, Huang Tianxing, known as Ah Xing, Li Shutong, and Han Yisuo. Lin returned their introductions with a polite nod. Since Lin had no prior formal training, Coach Guo started with the fundamentals, demonstrating basic fist and leg techniques. He explained that while they appeared simple, mastering them required patience and discipline. Even their quickest learner, Li Shutong, had taken a full week to perform them correctly. Turning to Lin, the coach encouraged him to give it a try. Lin positioned himself confidently. His celestial root of wisdom activated, granting him an almost supernatural clarity. By merely observing, he had already internalized every nuance of the movements. As he began executing the fist techniques, a system notification chimed in his mind. Points in vitality, strength, dexterity, and proficiency had been earned. The coach and the entire team stood motionless, watching Lin. They had expected awkward novice attempts, but instead witnessed flawless, almost professional execution. Our boy moved as if he had been training for years. Coach Guo's jaw nearly dropped. His grip on the thermos loosened as he watched our protagonist's impeccable performance. One thought consumed the coach's mind. The MC was no ordinary student. He was a martial arts prodigy, the kind that appeared once in a million. That evening at home in Shanghai, Lin's mother calls him to the dinner table. Excited, Lin grabbed a spoon and rushed over, asking what she had prepared. With pride, she placed a steaming platter of ghost shadow squid on the table, the exact meat he had been craving. Lin inhaled deeply, complimenting how incredible it smelled. She urged him to eat before it got cold. Taking his first bite, he proclaimed her cooking is the best in the world. Beaming with joy, his mother encouraged him to eat heartily. As he savored the meal, a system notification appeared in his vision. He had absorbed a trace of the ghost shadow squid's life essence, pushing his guidebook progress. As they ate, the television in the background played a news report. A 14-year-old girl, celebrated as the youngest cyborg in history, had just been unveiled. After integrating with an energy core, she had gained superhuman abilities, lifting a SUV with one hand, sprinting 100 meters in 3 seconds, and leaping 8 meters vertically. Watching the report, Lin pondered the ongoing debate in his world. Between the Kyoto Prodigy's gene fusion and this girl's cybernetic enhancements, which path promised greater power? His thoughts were interrupted by a breaking news alert. The anchor reported that Captain Chunshan, the officer they had encountered previously, had been found dead in his office. Surveillance footage revealed a chilling truth. A massive mutant rat had infiltrated the station, brutally attacking and devouring him. Lin's stomach churned and recalled the enormous rat he had glimpsed the night before. The thought of such monsters roaming the city sent a shiver down his spine. The captain's death was a warning of the dangers lurking ahead. Lin vowed to train harder than ever. His speed skyrocketed. Soon he was running 100 meters in just 4 seconds. His strength grew exponentially, his vertical jump reaching 5 meters, and his grip strength allowing him to lift 1,200 kilograms with one hand. Balancing grueling solo training with disciplined practice alongside the school martial arts team, Lin poured all his energy into honing his abilities. The next morning, Lin headed to the gym for practice, with the curious Qinghan trailing behind. On their way, a girl with pink hair approached with a warm smile, offering him a chilled bottle of fresh milk. Our guy thanked her politely but declined, continuing on with Shen Qinghan at his side. From a distance, Zhang Kai had been watching. The boy who had bested him at the sports meet had just dismissed a gesture from the girl Zhang Kai admired. Later, Zhang Kai confronted Lin sharply, accusing him of being rude and hurting the girl's feelings. Our guy replied calmly, explaining that he was allergic to milk. Zhang Kai challenged him to a sparring match. If he lost, he would leave Lin alone forever. But if Lin lost, he he would have to drink the entire bottle of milk. As the challenge was issued, a system notification flashed before Lin's eyes. A new achievement mission had unlocked. Defeat 1,000 different opponents in formal competition to awaken the survival of the fittest biological trait. Word of the duel spread like wildfire. By the time the two arrived at the gym, it was already packed, students forming a wide circle around the sparring area. Most of the crowd was firmly on Lin's side, especially the girls who admired him. Junkai looked around, scowling at the crowd's obvious favoritism. Even so, he saw this duel as his last chance to prove himself to reclaim his pride. Meanwhile, Lin stood relaxed. He mentioned that he needed to get home for dinner and asked if they could finish quickly. Junkai took it as mockery, promising to grant Lin his quick fight. Coach Guo stepped between them, acting as referee. He raised his hand, reminding both of the rules before signaling the start. But just as the match was about to begin, Junkai suddenly shouted for them to stop. He pointed out that he had trained for nearly 2 years. To make things fair, he announced he would allow Lin the first 3 moves. The instant the words left his mouth, he exploded into motion. In that same heartbeat, Lin unleashed a single devastating punch. The strike landed cleanly. Blood burst from Junkai's nose as his body went limp. He collapsed unconscious onto the floor in one blow. Coach Guo stood frozen. Then he shouted in disbelief. The fight was over in just one punch. A duel that was supposed to be a contest ended in a single second. The silence shattered when cheers erupted. Shen Xinghan threw her fist into the air, ecstatic, her voice rising above the noise. The girls, including the pink-haired one, joined in, screaming about how incredible Lin was. Standing over his defeated opponent, Lin Zichen's vision flickered with a system notification. He had earned priority mating rights. At the same time, his new mission progress ticked upward, 1 out of 1,000. He suggested they spar with him too. Their faces went pale instantly. Before anyone could slip away, Junkai groaned and forced himself onto his knees. He refused to accept defeat, swearing there would be a rematch where he would crush him. Coach Guo cut him off firmly. He told Junkai to accept the loss like a man. Then, still doubtful, the coach wondered aloud if Lin's devastating punch had just been luck. To test the theory, he turned toward another student. A spiky-haired boy froze in dread. 10 minutes later, the scene inside the gym was undeniable. Several members of the martial arts team lay unconscious on the floor. Lin Zichen stood calmly above them. Still, when he opened his system, his expression fell. His rival count stubbornly remained at 1 out of 1,000. As he mulled it over, a heavy hand clapped his shoulder. Coach Guo, beaming with wild excitement, praised him loudly. To the coach, Lin wasn't just talented, he was a once-in-a-generation genius. In just over a month, he had surpassed everyone, becoming the ace of the team. With Lin leading, Coach Guo declared, their school would crush all competition and seize first place at the regional martial arts tournament. As he was drowned in his thoughts, he was called out by Zhang Kai, staggering to his feet. Still shaken, he pointed at Lin and loudly proclaimed his surrender. Before Zhang Kai could finish his rambling speech, the coach and the remaining students made a hasty retreat. Not wanting to fall behind, Shen Qinghan made her decision. She joined the martial arts track and began training side by side with her best friend. At the end of each session, Lin gave her a massage to ease the strain from her muscles. 1 month passed in relentless training. Finally, the regional martial arts tournament was here, and Lin Zichen stood ready. In the city gymnasium, Coach Guo laments Shanghai High's bad luck in drawing the strongest group right from the start. The teammates complain that they are doomed, though one mentions that this year they have Lin Zichen, a boy who can run 100 meters in under 9 seconds. Zichen volunteers to go first, and Guo agrees, urging him forward with confidence. On stage, his opponent, a tall, muscular boy, mocks him for being a short first year who doesn't belong in the 8-school martial tournament, boasting that size and power will prevail. When the duel begins, the boy charges with heavy steps and throws a punch, but Zichen slips aside with blinding speed and lands a clean strike to his ribs. The opponent crashes backward across the stage, instantly defeated. The announcer declares Zichen the winner as Shen Qinghan cheers loudly from the stands. Across the arena, the opposing coach scolds his fighters for ignoring his instructions to focus on footwork and demanding stricter discipline. Meanwhile, a notification appears before Lin Zichen, confirming his victory and improved tournament ranking. He realizes that each high-stakes win accelerates his growth. The coach quickly sends out Chen Feng to deal with him. Feng enters, but as soon as the duel begins, his sweeping kick is easily dodged. Zichen counters with a strike to Feng's hip, sending him crashing violently across the stage. Emergency workers rush in to carry Feng away on a stretcher. The crowd goes crazy as some think Zichen was just lucky, while others think about his hidden strength. The opposing coach admits to himself that luck has nothing to do with it. Zichen is the real deal, and he wastes no time calling up his next fighter, Gao Fei. Gao Fei confidently enters the stage. He sizes up Lin Zichen's slim build, assuming his opponent is quick but weak and has cheap tricks. Remembering his own pedigree, running the 100 meters in under 9 seconds and being the son of a gene fusion user, Gao feels certain his superior stats will make him win for sure. As the duel begins, he throws his flowing water rock-shattering fist with a bunch of attacks. Zichen dodges with ease. From the sidelines, Gao's coach yells at him to defend, but Gao arrogantly doesn't even listen to the advice, boasting that he doesn't need defense. Meanwhile, Zichen silently thinks to study it later, all while effortlessly fighting. Gao grows increasingly frustrated as none of his punches are landing. He demands to know how Zichen can dodge so easily. Our boy only smiles and taunts him to try harder. Finally, when Gao overextends, Zichen seizes the moment. He delivers a sweeping kick to Gao's stomach, sending him flying backward and crashing hard onto the ground. After defeating Gao Fei, Shen Qinghan cheers while Zichen's teammates celebrate. Over the following days, he dominates more battles, ultimately crushing Shanghai No. 1 High and 2 other schools to secure Shanghai High's championship in the 8-school tournament. Coach Guo proudly lifts the gleaming trophy, while Zichen receives notifications confirming his advancement. Later, he indulges in his favorite meals, even drawing laughter from a waitress who tells him to slow down. By the end of his second year, he breaks through from Tier 3 Ordinary to Tier 4, growing so strong that he can easily lift heavy weights with one hand and run 100 meters in just 4 seconds. At graduation, Zichen walks beside Shen Qinghan. She is sad over her entrance results, knowing that she cannot join him at Shanghai High's elite class because her martial scores are too low. Zichen, ranked first in both academics and martial arts. He quietly reminds her that the principal of Shanghai High will soon visit his home and asks if she will come with him. Qinghan is sad, insisting the principal only wants to persuade him to stay in the martial class and that it has nothing to do with her. But Zichen firmly declares that his single condition for staying is simple: Shen Qinghan must be his deskmate. Just as promised, the principal of Shanghai High arrives at Lin Zichen's home. She sits with his mother and Han Han, the three of them discussing his future for hours. The meeting ends, but before stepping out, she turns back with one final offer. If Lin Zichen agrees to stay, she will grant him any request he has. Taking the chance, he makes his one condition clear: Han Han must remain in the same class as him. The principal agrees and instructs them both to report to Shanghai High together for the new school year. Overjoyed, Lin Zichen and Han Han bow in thanks. Before moving on, Lin Zichen competes in his final junior high martial arts tournament. His dominance carries the team straight to another championship. This time, he knows exactly what to do with the prize money. His Ghost Shadow Squid Codex is only 20% away from completion, and the winnings are just enough to push it to the limit. Seeking safety, he heads deep into a secluded forest outside of Shanghai and consumes the final essence from the squid meat. His system chimes, confirming he is absorbing life force. The codex bar fills and finally locks at 100%. A new notification appears, telling him that he gained a biological attribute, Blessing of Liquid Affinity. The ability grants him heightened connection with water, but as the energy fades, he stands silently. For all the effort, the result feels underwhelming. He decides to test it anyway. At a nearby pond, he slips into the water. To his surprise, there are some effects. His skin never wrinkles no matter how long he stays submerged, and swimming feels almost effortless with the reduced water resistance. He realizes that the Ghost Shadow Squid was only a low-tier beast. If he wants stronger attributes, he needs to either save money for higher-grade beast meat or grow powerful enough to hunt dangerous wild mutant beasts on his own. Later on, his mother and Han Han's family decide on a short trip, partly to help him test his new liquid affinity. Lin suggests they head to the beach. Standing in the surf, Han Han shivers, but Lin Zichen feels perfectly at home. As he swims, his system rewards him with stat points for swimming and diving. From the shore, Han Han calls out nervously, asking him to teach her how to swim. He waves her over and begins guiding her step by step. With her average athletic ability, he assumes she'll struggle, but she adapts instantly and dives on her own, as if she'd known how all along. Suddenly, a faint blue aura seems to shimmer around her in the water. Han Han exclaims that the sensation is amazing. Her words leave Lin Zichen deep in thought. No matter how talented, no one should master swimming and diving skills this quickly. He recalls her childhood struggle with bedwetting whenever she was nervous. Could that weakness have been a sign all along? An innate water affinity hidden within her body? Determined to test his theory, they continue diving. The results astonish him even more. She manages to hold her breath underwater for over 10 minutes. But before he can process it fully, Han Han's expression changes. A strange vibration echoes through the water. She cries out as glowing blue water swirls around her. That night, the two of them walk quietly along the moonlit beach. Lin Zichen finally asks Han Han what exactly happened underwater. Shivering at the memory, she explains that the whole time she kept hearing strange, unsettling sounds whispering by her ear. She says it was a female voice speaking in some unknown language. Seeing her so frightened, Lin Zichen tries to comfort her. Later, after she falls asleep, he searches online for anything resembling a mysterious female voice beneath the sea. Unable to shake the unease, he channels his restless energy into training. He begins a set of weighted sit-ups, one after another until he's done 1,000. A system notification appears. His hard work has paid off and he has advanced to ordinary Tier 5. At Tier 5, he realizes he now has the power to rival a fully grown giant mutant rat. Eager to test his limits, he heads back to the empty beach under the stars. Testing his strength, he grips a nearby parked car and with one hand, he lifts the vehicle. Soon enough, the vacation comes to an end, and soon he and Han Han officially begin high school at Shanghai High. On the very first day, two new female classmates immediately recognize him, thinking how lucky they are to be assigned alongside him. But what shocks him even more is what happens next. Simply performing class duty triggers a brand new system quest. The requirement is to complete 1,000 cooperative tasks to unlock a new biological attribute, Social Animal. After school, with the new year just beginning, he makes a trip to the Mammoth supermarket. Wandering through the chilled beast meat section, he suddenly stops. His eyes fix on a package inside the refrigerated display of the severed head of a savage giant eagle. He is sure that this will be his next codex. The savage giant eagle ranks above the ghost shadow squid as a higher-level aberrant beast. Back in his room, Lin Zichen studies the eagle meat carefully. What makes it even more appealing is the cost. Only 1,900 yen per jin, surprisingly affordable compared to other beasts. He presses his hand against the meat and his system confirms the result. He has absorbed a trace of the eagle's life essence. To fully complete the codex, he would need to spend more than 200,000 yen. If he wants to unlock the savage giant eagle's codex before his second year, he must win the prize money. On the first day, the teachers introduce themselves in a lineup. Once the introductions are done, the students begin sharing about themselves. First, Chuchishi brags about her strength in the arts. Then a lively girl named Zhang enthusiastically talks about her love for anime, cosplay, and sports. Peng Huaguang, a boy, casually mentions that he enjoys playing video games at home. When it's Han Han's turn, all eyes turn to her, making her feel nervous. Lastly, Lin Zichen gives a brief introduction, simply stating his name and requesting the support of his classmates. After class, a new brown-haired student approaches Han Han. The suddenness of the encounter startles Han Han, but the girl quickly gets to the point by asking about her entrance exam score. Han Han nervously admits her entrance exam score was 709, then politely asks the new girl, Chu Shui, about hers. Chu Shui looks impressed and blurts out that Han's score is over 10 points higher than her own 698. Curious, Chu Shui quickly shifts the topic to the physical fitness test. Han Han stutters, trying to dodge, because her score was low and she had barely made it into the elite class. So, saying it aloud feels humiliating. But Chu Shui doesn't pick up on her discomfort. Han Han lowers her gaze. But she keeps tossing out guesses in the low 90s, each one making Han's embarrassment worse. Suddenly, a hand slams against the desk between them. It was Lin. Calmly, he leans closer and asks Han if she'd add him on WeChat. The sudden attention from a handsome boy leaves her stunned. She nods eagerly. From her seat, Han Han exhales in relief. The awkward moment has been broken, and she silently thanks Lin Zichen for stepping in. Without missing a beat, Lin turns to another classmate, casually asks to exchange contact details as well. Once they're connected, he creates a small 4-person group chat. His system notifies instantly that he completed a task. His progress toward the social animal achievement ticks up. The group begins chatting. Lin Zichen explains he's from Naiwan City, where his family runs a respected martial arts dojo. Shu Sui chimes in next, revealing her family owns a chain of clothing stores, giving her a well-off background. Shen and Lin each share their own stories, and before long, the four of them feel like genuine friends. As the class warms up, Heiyu playfully asks who they think is the strongest student. Chu Xixi quickly points to Lin Zichen, citing his top ranking in the district entrance exam. Heiyu is impressed, but Lin calmly reminds everyone that excelling on paper doesn't necessarily make someone the strongest, and then reveals a surprising fact. Lin explains that the principal personally recruited 2 exceptional students from Nuan City. The first, Wang, is a blonde boy ranked 3rd in the city and incredibly fast, able to run 100 meters in just 7 seconds. The second, Lu Gang, is a towering, immensely strong figure who can lift a 300-kilogram barbell effortlessly. But Lin remains unfazed because he knows he has already surpassed that. When the bell rings for textbook distribution, the students learn that this semester's curriculum focuses on martial arts, gene fusion, mechanical modification, and wilderness survival. Having already mastered all of it on his own, Lin decides not to waste time with the lessons, and instead slips away to train privately. As Lin Zichen trains, his thoughts turn to the dangers outside school, particularly the Rat God cult. While authorities have captured some lower-level members, the Rat King remains free. Determined to confront him, Lin resolves to reach Tier 6 strength as quickly as possible. The first hands-on lesson is wilderness survival. Teacher Shi Chungbei challenges the students to start a fire by drilling wood. Heiyu scoffs, but Wang and Lu Gang step up and succeed, impressing everyone. Lu Gang learned it at summer camp, and Wang claims he picked it up from watching videos. Lin quietly teaches his group the technique, guiding them until they succeed easily. Next is martial arts class. Instructor Yao Yunfang introduces a special breathing and cultivation technique, but Wang and Lu Gang claim they've already learned it and demonstrate sloppy but functional versions. Lin already masters it perfectly but chooses to keep his skills hidden. A month goes by without incident, until mechanical modification class. The teacher announces a practical test with cash prizes. Lin calculates that first place almost buys half a jin of savage giant eagle meat, motivating everyone to work hard. At the same time, the gene fusion teacher surprises them with another test with the same prize structure. After the grueling exams, the class is exhausted. Heiyu groans at his desk, and several classmates complain, fearing they barely passed. Wang and Lu Gang boast confidently about their expected high scores, irritating Heiyu, who clenches his fists at their arrogance. The teacher announces the results of the mechanical augmentation test. Guo Yanling scores 52, and Han Han just passes with 61, which makes her overjoyed. Heiyu earns 88 and secures 3rd place, humbly promising to treat his friends with his prize money. Lu Gang and Wang Shuji both score 95, boasting they could have solved the final problem with more time. Just as Heiyu settles for 3rd, the teacher reveals the top scorer, Lin Zichen, with a perfect 100. Lugang and Wang Shuji are stunned. Even Heyu admits Lin is on another level, and Han Han proudly calls him the pride of Shanghai. After winning the mechanical augmentation test, Lin Zichen ignores the praise and calmly asks about his 888 UN prize. Later, during the gene fusion exam results, Lugang scores 81 and Wang Shuji 83, while Han Han impresses with 78, placing in the top 5. But once again, Lin Zichen shocks everyone with a perfect score and another prize. The repeated success devastates Heyu, Lu Gang, and Wang Shujie, shaking their confidence so much that Lu and Wang accuse him of having prior knowledge of the answers. When Lu Gang and Wang Shujie accuse Lin Zichen of cheating, Teacher Kai firmly shuts them down, explaining that he wrote all the questions himself, making cheating impossible. Their classmates mock them, with Heyu and his friend ridiculing the pair for embarrassing Nanyuan City. After lunch, attention shifts to the Wilderness Survival Exam, which features climbing, swimming, and fire-making. Determined to reclaim their pride, Wang and Lugang vow to defeat Lin Zichen, but he easily dominates the climbing events with his superior strength and speed. Meanwhile, he quietly worries about Han Han, who struggles at climbing and finishes last, though he trusts she'll shine in the swimming round. In the fire-making challenge, Lin Zichen astounds everyone by producing flames in just 58 seconds, leaving Wang Shujie and Lu Gang speechless. During the swimming event, Han Han shines, effortlessly defeating the Nanyuan duo and shattering their confidence further. By the end of the Wilderness Survival Exam, Wang and Lu Gang are silent and humiliated. But when Teacher Yao announces the final martial arts sparring competition, their spirits revive. They see it as their last chance to redeem themselves and prove that Lin Zichen's success means nothing without strength in combat. Before sparring, Teacher Yao had the class complete warm-up tests: a 100-meter sprint, one-hand barbell lift, and vertical jump. Even while holding back, Lin Zichen dominated, running 7.78 seconds, lifting 330 kilograms with one hand, and jumping 2.18 meters, placing first in every event. The results left Wang Shujie and Lu Gang rattled, though they reassured themselves that combat skill would matter more in sparring. When the matches began, however, no one dared face Lin Zichen, forcing Yao to assign Lu Wei. The fight ended instantly with one devastating punch, after which Lin Zichen easily defeated the rest of his classmates, proving his overwhelming superiority. Wang Shuji and Lu Gang are shaken after watching Lin Zichen's display of power, realizing with dread that he had likely held back during earlier tests. The gap between them and him feels insurmountable. Just then, Heyu suddenly steps forward, burning with determination, and challenges Lu Gang. Eager to vent his frustration, Lu Gang accepts confidently, boasting he will win within 30 seconds. The fight begins with Heyu charging fiercely, but the difference in strength is too great. Lu Gang easily overpowers him, catching his kick and tossing him brutally out of the ring. Heyu lies defeated, coughing and in pain. Lu Gang smugly acknowledges Heyu's skill while declaring his own superiority. Lin Zichen then steps forward to challenge Lu Gang. Still riding on his victory, Lu Gang accepts, only to be dispatched instantly by Lin's speed and precision, knocked out of the ring with a single strike. With both of his comrades defeated, attention shifts to Wang Shujie. The crowd jeers, mocking that the pride of Nanyuan rests on him alone, and daring him not to back down. Irritated and cornered, Wang Shuji silences them and declares he was going to fight anyway. He steps into the ring to face Lin Zichen, steeling himself despite the overwhelming odds. Wang Shuji charges at Lin Zichen with all his strength, but Lin effortlessly catches his punch and knocks him out with a single counter, leaving him unconscious on the gym floor. Lin proceeds to defeat every other boy in the class just as easily, each falling after only one exchange. When he checks his system afterward, he notices that his survival of the fittest achievement only counts each opponent once, meaning he must now face the girls in his class. To his surprise, the girls volunteer eagerly, some even cheering for him with admiration. The first challenger attacks swiftly, but can't land a hit before Lin smoothly dodges and ends the bout. One by one, the other girls take their turns, but Lin defeats them all effortlessly, careful not to hurt anyone. When the final match ends, he's beaten every student in class, but his achievement bar still isn't full, leaving him slightly frustrated and wondering how to find stronger opponents. His teacher, Hao Yuanfang, then announces important news. In 1 month, their class will spar against the top second-year regular class. Lin's disappointment turns to excitement. This new challenge is exactly what he needs to advance. After class, Lu Gang, now humbled, admits he misjudged Lin and vows to become his rival for the next 3 years. Wang Shuji swears to one day avenge his loss. Though Lin pays little attention, his focus is on the rewards he's earned. With over 3,000 yuan gained from exam bonuses, Lin is pleased that he can finally afford more beast meat to strengthen himself. Later, in his dorm, he reviews his finances and realizes it's still not enough. Deciding to earn extra income, he follows his parents' path and becomes a web novelist. Thanks to his celestial root of wisdom, his writing captivates readers immediately, earning him an official Yuan contract within a day. The next morning, Lin reads a headline. A massive mutant rat, over 5 meters long, had attacked a frozen meat facility. It was only stopped when a cyborg self-destructed, destroying them both. A reminder of the dangerous world he lives in. Lin Zichen studies the photo of a slain creature, making him wonder, if one monster appeared within Shanghai City, how many more might be hiding unseen? Days later, the focus shifts to a long-awaited sparring session between Shanghai High's elite class and the strongest second-year regular class. Inside the tense gymnasium, teacher Hao Yunfang gathers his students, warning them that while they possess top talent, the opposing class holds the overall advantage. His instruction is simple: end each fight quickly and don't give the enemy time to recover. When the meeting ends, Lin Zichen rushes toward the ring, eager to fight first and continue progressing toward his survival of the fittest goal. His opponent is a tall blonde girl who claims it's unfair to face the elite class's strongest fighter first, since she's the weakest in her class. Teacher Hao, realizing the misunderstanding, storms over to confront the opposing instructor, accusing him of violating the unwritten rule that both sides should begin with their weakest members. After a heated exchange, Hao orders Lin to step down, saving him for later matches. Hao then selects Yuntong to start, but before she can go, Han Han steps forward, volunteering to go first since she's the weakest. Though visibly nervous, she enters the ring to face the confident blonde. The match begins with the blonde attacking fiercely, throwing Han Han back. Despite her fear, Han Han stays focused. She knows she can't win through strength, so she adopts a defensive strategy, enduring, blocking, and waiting for her opponent to tire. Minutes pass, and the tactic begins to work. The blonde grows exhausted and frustrated, then gathers her strength for one final, decisive blow that knocks Han Han down. The referee calls the match. Though defeated, Han Han earns admiration from her classmates and praise from teacher Hao for her endurance and clever defense. Lin Zichen comforts her with a gentle pat, easing her embarrassment. The next elite class fighter, a brown-haired girl, steps up, attempting to use the blonde's fatigue. However, her rash assault is countered. She's struck down, pinned, and forced to surrender. The blonde mocks her mercilessly, belittling the elite class's arrogance. Before the humiliation can continue, Chushin steps forward and declares that she'll fight next, to avenge Han Han and prove that their class will not be mocked again. Chushin steps into the ring and proves herself an exceptional fighter, ending her senior opponent's match with a single devastating punch. From the sidelines, Han Han cheers in excitement, and Lin Zichen reminds her that Chushin's easy win was thanks to Han Han's earlier effort weakening the opponent. 2 hours later, the sparring session continues. The elite class manages to even the score, and teacher Hao Yuanfang confidently tells the second-year teacher that his rival's class has only 4 fighters left. But he quickly cautions his students not to relax. The real battle is just beginning. Their strongest 4, Lin Zichen, Wang Shujie, Lu Gang, and Heyu, are now up. Heyu goes first. He taunts his opponent before launching a lightning-fast kick that knocks the senior out instantly. Another opponent steps up, stronger this time, but Heyu defeats him just as easily. Energized by cheers from Chushin and Han Han, he continues his rampage, winning 5 matches in a row. Exhausted yet defiant, he shouts that he can still take on 10 more. However, fatigue catches up, and in his 6th duel, he's finally defeated. With Heyu down, the elite class has only 3 fighters remaining against 13 opponents. Next comes Wang Shuji, who fights with incredible speed and power. His fists and kicks strike like lightning as he tears through 10 opponents in succession. But by his 11th match, exhaustion slows him down, and he is finally overpowered. Then Lu Gang enters. He defeats 2 of the regular class's top fighters in under 10 minutes, restoring hope to his team. Now only 1 second-year fighter remains. Teacher Hao taunts the second-year teacher to surrender, but Feng replies that his last student hasn't fought yet. A towering figure steps forward, shaking the arena with his size. The towering Wang Jinhe steps into the ring. Feng reveals that Wang is a new transfer student and his hidden trump card. Feeling anxious, Hao encourages Lin Zichen to do his best, but Lin calmly replies he will win for sure. Facing the giant, Lin endures Wang's mockery as the senior offers 10 free hits. Lin accepts it. The moment Wang finishes speaking, our boy strikes. His fist blurs through the air, slamming into Wang's gut with explosive force. The massive fighter is lifted off the ground and thrown backward, crashing to the floor as the gym falls silent. A moment later, the elite class erupts in cheers. Standing tall and composed, Lin Zichen wins. After Lin Zichen's shocking one-punch victory over the monstrous Wang Jinhe, a second-year teacher approaches Hao Yuanfang, praising Lin's overwhelming strength and comparing him to a legendary former student, Wu Tiancheng. Hao smiles but corrects him, saying that while Lin is gifted, he's still far from Wu's level. Wu Tiancheng, Hao explains, was a legend who defeated the entire third-year elite class as a first year. His feats were superhuman: a 100-meter dash in 6 seconds, a 4-meter vertical leap, and the ability to lift 650 kilograms with one hand. Lin listens, intrigued but unimpressed, quietly thinking those numbers only matched his own childhood strength. That evening, the elite class celebrates at a restaurant. Hao Yuanfang proudly raises a toast, announcing that the second-year teacher must pay for the meal because of their loss. The students cheer and surround Lin, bombarding him with questions about his training. Slightly uncomfortable with the attention, Lin notices Han Han quietly taking care of him, placing food on his plate like always. When he catches her eye and smiles, she panics and flees to the restroom. There, 2 classmates gossip about her, mocking her for acting like Lin's servant and claiming she only made it into the elite class because of him. Hidden nearby, Han Han overhears everything. but instead of running away, she steps out and confronts them, declaring firmly that she's Lin Zichen's childhood friend. The girls are stunned into silence by her courage. Later, as Lin and Han Han walk home under the dim streetlights, he notices her uncharacteristic quiet. When he asks what's wrong, she hesitates before confessing her deepest secret. She still suffers from peeing her bed and wears diapers to bed. Ashamed, she calls herself broken. Lin gently reassures her, placing his hands on her shoulders and telling her she's not broken at all. Her weakness might actually be a power that hasn't awakened yet. Surprised, Han Han asks if he truly believes that. Lin smiles and says yes, adding that he has a superpower too. Encouraged, Han Han wonders what her ability could be. Lin assures her it will definitely be something extraordinary. Before they can continue, their path is blocked by a cordoned-off street where exterminators in protective suits are clearing out rats. A man in an apron is frantically trying to stop them, shouting for the officers not to harm his brothers. His voice breaks as he attacks the team in a frenzy. Han Han, horrified, asks if he's insane. Lin nods slightly, saying the man must be unstable, though it's still a tragic sight. He suggests they head home. That night, Lin sits with his parents watching the news. The report announces that a young female teacher who went missing last week still hasn't been found, marking the 5th disappearance this month. The women shown are all young and beautiful. Lin's worried mother urges him to make sure Han Han never walks home alone, and he promises he'll protect her. Meanwhile, at the Shanghai City Public Security Office, the man who attacked the exterminators is in custody. A police officer and a doctor observe him from behind glass. The officer wonders if the man is insane, but the doctor isn't sure. He hasn't spoken since being detained. The officer frowns, noting how the suspect had screamed uncontrollably earlier. Suddenly, the man inside begins trembling violently. A dark aura seeps from his body as his form mutates. Within moments, the man transforms into a monstrous, rat-like creature with glowing red eyes. Terrified, the officer grabs his radio and screams for reinforcements. But before help can arrive, the room fills with the sound of shattering glass. A monstrous aberrant rat rampages through the city, unaffected by gunfire. Police bullets barely affect its body as officers retreat under orders to lure it away from the city center. With all cyborg units occupied elsewhere, reinforcements are still 10 minutes away, too long to survive a direct confrontation. A female officer speeds off in a police van, the beast in pursuit, bounding across rooftops. The van races up a mountain road and into a tunnel, but the rat catches up, slamming into the vehicle and flipping it violently. Dazed and bleeding, the officer prepares for death until a blinding explosion lights the tunnel. From the smoke descends a female cyborg with short purple hair and gleaming armor. She launches a barrage of violet missiles. The blasts cover the tunnel, shaking the earth. When the fire clears, the creature has vanished. The cyborg says that the beast must be injured because it can't have gone far. As the monsters evolve, so does she. Determined, she follows its trail into the night. Hours later, under Shanghai's glowing skyline at 3 a.m., Lin Zichen sits in his apartment. For once, he isn't training, instead he's writing. After half a month of non-stop effort, his web novel nears 200,000 words, already earning over 10,000 yuan in paid income. Excited but restless, Lin closes his laptop and decides to train instead. Slipping out into a deserted alley, he measures his progress. His abilities have surpassed human limits and are approaching something superhuman, but a strange noise interrupts his focus. From the shadows, he spots a twisted humanoid rat, hunched over and gnawing on a human arm. The creature freezes when it sees him, eyes wide with fear, pleading to not kill him as he was just really very hungry. Lin's blood runs cold as he spots a mouseman. He recalls the recent news about a mutant rat escaping a lab. This could be that same creature, now half human. He knows he should call the authorities, but when he moves, the creature panics, misunderstanding his intent. It shrieks before jumping forward, its body blurring with unnatural speed. Lin reacts instantly. His leg lashes out, striking the monster squarely in the jaw. The sound is thunderous. The mouseman crashes to the ground, stunned by the impossible power of a student's kick. Before it can recover, Lin hurls a rock, then another, then dozens more. Each strike lands with accuracy. The stones go through like bullets. The creature's body breaks until it finally collapses in silence. Lin stares at the creature that was once alive. A chill runs through him as the truth settles in. His strength has gone far beyond human. He hadn't just killed the monster. He erased it. Lin Zichen crouches beside the remains of the slain creature. Then he pushes himself to touch the bones. The moment his fingers touch the remains, a surge of blue energy courses through him, and the system notifies that he absorbed the trace of giant mutant rat's life source by 2%. He frowns. The last creature had granted him 5%. Remembering a theory, he realizes that each heretic must contain varying amounts of the Rat King's genetic essence, explaining the weaker absorption this time. As the light starts spreading, Lin decides not to linger, and quietly leaves the alley. Moments later, a purple-haired cyborg woman descends from above, landing where the battle took place. Her gaze scans the smoking remains and wonders who could have done this. Meanwhile, in a crumbling building shrouded in red light, hooded cultists chant around a glowing summoning circle. One drags an unconscious woman into the center and offers her to their god. A deep voice answers from the darkness, the Rat God, furious at receiving only one sacrifice. The terrified cultist begs forgiveness, explaining that city women have become too cautious to capture. The monstrous being snarls and orders him to capture young men instead. To reward his obedience, the rat god drops a chunk of raw meat before him. The cultist devours it hungrily as the summoning circle flares. Crimson tentacles rise, taking the woman and lifting her into the air. A monstrous mouth opens in the shadows, consuming her in one dreadful bite. The rat god's voice rumbles again, demanding that future sacrifices be of noble blood, their flesh soft and rich with flavor. Trembling, the cultists bow to the darkness. Unaware of these horrors, Lin Zichen resumes his daily life. To help Han Han, who is struggling with martial arts, he begins private training sessions at her home. As a disciplined yet patient instructor, he carefully corrects her form, guiding her stance, adjusting her posture, and teaching her to channel strength efficiently. When she attacks with renewed confidence, he effortlessly intercepts her strikes, praising her improvements while pointing out refinements. After an intense session, Han Han collapses, breathless but smiling. She feels stronger and more capable than ever. Eager to progress faster, she asks to train every day, but Lin refuses, warning that overtraining will damage her body. Reluctantly, she agrees to maintain their current schedule. Their quiet moment is interrupted when Lin's phone vibrates with two headlines. The corporation offers free treatment for crippled mechanical prodigies, and Beijing University genius achieves dual gene fusion, the youngest in history. The second news shocks him. He recalls the prodigy he has often been compared to someone who has accomplished the impossible at just 18. As Lin lowers the phone and a question stirs in his mind, gene fusion has become the pinnacle of human advancement, but he wonders if merging with foreign genes truly the ultimate path to power, or could there exist another way to transcend human limits? Lin Zichen had fully embraced his new life as a web novelist, pouring his focus and energy into his writing career. His incredible typing speed and fast-paced storytelling quickly gained massive attention online. Readers were astonished by how much he could write in such a short time, amazed that he managed to release 50,000 words on his very first day. This success was largely thanks to his advance ability and the celestial root of wisdom, which had allowed him to steadily refine both his mental processing and his hand coordination. After a month of practice, his typing speed had reached 10,000 words per hour, meaning he only needed to write for about an hour each day. The rest of his time could be spent on cultivation and martial training, creating a perfect balance between his two pursuits. His father was deeply proud of him. Seeing the growing popularity of the novel, he estimated that Lin could earn around 50,000 wen in his first month, and possibly double that with continued consistency. This prediction filled Lin with motivation. He began planning to use his earnings to unlock the Exotic Beast Codex, setting his first goal on the Savage Giant Eagle Codex. In the following weeks, Lin continued training at his martial arts class. Under instructor Hao, the students participated in a sparring session designed to measure their progress. Lin's performance was unmatched. His techniques were swift, precise, and overwhelming, leaving every opponent defeated before they could even react. His dominance in the ring earned him both $88 in prize money and valuable progress toward his survival of the fittest achievement. Among the other students, Han Han continued to struggle but showed noticeable improvement. Previously, she had been defeated in seconds by one of the weaker classmates, but this time she managed to hold her own for several minutes and even land several strikes. Her growth was enough to earn her quiet recognition from the instructor, who encouraged her to maintain her effort. After the sparring ended, Hao announced that their class would face the second-year elite class in a month, aiming to defeat all but the top 3 fighters. The challenge energized the students, and the atmosphere became filled with anticipation and competitive spirit. As time passed, Lin's father's web novel continued to skyrocket in popularity, bringing in $89,000 by the end of the month. With this success, Lin decided to finally purchase beast meat for cultivation. At the supermarket, he inquired about Savage Giant Eagle meat, but the clerk mentioned a discount for bulk purchases over 100 jin. Our boy realized he could save more money by waiting another month to buy in bulk, so he postponed the purchase until he had enough funds. The next day at school, Lin and Han Han visited the cafeteria to try the newly opened stir-fry counter. The rich scent of food filled the air as chefs worked rapidly behind the counter, and the two managed to find a table before the long line formed. The environment was lively, filled with laughter and conversation, until a sudden argument broke out at the counter between two students over cutting in line. The dispute quickly escalated as more students became involved, drawing attention from everyone nearby. Lin observed the situation calmly from his seat, assessing the scene before stepping in to resolve it with quiet authority, preventing it from turning violent. Far from the normal bustle of student life, a very different meeting was taking place in a luxurious villa in Shanghai. The Rat God cult had gathered in secrecy to discuss recent events. Their leader, cloaked in black, reported that one of their members had lost control in public and been killed by security forces. The cult accepted the loss without concern. The leader then introduced a new recruit to replace him and announced a shift in the cult's objectives. Following new commands from their deity, the cult was to focus on capturing noble elites rather than ordinary victims, as the Rat God now demanded higher quality offerings. Some members objected, fearing that targeting nobles would attract too much attention, so the leader proposed a compromise to target the sons of wealthy but politically powerless merchants. This would minimize risk while still satisfying the god's demands. The meeting concluded with the leader assigning the new recruit a test mission. He was instructed to capture a handsome young man as a sacrifice for one of the rat god's subordinates. The recruit accepted the order without hesitation, intent on proving his worth to the cult by selecting the most attractive and suitable target he could find within the city. In class, Hiyu was still angry about the cafeteria incident. After digging around, he discovered that the students who had cut in line were from Class 3 of the second year, the elite honors class they were scheduled to compete against soon. The revelation shocked him. Students from such a prestigious group acting so shamelessly didn't make sense. Lin Zichen, leaning casually against the lockers, didn't seem surprised. To him, good grades didn't necessarily mean good character. His attention shifted when he noticed a breaking news alert on his phone. Another wealthy heir had gone missing, the fifth one in recent weeks. With no ransom or clues left behind, the pattern was unmistakable. Lin immediately connected it to the Rat God cult and their mission to target nobles. The realization hardened his expression. He was certain the cult was responsible. When the day of the interclass competition finally arrived, the gym buzzed with excitement and tension. 2 fighting rings were set up, and both classes filled the stands. The same students who had caused trouble in the cafeteria glared at Heiyu from across the room, but he met their eyes with equal defiance. As the matches began, the atmosphere quickly turned serious. Han Han was the first to fight but was overpowered by a senior's strong kick, losing almost immediately. The pattern continued as one first year after another fell in quick succession. The upperclassmen were ruthless, barely giving their opponents a chance to react. A tall, red-haired senior stepped into the ring next and crushed 9 first-year students in under 10 minutes, displaying terrifying skill and control. By the time she was finished, only 4 first-years remained: Lin Zichen, Wang Shujie, Lu Gang, and He Yu. The honors class had lost only 5 fighters so far, and all of them were girls. The difference in power between the 2 groups was clear. Teacher Hao could barely hide his frustration, but decided to send He Yu next. Confident and unshaken, He Yu accepted the challenge. He lived up to his word, quickly defeating 6 upper-class girls in a row with controlled precision. However, his momentum came to an abrupt end when the honors class sent out their first male fighter. The student's steps were heavy and deliberate as he entered the ring, and his aura alone was intimidating. He Yu recognized him immediately. It was the bully from the cafeteria. Thinking this would be an easy chance to settle the score, He Yu underestimated him. The bully's first strike came faster than expected, a brutal punch that drove into Heiyu's stomach with crushing force. The impact left Heiyu gasping, and before he could recover, another kick followed with a powerful kick that sent him crashing out of the ring. Defeated and in pain, Heiyu realized too late that his opponent wasn't just strong, he was one of the top fighters in the honors class. After the match, the bully turned his attention to Lin Zichen, but he didn't react. When his turn came, he entered the ring with calm composure. The crowd erupted with anticipation as the two faced off. The bully launched a high kick aimed at Lin's head, but Lin easily caught his leg midair and, with one smooth motion, slammed him headfirst into the mat. The sound echoed across the gym. He didn't get up again. The spectators froze, stunned into silence as he was one of the top 5 fighters of the honors class. Yet Lin had defeated him instantly. Teacher Hao watched quietly, realizing that Lin's abilities were far beyond what he had shown before. Even our guy's classmates were unsettled, whispering among themselves about how inhuman his strength seemed. After the brief silence, the protagonist calmly turned to the remaining upperclassmen and asked who would fight next. No one stepped forward out of fear. What followed next was completely shaking. Within half an hour, all 29 remaining second-year students were defeated. Lin stood alone in the ring, surrounded by fallen opponents, while his system interface appeared before his eyes. Despite the overwhelming victory, Lin felt unsatisfied. His progress toward the system's goal was slow, and the limited pool of opponents at school no longer challenged him. His strength had already surpassed the level of his peers, and continuing under the same rules would only hold him back. Determined to move forward on his own terms, he decided to change his approach entirely. The principal of Shanghai High exhales heavily, rubbing her temples as she stares across the desk at our hero. A first-year student challenging the entire school sounds absurd, but Lin's expression leaves no room for doubt. He insists on it and asks him to come to the gym so he can show him why he's confident. Moments later, they stand in the dimly lit gymnasium. The air is still, and the fluorescent lights cast long shadows across the polished floor. The principal crosses his arms, waiting for an explanation. He calmly removes his jacket, revealing the defined, powerful build beneath his uniform. His composure never falters as he walks toward a massive barbell resting on the floor. He grips it with one hand and lifts it high over his head. The barbell weighs 700 kilograms, yet he raises it effortlessly, his muscles steady and unmoving. The principal freezes, his mouth falling open in shock. The realization hits him all at once. This is what he meant by showing his strength. His power isn't just impressive, it's unnatural. Not even Wu Tiancheng, the school's strongest senior, had displayed this kind of ability in his first year. The principal finally acknowledges the truth of what she's seen. Lin's strength is far beyond ordinary. He gives him an approving nod and agrees to authorize his school-wide challenge. Lin accepts with a grin but adds a condition. The event must include rewards. Without incentives, no one will bother to challenge him. He explains the plan clearly. Each participant receives a small reward, while the main prize pool increases with every challenger. If someone defeats him, they claim it all. If no one does, the winnings go to him. Amused by his confidence, the principal agrees. Before leaving, Lin requests that he keep his strength secret to prevent anyone from backing out early. He promises to stay silent. Later that evening, back in his office, the principal finalizes the event plans. When Lin reviews them, he nods in satisfaction. Their quiet discussion catches the attention of two passing teachers who nearly stop in shock at the sight of the principal smiling so warmly. The sight of the usually stern, iron principal showing such approval toward a student leaves them completely confused. The next afternoon at precisely 2 p.m., the gym is packed to capacity. Students crowd every seat, buzzing with excitement and disbelief. Two large fighting rings dominate the center, where Lin Zichen stands beside the principal. When he takes the microphone, the principal's voice carries across the hall as she introduces Lin, recounting his victories and announcing the rules of the challenge. One first-year student against the entire school. The gym erupts in noise, mocking laughter, shocked shouts, and outright disbelief. Many call the idea insane, claiming the principal must have lost his mind. They argue that beating one top class doesn't mean a first year can take on the second and third years combined. Through the uproar, Lin remains still and calm. When the noise fades slightly, he announces that starting tomorrow, he will be in the gym every afternoon for 2 hours. Anyone willing to fight him can come then. The anger and mockery around him doesn't bother him. He sees it as fuel. The more provoked the students become, the more challenges he will face, and the faster he can advance his survival of the fittest progress. As night falls, a young blonde man walks alone, nursing a drink. When two women approach and invite him to a bar, he dismisses them coldly. He gets frustrated as he wanders through the neon glow. He's a new recruit of the Rat God cult, sent on his first mission to find a suitable sacrifice. Days have passed with no success, and his anxiety grows. He considers kidnapping a celebrity but knows he's too weak to overpower one. Time is running out, and the thought of failing his superiors makes his stomach twist. Then, as he paces through the streets, he catches sight of Lin Zichen jogging past in a tank top and shorts. The man decides Lin is perfect, a strong, handsome target worthy of offering. Determination replaces panic. He follows silently as Lin turns into a deserted industrial alley. Stopping in the shadows, the blonde cultist feels excitement. He releases his power with a low growl. His body begins to twist and deform, and within moments, the human form is gone, replaced by a monstrous creature crouched in the darkness, ready to attack. He lunges forward, roaring as he launches toward Lin Zichen only for a sharp crack to slice through the silence. A brick slams into his skull with brutal force. As the Rat Man is going insane, our boy is still amazed that he managed to bump into it, as the Rat Codex can help boost his progress. The Rat Man is holding his head, considering himself as unlucky as he is fearing our hero. Then, he drops dead, which shocks Lin as he didn't expect the Rat God cult members to be this fragile. He then quickly begins to absorb the life force before anyone notices him, but the essence only helps him increase only 1%, which makes our hero think of the Rat Man as trash. Just for his own protection, he will refrain from going to night runs, because not all cult members will be that low when it comes to strength. Later at night, the city security headquarters joined forces with Shanghai University's Evolution Academy instructors and wiped out the Rat God cult. He watches the news which informs that the Rat God Curled was wiped out, and the one who defeated the Rat King this time was Wu Tiancheng, who is an instructor from the Evolution Academy, and also happens to be a gene-fused evolver classified as a high-level organism. His powers are so immense that the entire operation only took place in 30 seconds, and he defeated the enemy. Lin is amazed by the powers of a high-level organism. On the other hand, a guy in a bulletproof jacket sits sipping the tea, and wonders if there has been any contact from the others, but Tiancheng says that they have still been missing, and the elite force that went to the rebellion at source number 36 are still unaccounted for after so many years. Then, the guy asks for an update on source number 36, to which Tiancheng admits that they have been stable, or he wouldn't have time to come here and get rid of the Rat King. He thinks of it as a little fish, despite the fact that all the security headquarters were helpless in front of the Rat King. Then, the guy teases him over the alma mater, but Tiancheng feels nervous. Under the sewers, the Rat Man is begging for his life in front of the monster, who seems to be his boss. The boss is furious at him, but decides to give him another chance, but at a price of something. The monster turns to the Rat King's brother, and confronts him that he is smart enough to let his own brother take the fall while enjoying himself at the back. He threatens the Rat Man that if he doesn't start digging tunnels for him right away, he will kill him too. On the other hand, Lin is being followed by gossip as he goes through his phone reading the news of the Rat God cult members who are currently being searched for. Anyone who finds them would get a reward of 500,000 yuan. The offer makes him drool, but he knows even if he ends up finding them, he needs to stay low-key and later on dig for the rewards. Later, when he reaches the arena, he sees a lot of people who showed up. Han Han announces the rewards for the winners whoever takes a part in the duel, with prizes like iPhones and gaming consoles. A guy raises his hand to participate, but a girl steps on his face, going right in. Followed by her, many girls raise their hands to take part in it, and our boy found himself surrounded by many girls. The girls deliberately touch him, and soon things take a wild turn. He focuses on winning, knowing he hates hitting girls, but he has to win the contest. One by one, he starts throwing away the women, but the girls don't back down as they ask for a rematch. He denies, which frowns the girls because they just wanted to be close to him, no matter the circumstances. Then, a bulky boy starts walking in his direction to teach him a lesson since he's jealous of our boy. But in just a punch, our guy throws him away along with his friend. Quite a while later, Lin stands on all the contestants he has fought and defeated. Suddenly, Yan Xiaoxuan walks in, saying he wants to fight him. He used to solo the entire class, indicating he is quite strong. Yan begins by saying he wants to teach our hero a nice lesson on how to be humble and reach the top by actually working for it. Bored, our hero asks the teacher if he could begin. As the battle begins, as usual, it takes just one punch for our boy to knock down Yan. Everyone is shaken as they didn't see it coming. Next up is Chen, who is surprised that Yan got taken down by a junior. He wasn't done talking, and our boy asks permission from his teacher to begin, which makes Chen mad. As Chen charges towards our guy, Lin just throws him away in the air, dropping people's jaws. Then, one by one, he keeps taking down all the contestants. And in the end, his system notifies him that he has achieved survival of the fittest. Our boy receives the survival of the fittest attribute, but he is not sure how much of the damage he can take with that skill. He then takes Han Han as the tournament is over and walks away. Later, his principal congratulates him for earning the title of being #1 in the entire school. She is sure that he is hiding his actual strength, and he tries to dodge the topic. She then talks about Chen Wuxing, who can lift 690 kilos. So our boy's stats easily tell her that he can lift 800 kilos minimum. He lies that he can lift 795 kilograms, hiding his true stats. Instantly, he asks when he will receive his prize money, and the principal instantly transfers the amount, thinking he's obsessed with money. As she began to talk about something else, he interrupted her, asking if he can use the school pool with Han Han for swimming. He also requests it to be not interrupted by others when they are using it. She agrees instantly, but he also asks for the cameras to be covered, which sounds suspicious to her. A boy and a girl in a room alone. Still, she hands him over the keys, telling him to be cautious and not get her pregnant. He's confused because he just wants to test out Han Han's powers. As he and his best friend are making their way out, she asks him if he could help her practice for her singing competition she has taken a part in. She asks if he can rehearse with her, and he agrees, feeling happy for her. Later at night, Han Han and Zichen rehearse in her room while Shen passes a comment over a girl and boy in a room alone. Hearing that, Han Han's mother gets angry at Shen, telling him to mind his own business. Zichen overhears that and then smartly decides to leave. Before he leaves, he reminds Han Han for tomorrow to bring a swimsuit. Nervously, she takes out a swimsuit, wondering if it is too revealing, but then assures herself that it's only Zichen. The next day, she walks in the swimming pool area, and Zichen finds her adorable in the swimsuit she was wearing. Then, without wasting any more time, they begin to start practicing. After a while, Han Han asks Zichen to go up and tells him that the water passes through her body. Being confused, Zichen wonders how, and she shows through her palms that water passed through her body. Water leaks through Han Han's body, and our boy takes her out of the pool to check if there's a surge of superpower and if more water is leaking through any other part. He tests it 3 times and finds nothing abnormal about her body. Only her hand has this ability. She then asks an awkward question. If the reason she couldn't hold her pee is because some part of her body lets water pass through. He flusters and asks her to inform him when she feels like she can't hold her pee, and he will check. Han Han is glad that she at least has some superpower, aiming to prove herself the best partner for our hero. Later, he walks into a supermarket to buy 100 caddies of savage giant eagle meat. He hands her his card and address to get it delivered there. The girl who holds the card wonders who is that rich who spends insanely here. A while later, she delivers it, asking him to give her a 5-star rating. He had about 210,000 on hand, and he decided to buy the eagle meat. He's excited to see what's behind the codex, and when he touches it, his system informs that he has absorbed a massive amount of the savage giant eagle's life essence, reaching 100%. He also gains the biological attribute of Sky Eye, which gives him improved vision and motion tracking ability. He tests out the new skill, and it works really well. Then, he goes back home and sees the news where an individual underwent triple gene infusion mutation in a public area, which causes a lot of casualties. It is discussed somewhere that gene infusion is the wrong path, because only in old times nobody wanted to pick up my monster, and only monsters wanted to be humans, so if they find the right method to unlock human potential, they can evolve in advanced life forms. A doctor protests if they should only rely on traditional martial artists who cannot even stop a bullet to fight mutated beasts and not gene fusion individuals. Our guy's father discusses it with his wife, how gene fusion is also risky as they can become mutated anytime as well. She disagrees, saying the state has control over it. Then, they stroll off on the topic of their reproduction, as gene users have lost their ability to have kids. They get distracted by their son, and his mother is flustered, wondering if they accidentally discussed anything weird in front of him. Then, they gather over food, and our boy tells them about the campus singer competition, where Han Han signed up too. Hearing that, both of them decided to go and cheer for Han Han as she's also like a daughter to them. Back in the room, our hero does Han Han's makeup and tells her she looks beautiful. She blushes and her friend teases her. Han Han begins to explain that she's bad at makeup, hence she took his help, but her friend stops pulling her leg and tells her to be ready as she's up soon. Suddenly, Han Han calls for our boy, crying as she has peed herself again. As she cries, she's worried as her performance is just about to start, and she practiced too long for it to get ruined. He stops her from crying, or else her makeup would run down. A solution pops up in his mind. He instantly takes the curtain and a pair of scissors and makes a dress out of it. He hands her over the dress to go change instantly. She asks him to turn his back, and she changes into the dress. He's blushing as he's turned away, knowing Han Han is changing in the same room as him. After she has changed, she admits that she feels less nervous now since she has already cried a lot. He wishes her luck and sends her away. The host announces that the next performers are Lee Chuxin and Shen Qinghan. They both pour everything they have in this competition and end up winning. On the other hand, a guy enters the classroom and sees the curtains torn apart, wondering who did that. The next day, the hero is seen sweeping the floors as compensation for cutting the curtains down. He checks his notification and realizes that he has saved up around 900,000, enough to unlock the next Beast Codex. He gets it delivered, and this time it's Stealth Lizard, and he absorbs all of its life essence, gaining natural camouflage as his skill. His system informs him that he can lower his vitality to reduce his presence, and also ask his biological level. He's surprised that he got two effects in one, which is lowering his presence, which lets him hide or ambush enemies, and hiding his biological level lets him play dumb and strike hard. When he's done doing that, he goes to the market to buy a cake for his mom. As he's making his way there, he bumps into Senior Zhang Kai. He sees his legs, and Zhang Kai explains that he ended up getting his legs crushed in a motorcycle accident, making him amputate his legs. But to his luck, he joined a cybernetic enhancement program by the Mecha God Group, and he went from being disabled to a cyborg. Our boy inquires about the woman they have captured, and Zhang reveals that she is a remnant of the Rat God cult, and she was the only female among the 9 remnants. Then, Zhang takes his leave, and our guy wonders that the security department has spent all their time trying to hunt down the Rat God remnants, yet the Mecha God Group got one so easily, making him realize how influential the group might be. His mother calls him and wonders where he is, and he informs that he'll be getting home with the cake soon. Him and Han Han were born a day apart, hence their parents celebrate their birthdays on the same day. They have turned 18, and after blowing the candles, they exchange gifts. Suddenly, the ground begins to rumble. Everything is falling apart, as if it's an earthquake. Our guy immediately feels like it's deeper than just an earthquake. The news reports that the earthquake in Shanghai City was only a minor quake. Since the city is not located near any tectonic plate boundaries, experts state that the probability of a major earthquake occurring is extremely low. After finishing his breakfast, Lin Zichen leaves for school together with his friend. Having already passed their 18th birthdays, the two of them are officially adults now. Yet the pressure of the college entrance exams still weighs heavily on Han Han, making her visibly nervous. After some time, Lin Zichen finally manages to save up enough money to unlock the Void Eel Codex. Upon activating it, he absorbs the Void Eel's life essence and successfully gains a new attribute, Danger Sense. This ability allows him to perceive hostility from other living creatures around him. With this newly acquired power, Lin Zichen can now avoid sneak attacks before they happen. Curious about its effectiveness, he decides to test it out while walking through a shopping mall. As he strolls through the crowded space, he observes that, despite everything, most people in everyday life are still ordinary individuals. During his walk, he senses the presence of an undead slug and immediately makes it his next target, hoping to obtain its powerful regenerative ability. However, reality quickly dampens his enthusiasm. The undead slug is extremely expensive, and even with a manuscript fee of 100,000 per month, the cost is still far beyond his current means. Lin Zichen realizes that if he wants to continue advancing, he will need to significantly increase his income, something he plans to focus on after the entrance exams are over. Meanwhile, inside the principal's office, an employee is giving a formal presentation on this year's academic performance. He explains that overall results across cities in Nanjing province are nearly identical to those of last year. Changzhou City remains in first place, followed by Changzhou, Nangwan, Shanghai, and Doshan, while Haiyuan City once again ranks at the bottom. After concluding the report, the employee asks about the situation at Inside Source Site 36. Upon hearing that everything has stabilized, he visibly relaxes. Principal Yuan tells him that he may leave. Once she is alone, she reflects quietly and realizes that she has not taken on a disciple in many years. In this world, the martial arts college entrance exam spans a total of 9 days. On the morning of the first day, candidates must complete a written examination that tests their theoretical knowledge. The afternoon is reserved for a physical fitness assessment. From days 2 through 8, students undergo a full week of live combat evaluation. During this period, martial arts candidates from across the province are sent into a forest environment, where they must survive in the wilderness. Finally, on day 9, the candidates face a compatibility test involving gene fusion and mechanical modification. Today is June 7th, marking the first day of Lin Zichen's entrance exams. Han Han is visibly anxious, worried that she might panic and make mistakes during the test. Seeing her distress, Lin Zichen hugs her and reassures her, telling her that her theoretical foundation is solid and that she will definitely pass. After wishing each other good luck, the two head toward their respective exam halls. Lin Zichen finishes his written exam quickly, With a significant amount of time still remaining, he decides to use the opportunity to brainstorm ideas for his novel. When he later walks out of the classroom, he notices Han Han emerging with an embarrassed expression. For a moment, he wonders if she may have messed up her test. He tries to comfort her, reminding her that students from the martial arts track only need to pass the written portion. However, Han Han quickly reassures him that she performed well. She then says she needs to rush to the bathroom, and Lin Zichen urges her to hurry since the physical fitness test will begin soon. During the fitness assessment, Lin Zichen's results completely shock everyone present. He lifts 950 kilograms in a single-arm barbell lift, leaving both students and examiners stunned. He then crushes the 100-meter sprint in roughly 5 seconds and achieves a vertical jump of nearly 5 meters. Afterward, Han Han shares her own results with him. She completed the 100-meter sprint in under 10 seconds, jumped slightly over 1.5 meters vertically, and managed a single-arm barbell lift of 125 kilograms. Although she knows her performance cannot compare to his, Lin Zichen reassures her that her scores are still exceptional for a female student. At that moment, another friend approaches them, announcing that the written test results have already been released. He mentions that Wang Shujie and Lu Gang both scored in the 80s, while he himself nearly reached an 80. Han Han then reveals that she scored 82, which leaves their friend deeply impressed. As for Lin Zichen, it goes without saying that his score is even higher. As Lin Zichen and Han Han walk home together, Han Han wonders aloud what the upcoming forest test site will be like. Lin Zichen confidently tells her not to worry, assuring her that he will protect her during the survival assessment. In response, she promises to stay close to him at all times. Elsewhere, a masked man meets with a safety officer and asks him to use his identity to help control the 10 geniuses participating in the live combat test. He hands the officer a box containing 10 demon seeds, explaining that they can temporarily enhance his strength. In return, he promises to recommend the officer to the higher-ups and help him become an official member of the organization. The safety officer reminds him that his true objective is not official status, but rather obtaining a mutated fruit. However, the masked man explains that a mutated fruit would likely only allow him to evolve to ordinary Tier 7. On the other hand, joining the organization could potentially grant him the opportunity to evolve into a high-level life form. After taking a deep breath and weighing his options, the officer finally agrees that becoming an official member first would indeed be the better choice. The instructor announces that they are about to arrive at the exam site for the combat assessment. He instructs all examinees to make their preparations in advance and get ready to disembark from the bus. Lin Zichen gently wakes his friend, and soon after, the instructor orders all examinees assigned to Entrance 9 to get off the vehicle and proceed toward their designated assembly point. Throughout the forest, numerous score tokens have been placed in advance. Each token is marked with a number that represents the points it is worth. These score tokens are deliberately positioned in dangerous and treacherous locations. Some are hidden among treetops, others are located along sheer cliffs, and some are even embedded within the bodies of wild animals or mutant beasts. All wild animals and mutant beasts in the area are being monitored by safety officers at all times. If an emergency occurs, examinees are allowed to call for help, but doing so will result in immediate disqualification. The mutant beasts deeper within the forest are specifically reserved for geniuses who wish to earn extra points. Ordinary students are strongly advised to know their limits and act cautiously. The final score for the live combat assessment is determined not only by the total points collected, but also by an overall performance grade evaluated through real-time camera footage. There are a total of 100,000 examinees participating in this assessment, yet only 50,000 points exist across the entire forest. This means that more than half of the candidates will end the exam without scoring a single point. The combat assessment is designed to encourage both cooperation and competition. Participants are allowed to share score tokens with others, or even snatch them directly from their opponents. The instructor reminds everyone to prepare themselves, announcing that the exam will officially begin in 1 hour. Suddenly, one student loudly announces that his father is a senior executive at the Mecha Deity Group and offers to pay anyone willing to carry him through the exam. Another examinee declares himself the top student from the gifted class at Changzhou High School and boldly offers to take others under his wing. Before he can continue, the instructor smacks him on the head and sternly warns everyone that open team formation is strictly forbidden. Meanwhile, Lin Zichen quickly becomes surrounded by several girls who eagerly ask him to take them under his wing. He coldly refuses every request without hesitation. Just then, another young man approaches and asks to buy some of his food. Lin Zichen casually hands him a portion and tells him that payment is unnecessary. The man stubbornly refuses to accept it for free. He introduces himself as Hong Junping, a student from the rocket class at Shenzhen High School, and proposes forming a team together. Hong Junping is visibly shocked when Lin Zichen rejects his offer outright and walks away after thanking him for the food. Han Han finds the situation strange and wonders aloud why Hong approached them for food when there are so many food stalls nearby. Lin Zichen calmly tells her that Hong did not come for food at all, but merely wanted an excuse to talk to her, and the two of them continue with the exam. In order to help his friend adapt first, Lin Zichen does not immediately venture into the depths of the forest. Instead, he begins searching for score tokens along the outer edge of the forest. Activating his Sky Eye, Lin Zichen quickly spots a point token at the top of a tree and instructs Han Han to retrieve it. Han Han dashes forward, climbs swiftly, and successfully grabs the token. Soon after, Lin Zichen identifies several more and Han Han rushes around to collect them one by one. Excited by her success, she happily jumps toward Lin Zichen, thanking him for spotting all the points. At that moment, Hong Junping appears once again. He claims that he has already collected 28 points and states that he always repays even the smallest kindness 100-fold. Deep down, however, he only wants another chance to speak with Han Han. He suggests forming a team of 3 and proposes splitting the scores evenly. Lin Zichen steps forward and firmly refuses the offer. Instead, he demands that Hong hand over all of his score tokens. Enraged, Hong Junping angrily declares that Lin Zichen has made a grave mistake. He charges forward and attempts to attack. Lin Zichen remains calm, standing his ground, and delivers a single punch to Hong's abdomen, instantly knocking him to the ground. Lin Zichen and Han Han leave without hesitation, now possessing even more score tokens. Han Han worries whether Hong will be alright, but Lin Zichen reassures her that he will be fine. Afterward, Lin Zichen continues helping his friend locate additional score tokens. He also teaches her how to use a simple bamboo pole as a weapon to hunt wild boars. He instructs her to aim carefully before striking, and reminds her to be fast, powerful, and precise. Along the way, they pick fruit to eat and work together to teach a lesson to anyone who attempts to ambush them. When both of them finally grow tired, they lean against each other and rest quietly. Lin Zichen finds himself wishing that the peaceful moment could last a little longer. Unfortunately, before long, they reach the central region of the forest, the mutant beast zone. However, as soon as they step into the area, they are met with a chilling sight. Blood stains the ground everywhere, and every mutant beast has already vanished. Seeing the mutant beast zone empty makes Han Han upset, because if Lin Zichen had come earlier, he would have been awarded the genius title. Our hero reassures his friend that the title doesn't hold that much importance, and with the cameras and security officers everywhere, he wouldn't have been able to absorb the mutant beast's life essence anyway. For him, it's more worthwhile to train his friend in wilderness survival skills. Right after the actual combat assessment ends, the gene fusion compatibility test begins. At the Island Gene Research Institute, the students are asked to go inside and line up at the test window. While they wait for their turn, Han Han asks her friend if the reagents in front of them are used to test the gene fusion compatibility. The reagents in front are the flow cloud jellyfish. The genes of the flow cloud beast have a very high level of compatibility with the human body, and they easily undergo a certain special chemical reaction with human blood, which is why they're used as the reagent for testing gene fusion compatibility. For testing, fresh blood is directly extracted from the examinee on the spot. Then, it is injected into the flow cloud jellyfish reagent to trigger a chemical reaction. Based on the intensity of the reaction, it is determined whether the examinee is suitable for gene fusion. One of the examinees hopes that he passes the fusion test because he doesn't want to take the mechanical modification test. The girl behind him agrees because she's heard that the mechanical modification compatibility test to become a cyborg involves implanting alloy materials directly into the body, and the pain is worse than childbirth. Han Han takes her test, and she and her friend wait for the results. The test results will be out in an hour. As they wait, someone excitedly announces that his gene fusion compatibility is 8%, and he can become a gene fusioner now. Someone else feels disappointed for only getting 4% and failing, while another one of them is happy to barely pass at 6%. 8% is considered excellent, but 10% is the benchmark to get into top universities, Kyoto and Shanghai. The Kyoto prodigy scores 16% on the gene fusion compatibility test, and our hero's physical strength is way above his, so he thinks he'll be able to get 20% compatibility. Han Han starts getting nervous about her score. Lin Zichen tries to comfort her, but he also worries that if her score turns out to be low, they won't be able to stay together. Right then, the other examinees excitedly scream for getting 10% and 11% in their scores. Seeing the two students behind him get their results, our hero decides to check his. Han Han is scared to check her score, so she asks him to check his first, and then check hers. As our hero checks his score, he sees that he scores 15% compatibility. Han Han excitedly hugs him, feeling confident that he'll definitely be the top scorer in the province. However, our hero is disappointed that he scores lower than the prodigy and realizes that physical strength alone isn't what matters. Next up, he decides to check Han Han's score. Their friends reassure her that she'll definitely score better. As Lin Zichen checks her score, everyone is surprised to see her compatibility score at 21%. Meanwhile, at the Provincial Education HQ, everyone gathers to take a look at the gene fusion compatibility results from all schools. They all see Lin Zichen's score at 15% and congratulate Principal Bai for producing the top scorer from Shanghai School. Everyone thinks Lin Zichen is the top scorer, but then Han Han's results shock everyone. No one can believe that Han Han scores 21% because she always seems average. Yuan asks what kind of student Han Han is, and Principal Bai tells her that Han Han was always average and thinks there must be an error in the result. Having no other way, Yuan takes a sigh and decides to go and check it herself. Back at the testing center, not even Han Han can believe it herself and thinks it's a mistake. Our hero tells her that it's accurate because she has a very high affinity with water, and since the flow cloud jellyfish used in the gene fusion test is a water-type mutant beast, it must be true. Han Han's eyes light up in excitement, seeing herself as a genius, and she finally feels worthy of her friend. Right then, Yuan enters the site riding a giant water wave. The examinees are shocked seeing her come in and think that she's planning to flood the place. Seeing Yuan walk in, everyone makes way for her and welcomes her. They're surprised that Yuan, who comes from a 1,000-year-old martial family, has visited them. They talk about how the Yuan family once slew a dragon and fused its genes. Seeing her control the ocean wave, they now realize she's a water-type gene fusioner. Yuan walks up to Han Han and asks the staff to take her blood sample 3 times and test again. After giving 3 tubes of her blood, Han Han sits with her arm numb, and a doctor asks her to come with him. Han Han walks into the vice principal's office. Yuan tells her that all her tests show a 21% score and straight up offers to take her as her disciple. Han Han is shocked hearing the offer. Yuan starts playing around with the water in the glass and tells her that if she becomes her disciple, she will also be able to play around with water as she wishes. Han Han is caught off guard by the offer and asks to take some time to think about it because she wants to talk to Lin Zichen about it. However, Yuan rushes to tell her that she doesn't need to think about it and that becoming her disciple comes with only benefits. Yuan is both the director of the Provincial Education HQ and the vice principal of Shanghai, and she tells Han Han that she should attend Shanghai University for her studies. Han Han stands there nervous and unable to say anything. They exchange WeChat, and Yuan tells her that she also has another disciple who came 10 years before, and although they're the same age, Han Han should call her senior sister. Yen sends her a photo, and when Han Han takes a look at it, she's shocked to see that the disciple is Bai Shui. She asks her master about the name, and Yuan tells her that it's Luo Gan Shui. Yuan asks her disciple if she knows her senior sister, and Han Han explains that her close friend in elementary school looks just like her. But then she is transferred to another school, so Han Han wonders if it's the same person. Yuan finds her disciple's compatibility beyond anything she has ever seen, and proceeds to run a full-body examination to see if there is anything unusual or strange about her body. However, when she examines Han Han's body, she is surprised to see that there is nothing strange about it. It is far too normal for someone with such a high compatibility, which is very unusual. Yuan tells her disciple that she will alter her real score to 16%, so as to prevent malicious people from targeting her, and tells her that she can leave now. After Han Han leaves, Yuan calls her dad to tell him that she has taken Han Han as a disciple. She further adds that she has also looked into their background, and it's spotless. As for Lin Zichen, who ranks second, she finds out that the two of them are childhood friends. Yuan's dad is impressed and believes that they could get great benefits from this disciple in the future, and he cautions his daughter against letting anyone find out about Han Han's talent. Meanwhile, our hero is surprised that his friend finds a master so suddenly, but he decides to go with it. If Yuan means no harm, then having a powerful master would be good. And if she turns out to be a bad person, Han Han can just end the master-disciple relationship once she's strong enough. As our hero and his friend get back home, their moms take them to the Mingxiang restaurant to celebrate. They're impressed by Han Han's score and feel happy that the two friends can go to the same university again. They all celebrate Han Han and Lin Zichen getting first and second place and return home after hanging out. Later that night, Lin Zichen's mom hears a knock at the door and sees Han Han at the door and thinks she has come to sleep with Lin Zichen. Han Han hesitantly tells her friend's mom that she comes to talk to Lin Zichen about something important and embarrassingly walks up to his room. Lin Zichen's mother wonders what is so important that it needs to be said in person and thinks that she has come to confess her feelings. Han Han knocks on Lin Zichen's door and tells him that she is here to talk about her new master. She explains that when Yuan fully examines her body, she doesn't find anything special, and her body is completely normal like everyone else's. The fact that Yuan, the woman who can control waves of the ocean, cannot detect any secret within Han Han's body, makes our hero realize that Han Han's body is more mysterious than he thought. He tells his friend not to tell anyone about it because they don't know what kind of consequences it might bring. He assures her that they will study it slowly once they are stronger and more knowledgeable. Han Han agrees with her friend and then proceeds to tell him about her senior sister. She shows him the photo and tells him that she thought it was Bai Jue. Our hero agrees that the woman in the photo looks like their friend, but her aura and temperament are completely different. However, he is curious about where the photo is taken. Han Han asks her master, but all she can get is that it is called the Origin Ground, and the master doesn't tell her anything more. After quietly sitting on the bed for a while, Han Han asks her friend if men like women who wear chipaos. Lin Zichen wonders if she is influenced by her master and starts blushing as he imagines her in the outfit. He tells her that she would look good if she wore it and says that he likes it. Han Han then asks him about stockings and what color she should get. Our hero starts blushing and tells her that he would choose black or white, and Han Han straight up places an order online. Right then, Lin Zichen's mom knocks on the door and brings a bag of items that Han Han's mother sends over because she is sleeping over. Han Han feels embarrassed that her mom sends her everything, but Lin Zichen's mom tells them that they are grown-ups now and can stay up late together. Han Han takes out the items from her bag to go to the washroom, but she is shocked to see that her mom packs her protection. She feels embarrassed and rushes to the washroom while our hero is left confused. Both our hero and his friend are admitted to Shanghai University's Evolution College. Han Han, like Lin Zichen, also signs a contract with Hiyu's martial arts school, and today they are heading to the martial arts school to take part in a promotional event. However, after a short ride, our hero unexpectedly runs into some weird people blocking his way. Liu Chuanwu, the dean of Shanghai University's martial arts college, introduces himself and tells our hero that he is here on behalf of the Heaven Human Pavilion. Tien Ren Pavilion is a conservation organization that opposes gene fusion and mechanical modification, and they have been a hot topic for a while. However, most of the attention comes from people criticizing them for misleading the younger generations. Liu Chuanwu invites our hero to the Tien Ren Pavilion. Our hero tries to walk away, but Dean Liu stops him to talk and even offers him the latest iPhone. At the meeting, Dean Liu explains that the Tien Ren Pavilion researches unlocking the potential of pure-blood human people without any gene fusion or mechanical modification. Their aim is to break the limitations of the ordinary level and evolve into advanced, rare, or even legendary level beings. Liu claims that his research has already achieved some results and feels confident that Lin Zichen will understand it once he watches the video. Dean Liu hands his phone to Lin Zichen and shows him a video in which he, with a biological level of ordinary 9th rank, overpowers and defeats a high-level gene fusioner. As our hero watches the video, he is surprised to see Liu fighting Wu Tiancheng, who single-handedly wipes out the rat god cult. Wu Tiancheng flies into the air and rains all his feathers at his opponent. Liu blocks the attacks by covering himself. Wu Tiancheng comes back down. Liu rushes toward him and knocks him out with a punch to the face. Dean Liu believes that the human body is already unmatched and that the bodies of other races are not needed. He believes that pure-blooded humans who train with body tempering techniques are the real future of humanity. After watching the video, our protagonist is left astounded and wonders if the video is real or fake, or if Wu Tiancheng is just some planted actor. Then Dean Liu clears all his confusion, assures him that the video is not tampered with at all, and invites him to watch him challenge other high-level gene fusioners. Our hero wonders why the Dean doesn't post the video online because it could help promote the Tien Ren Pavilion much more effectively. However, Dean Liu tells him that the authorities don't allow it because they believe there is no future without raising biological levels, so they don't think it is worth promoting. The problem is that if the Tien Ren Pavilion isn't promoted, more people won't be encouraged to join the research, and achieving a breakthrough will be extremely difficult because a qualitative change can only happen when there is enough quantity. However, the Dean believes that if a genius like our hero joins them, he won't end up like him, training hard for 50 years and still being stuck at the ordinary 9th rank. He feels confident that Lin Zichen can evolve into a high-level being. Our hero is confused when he hears that the Dean trains for 50 years when he only looks like he is in his 50s. Dean Liu reveals that he only looks 50 or 60 years old, but in reality, he is almost 100 years old, and the only reason he can stay this young is because of the body tempering technique. On Liu Chuanwu's insistence, Lin Zichen agrees to look up his information on the Qiandu Encyclopedia. His profile reads that the body tempering technique can extend one's lifespan, but he doesn't know if his parents can cultivate it. Lin Zichen reads more and learns that Liu Chuanwu is the esteemed eldest young master of the renowned Liu martial family. Their family is one of the top families in Nanjiang province, but after the era of gene fusion, the entire family declines for refusing to undergo fusion with other mutant beast genes. As Liu Chuanwu, his home is broken. His wife and children leave him because he refuses to take the gene fusion path, and they choose gene fusion. Our hero starts imagining himself with Han Han, and feels confident that she would never leave him for the bond they share. But then, the relationship section catches our hero by surprise. He is shocked to learn that Liu Chuanwu's wife is his friend's master. However, seeing their kids' photos grayed out makes him wonder if it means the children are dead. After reading the profile, our hero now knows better than to underestimate Dean Liu. Liu Chuanwu tells our hero that the fact he looks so young despite being almost 100 years old proves the potential of pure-blooded humans, and it's why the Tien Ren Pavilion exists. Tien Ren means humans who defy fate itself and triumph over the heavens. Gene fusion borrows power from mutant beasts, and because of that, can never surpass them. Liu Chuanwu believes that one day humanity will fail to withstand the mutant beasts' invasion, leading to their extinction. The same goes for mechanical modifications, because many materials used in mechanical modifications also come from mutant beasts. It relies on them and can never surpass them. Dean Liu clarifies that his Tien Ren Pavilion doesn't oppose gene fusion or mechanical modification, but it opposes relying solely on these two paths. He believes that humans should rely on gene fusion and mechanical modification for the early stages, and during that time, they can research alternative paths and prepare for the later stage. Dean Liu extends his hand forward and invites Lin Zichen to join the Tien Ren Pavilion to improve humanity's future. Our hero remains quiet, and Liu Chuanwu tells him that he believes he can be the first pure-blooded human to break past the limits of the ordinary level. However, our hero still doesn't know exactly what the body tempering technique is. Liu explains that it is a blood tempering technique found in the ancient ruins. The blood tempering technique uses one's Q1 and blood to refine the body, strengthen the flesh, and increase personal combat power. The records found in the ancient ruins say that when the blood tempering technique is cultivated to its highest realm, one can achieve a sanctified body capable of flying into the skies, burrowing into the earth, and shattering mountains and rivers with a single punch. It can tear apart giant mutant beasts with a body as tough as steel, using nothing but human flesh and bones. However, the blood tempering technique can only be cultivated by pure-blooded humans. Gene fusioners have impurities in their blood, so they can't cultivate it, and cyborgs have incomplete bodies, which stops their Q1 and blood from circulating, which means they can't do it either. That's the reason Tien Ren Pavilion believes that the future belongs solely to pure-blooded humans and not to gene fusioners or cyborgs. Liu extends his hand forward and asks our hero to join them on their journey of blood tempering technique. However, our protagonist doesn't think he knows enough about pure-blooded humans to make a decision and tells Liu that he'll first look into it. Dean Liu agrees that taking time to understand things is important, but he also tells Lin Zichen that not taking the pure-blooded human path would be a waste for someone with his physical talent. From the Tien Ren Pavilion's perspective, the top scorer with 16% gene fusion compatibility is insignificant compared to our hero, and they firmly believe that Lin Zichen, with his first rank in the physical test, is the true top scorer of Nanjiang province, and if he chooses to take the path of a pure-blooded human, they believe he will crush the top scorer in the future. Han Han sits awkwardly for being dragged into this debate without even saying anything, but then our hero introduces her and tells Dean Liu that she is the top scorer of the province. He picks up his iPhone, thanks Liu Chuanwu for the gift, and proceeds to leave. As he walks away, Dean Liu desperately asks him to join them for 6 months and give it a try. He offers to double whatever benefits Evolution College is offering them, and when Lin Zichen still doesn't stop, he offers triple benefits. All of a sudden, our hero is back on the table, singing praises of the Tien Ren Pavilion. He enthusiastically agrees to bring his talent to the Tien Ren Pavilion and contribute to the future of pure-blooded humans. Liu Chuanwu is surprised to see our hero's greed for money. Lin Zichen then asks him about the origin of the land. Dean Liu is surprised that our hero knows about the origin of the land, and explains that it is a place believed to be the origin of life, and all the mutant beasts that exist originate from there. After hearing about the birthplace of life, our hero now learns that humanity knows about anomalies, and can even access the origin ground. Liu Chuanwu tells him that's where the meat in the mall comes from. Otherwise, the remaining supply on Earth isn't even enough for those in power, let alone the average citizen. Lin Zichen asks if he has any videos of the origin ground, but Liu tells him that all electronic devices stop working, and the only way to record something is to rely on realistic paintings. Our hero now realizes that the picture Han Han showed him was actually a drawing. Right then, Lin Zichen's phone rings, and he is asked to hurry to the promotion event at the martial arts hall. Before he leaves, Liu hands him a translated manual of the blood refining technique, including detailed instructions. However, there is a requirement to be at least ordinary tier stage 4 and have enough Q1 and blood to start cultivating. Liu thinks that our hero is close to ordinary tier stage 4, so he tells Lin Zichen to read through it during summer break and begin cultivating once he evolves at school. The truth is, our hero is already at stage 6, and he decides to start training once he's back. Meanwhile, Yuyan continues training when she notices that the dean is chirping and happy. Liu tells her that he got the second place scorer, the one who scored the highest in the physical test, to join the Heaven Human Pavilion with his charm. Yuyan is surprised that the dean even got his contact and refuses to believe that he did it with his charming personality. Liu Chuanwu then reveals that he offered 3 times the benefits that the Evolution Academy offers. Yuyan gets angry that he offered 3 times the benefits when they are already in debt, but the dean assures her that he has scheduled a meeting with 3 rich ladies to cover the expense. Liu Chuanwu asks Yuyan how long it took her to sense her Q1 in blood when she first started practicing. She explains that it took her a week to sense Q1 and 2 months to control the blood. Yuyan was a runner-up of the college entrance exam in the capital back then. Liu considers himself a genius, and even he took 2 weeks to sense Q1 in blood. Yuyan feels embarrassed when the dean mentions the capital exam entrance, because ever since she joined the pavilion and abandoned gene fusion, she hasn't evolved into a high-tier being, and people have made fun of her for years. The dean reassures her that once she evolves into a high-tier being in a few years, she can beat up the trolls. However, Yuyan feels upset that she hasn't opened a single acupoint even after 2 body refinements, and wonders how long it will take our hero to sense his Q1 in blood. The dean feels confident that Lin Zichen can do it in around 10 days with his impressive stats, and Yuyan feels excited and wants to teach him herself. On the other hand, our hero begins his practice right away, and easily senses his Q1 and blood in 3 senses. He then reads about controlling and refining it in the diary, and begins refining the right arm. The system notifies him that his skin durability and blood refining technique proficiency have increased by 1 point. Half an hour later, our protagonist finishes refining his right arm and tests its toughness with a blade. As he drives the blade on his skin, he is surprised to realize that just 1 round of refinement has made his skin blade-proof. He now understands how Liu, who had 3 refinements, could withstand Wu Tiancheng's feather attack. Our hero wonders how tough his skin will be after 5 refinements, and after 3 hours of training, he feels confident that he can refine all his skin in under a week. Both his arm's skin is refined, consuming only 1/3 of his Q1 in blood. A moment later, Lin Zichen gets a text from Han Han asking him to come over because she has a surprise for him. He heads over to her house and tells her mom that Han Han asked him to come. He heads into her room after knocking and finds Han Han hiding in the sheets. At first, he wonders if the surprise is herself, and Han Han asks him to lift the blanket to take a look. As our hero lifts the bedsheet, he is surprised to see Han Han wearing the outfit she ordered the other day. He blushes and tells her that she looks nice. She then asks if he wants to see her in stockings and puts them on. Our hero starts blushing again and tells Han Han she looks good. She asks him to touch her stockings because the texture feels nice. Lin Zichen runs his hand along her legs and agrees that they feel soft and nice. Han Han asks if the stockings make her legs feel better. Our hero agrees without hesitation that they do. Suddenly, Mung knocks on the door and tells Lin Zichen that his mom sent some stuff and the bag is hanging on the doorknob. Our hero walks over, takes the bag, and as he opens it, he is embarrassed to see a condom inside. He hasn't even kissed yet and the rush feels like pressure. Right then, Han Han tells him to sleep with her and asks him to turn around because she is going to wear a diaper. After she's done, she tells her friend to turn off the lights and come to bed. As the two lie in bed together, our hero notices her bed smells nice and wonders if she sprayed something. Han Han tells him it is just her body fragrance making the bed smell pleasant. The two continue staring at each other for a brief moment. Han Han's lips draw our hero in and he suddenly kisses her. Hearts fly off everywhere and suddenly, Han Han jumps off the bed because she pees herself. Lin Zichen asks Han Han if she was experiencing intense mental fluctuations. Han Han explains that her heart raced, her body suddenly felt warm, and she peed. She agrees that her mental state fluctuation was intense, and our hero realizes he was right. He suspects that Han Han's unknown superpower may be related to mental power and controlled by it. So, as long as her mental power strengthens, she might fully awaken and eventually control her abilities. Lin Zichen and Han Han start kissing again, and just like before, Han Han's mental state fluctuates, and she pees herself. After several tries, our hero confirms that his friend's powers are activated by mental power. Completely soaked, Han Han heads into the shower and asks Lin Zichen to bring her a set of clothes. Our hero opens her wardrobe and starts searching for her clothes. He reasons that she must sleep with a diaper on anyway, and chooses a set of clothes for her. Later, Han Han remains asleep while our hero continues staring at her sleepy face. He gets up and walks out of her room, and Mung asks him to stay for breakfast. At the table, Ye wishes that Han Han were as disciplined as Lin Zichen because she sleeps in, but our hero believes sleeping on vacation isn't too bad if she has already placed first in the province. After our hero leaves, Han Han's mom wonders if her daughter showered late at night because of him, and decides to text Wangsun about the good news. Our hero heads to the laundry to wash his dirty clothes. His mom gives him a thumbs up and tells him he is very capable. Meanwhile, Dean Ma pays a visit to Liu Chuanhua, demanding an explanation about Lin Zichen. Dean Liu pretends to have no idea what Ma is talking about. Ma screams at him for poaching Lin Zichen to his martial arts college when he was already enrolled in Evolution College. Liu yells back that it is not poaching because Martial College can recruit students just as Evolution College can. They begin arguing about Lin Zichen. Ma tells Liu he should understand the first come, first served principle, but Liu doesn't think he broke any rules because Lin Zichen is not officially his student yet. Ma agrees that it is not a university rule but insists Liu has broken the unwritten rule between deans. However, Liu refuses to accept the unwritten rule. He believes his recruitment was perfectly open and a fair competition. If Ma is upset about it, he can go and convince Lin Zichen to return to Evolution College. Ma gets offended and challenges Liu to fight him on stage for a real fair competition. But Liu is not stupid. He knows that as an ordinary 9th rank, he cannot fight Ma, who is an advanced level 5th rank. He believes Ma is bullying an old man by challenging him. Ma walks away and reminds Liu Chuanwu that as long as he does not take gene fusion, he will always remain a weak ordinary level 9 rank for life. Ma calls Liu weaker than an ant, no matter how much he messes around with his pure-blooded humans. Meanwhile, Yuan assures Ma that when Lin Zichen sees peers weaker than him surpass him through gene fusion or mechanical modification, he will realize his mistake and return to Evolution College. Ma insists that Liu has broken a rule and must be punished, but Yuan just tells him to use Liu's tactics against him and poach his student back, and Ma agrees. Ma Zhenhe is usually calm, but whenever he faces Liu Chuanhua, he gets angry and loses all reason. Yuan thinks Ma's mouth is still as sharp as it was years ago, and imagines that his body could have been as impressive as his tongue if he hadn't taken the pure-blooded path. On the other hand, Han Han gets tired after running for a while. Our hero offers her water and tells her to end training here and rest on the bench. Han Han lies down while our hero massages her. She thanks him, but Lin Zichen believes saying thanks is too formal for their kind of relationship. So Han Han asks him the ultimate question about what kind of relationship they have. Lin Zichen answers Han Han's question by telling her that they are a family. Han Han believes they are fiancés, and they both make a pinky promise to get married after graduating from university. Meanwhile, Dean Ma visits our hero's house late at night to discuss college selection. Lin Zichen's dad is confused because his son has already decided on a college, and he wonders why the dean has come so late to mention it again. Dean Ma brings 2 ice crystal fish as a gesture of goodwill, and Lin Zichen's dad invites him into the house. Dean Ma explains to Lin Zichen's parents about his gene fusion compatibility. He tells them that taking the gene fusion path will unlock a limitless future, while taking the pure-blooded human path will only waste his talent. He adds that Tien Ren Pavilion may have good intentions, but their pure-blooded human theory shows no progress so far. He insists it is a trap, and Lin Zichen will only ruin his future if he follows that path. Ma urges our hero to reject the pure-blooded human path and take Evolution College instead. Lin Zichen's mom is confused because she thought her son had already enrolled in Evolution College. Our hero explains that he forgot to tell them he joined the Tien Ren Pavilion and switched his enrollment to Martial Arts College to pursue the pure-blooded human path. Lin Zichen's parents are shocked, but he reassures them that he genuinely agrees with the Tien Ren Pavilion's philosophy. Since Martial Arts College's dean offered triple the benefits, he agreed to join for 6 months and give it a try. He He promises that if he makes no progress in that time, he will return to Evolution College and continue the gene fusion path. Dean Ma is upset to learn Liu offered triple the benefits and gives Lin Ziqian advice. He explains that triple benefits are a lot, but in the long run, they are petty profit. Our hero does not need to sacrifice his future for something small, even if it is just a 6-month trial and he could return to the gene fusion path. Dean Ma believes he would still miss out on far more knowledge, which is better than any triple benefits. He confidently tells our hero that he has seen cases like this in university and that it is a waste of time. However, our hero thanks Dean Ma but refuses his offer, saying he strongly believes in the Tien Ren Pavilion's philosophy. If he does not give it a try, he will keep thinking about it, and it will weigh on his mind. He does not want to reject, but the benefits are too good for him to ignore. Dean Ma now understands that Lin Ziqian is determined and can do nothing but leave it as is. Our hero checks the news and is shocked to see an announcement claiming that the Tien Ren Pavilion has brainwashed Nanjing's provincial college entrance exam's second highest scorer into giving up the gene fusion path and choosing the pure-blooded human path. The article even mentions the second highest score of the Kyoto College exam from 10 years ago, and how she also ended up ordinary after joining the Tien Ren Pavilion. The comments are filled with negative remarks, and our hero realizes that spam bots have been hired to change the narrative. Our hero is further shocked to see that even his personal information is exposed. He realizes he is not just being bullied online, but things could become serious if cultists notice him. He wonders if it was Ma or someone else who leaked his personal information to stop the pavilion and calls the police to file a report. 2 hours later, our protagonist sighs with relief after seeing the post finally deleted. But then, his phone starts buzzing, and he finds messages in the group chat talking about him. He realizes that his photos are now leaked too. That night, Han Han appears at Zixin's door in a pink nightgown, cheerfully announcing that she will be sleeping there. Later, as they lie in bed, she notices him reading negative news about himself. She comments on how awful people can be. The protagonist calmly explains that in power struggles, those who follow the rules are often at a disadvantage, while those who ignore them gain the upper hand. His girlfriend suggests asking her powerful master, Yuan Dongji, for help. The hero dismisses the idea. He points out that the conflict is between the gene fusion and pure blood factions, so her master would have no reason to help him. Undeterred, his girlfriend insists on trying and messages her master. A short while later, she shows the protagonist her phone. Dongji has replied that the problem is already solved. The protagonist's girlfriend is amazed that it was handled in just half an hour, and our boy is equally shocked. A quick online search confirms that all news related to him has been completely erased. The protagonist wonders why Yuan Dongji would help him, speculating whether it is because of her new disciple or her past relationship with Liu Chuangwu. Regardless, he acknowledges that he has benefited and asks his girlfriend to thank her master on his behalf. She leans in close and asks how he plans to thank her. When he asks what she wants, she tells him to kiss her. Later, the protagonist sits cross-legged on his bed, meditating as white, misty energy swirls around him. He takes a deep, controlled breath as a system notification announces that his biological level has increased to ordinary Tier 7. He opens his eyes, powerful and drenched in sweat, exclaiming that he has finally finished tempering his entire skin. After his training, our boy checks his updated status. It confirms that he is 18, at ordinary Tier 7, with a long list of 9 biological attributes. The screen also notes that he has completed the first stage of body tempering for his skin. Feeling confident, he believes that having 9 attributes must be equivalent to 10 gene fusions. With a confident smirk, he thinks he is now strong enough to overpower the famous Kyoto prodigy. His thoughts are interrupted by a message from his girlfriend, asking him to accompany her and their friend Chuxin to retrieve their eggs next Monday. He understands that since she plans to follow the gene fusion path, which often leads to infertility, she is preserving her eggs for a test tube baby in the future. He quickly agrees. The following Monday, they arrived at a large modern hospital. Inside a room, the protagonist's girlfriend lies on a hospital bed. A nurse gives her an ovulation induction shot and instructs her to return the next day for the retrieval procedure. Han Han thanks her. Later, as they walk down the hospital corridor, Chuxin comments on how troublesome the process is. The protagonist's girlfriend admits she still feels a little nervous. Hearing this, her best friend puts an arm around her shoulder and suggests they go shopping to take her mind off things. Han Han happily agrees. The girls ask the protagonist if he wants to join them, but he declines, explaining that he has other things to do. Chuxin is thrilled to have a fun day alone with Han Han, and the two girls wave goodbye and walk off happily. Back in his room, the protagonist decides it is time for the next stage of his training, tempering his muscles. As he meditates, system notifications confirm that his muscle strength and blood tempering technique proficiency are increasing. He notes that the burning sensation is far more intense than when he tempered his skin, but he can endure it. After an entire afternoon spent tempering just his right arm, he collapses onto his bed, exhausted. To recover, he eats a large amount to replenish the chi and blood he consumed. Afterwards, he tests his new strength with a hand gripper and is stunned to find that tempering just one arm has increased his power by 50%. Suddenly, there is a knock at the door. His girlfriend enters and explains that Chuxin suggested they all hang out with Hayu before school starts and has already accepted on his behalf. Our boy takes her hand and assures her that if she is going, he will definitely go too. However, his girlfriend looks worried and explains that her best friend wants to go to the beach. She does not want to go but feels bad refusing. She reminds him of her past trauma, recalling the terrifying, mysterious voice she once heard in the ocean, and admits that she is scared. The protagonist comforts her, promising to protect her. He suggests that if she is too afraid, they will not go into the water. Reassured, she agrees. The scene shifts to a dark, fiery cavern. A large circular platform covered in glowing runes floats above lava, where a secret meeting is taking place. A giant green monster reports to an enigmatic figure, a man in a fine suit wearing a sinister plague doctor mask. The monster informs him that his stinky rats have successfully dug all the required tunnels. The monster instructs the masked man to set a biological coordinate there. The man agrees, raising a strange, powerful staff with a single glowing red eye and slamming it into the ground, releasing a surge of dark energy. To complete the ritual, he slices his own wrist and lets his blood pour onto the staff, to be absorbed by the red eye. As tendrils of red and black energy erupt from the ground, the masked man explains that the coordinate has been set. His next step is to wait for the origin land to find a corresponding point and place another coordinate there. Once the two coordinates resonate, the tunnels will fully connect to the origin land. The friends are on their way to the beach, driving along a beautiful coastal road. Inside the car, Chuksin asks Haeyu when he got his driver's license. He explains that his father pulled some strings to get him into a driving course right after summer break started. When he offers to get the others into the same program, they enthusiastically agree, much to Haeyu's delight. Soon, they arrive at the beach parking lot. Haeyu is ecstatic, running onto the sand and shouting about his love for the sea breeze, the ocean, and most of all the women in bikinis. Annoyed by his perverted comment, Chuksin hits him on the back of the head. She then grabs Han's arm and announces they are going to change, ignoring Haeyu's protests. Left behind, Haeyu puts his arm around the protagonist and suggests they should get changed as well, saying he cannot wait to go diving. As they walk away, a group of guys on the beach recognize Zichen, identifying him as the runner-up in Nanjing Province's college entrance exam. They begin to gossip, mentioning that he is the one who joined Tien Ren Pavilion. They speculate that he must have been brainwashed or brain damaged to begin with, concluding that he has completely ruined his future. Haeyu overhears their conversation and becomes furious. He confronts the gossips, angrily demanding to know who they think they are to judge the provincial runner-up and yelling at them to keep talking. The group is left speechless and terrified by his sudden outburst. Just as he is about to escalate the confrontation, the protagonist calmly grabs his arm, telling him to forget it and not waste his breath on them. The protagonist explains that he simply does not care about their opinions, but if they had said something he truly cared about, he would have definitely gotten physical. Haeyu asks what he cares about. Just then, Chuksin and the protagonist's girlfriend return, now changed into their beach attire. Chuksin cheerfully points out that it is obvious. He cares most about his girlfriend. Haeyu scratches his head, admitting it was a pointless question, while Chuksin tells the boys to hurry up and get changed. A short time later, our boy and Haeyu reappear in their swim trunks, showing off impressive muscular physiques. The protagonist offers to apply sunscreen to his girlfriend. From her lounge chair, his girlfriend happily accepts the offer. As the protagonist rubs sunscreen onto her back, she confirms that he is doing a good job. Haeyu watches with a jealous blush, thinking to himself that the protagonist has some serious moves. Inspired, he tries the same line on her best friend, who bluntly tells him to get lost. As Zichen continues to apply sunscreen on his girlfriend's lower back, she thinks about how amazing he is. Suddenly, she hears a mysterious, powerful voice in her mind. Her eyes snap open in shock, and she quickly sits up. She turns her head toward the ocean with fear on her face and exclaims that she hears the voice again, immediately catching the protagonist's attention. The protagonist holds the frightened Han and asks what is wrong. She explains with a terrified expression that she heard the creepy voice again, talking about a great god, revival, and the origin land of the sea. Zichen listens intently, speculating that the voice might be connected to the origin land. He concludes that they do not know enough to understand what is happening and must learn more first. He suggests that once they start university, she should indirectly try to ask her master about it, and his girlfriend agrees. Sometime later, the protagonist is back in his room, continuing his training. Having finished tempering his muscles, he has now begun the process of bone tempering. The training is incredibly painful, far more than muscle tempering, as he focuses his energy on strengthening his bones. After a grueling session, he lies on his bed, completely exhausted, but triumphant, having successfully tempered all 206 bones in his body. His hard work is rewarded with a system notification, congratulating him on evolving to ordinary creature rank 9, leaving him just one step away from becoming an advanced creature. Lying on his bed, he studies the blood tempering technique book, understanding that he now needs to open the apertures in his body to achieve the next evolution. However, he finds the instructions vague. With a determined look, he closes the book, resolving to figure out the method on his own. The scene shifts to the campus of Shanghai University, where the protagonist and his girlfriend have finally arrived to begin their college life. One of their parents calls out, announcing that they are here. As they walk through the campus with the protagonist's parents, Han excitedly points out an old ice cream shop that is still there. Our boy confirms that it is indeed the same ice cream shop they used to visit as children. His mother, Wang Xin, suggests they stop for a treat since it is still early, and Han Han happily agrees. Inside, the protagonist's girlfriend enjoys a large bowl of strawberry milk-flavored ice cream, delighting in how delicious it is. She then sweetly offers a spoonful to the protagonist, who takes a bite while his parents watch the tender moment with smiles. Their peaceful outing is interrupted by a commotion from a nearby bar, catching the protagonist's attention. He looks through the window and overhears a man complaining to a woman named Jiaxin that her skirt is too long. Inside the bar, Brother Yang has Jiaxin sitting flirtatiously on his lap. She suggests he can just slide his hand underneath her skirt since she would not mind. Another man at their table urges Brother Yang to stop touching the woman and focus on their game. Outside the ice cream shop, two other men are talking about the girl, Huang Jiaxin. One of them mentions that she acts like a goddess at the art academy, but is now letting men from the Evolution Academy get close to her. The other man comments that students from the Evolution Academy have bright futures, making them attractive to women. This conversation makes the protagonist think about the university's inner campus. Shanghai University is divided into two distinct areas. There is an outer campus for arts and culture students, and a heavily guarded inner campus for those studying evolution, mechanical modification, and martial arts. The inner campus is a high-security zone closed to the public and even to students from the outer campus due to the sensitive nature of gene fusion and mechanical modification research. It is constantly patrolled by armed guards and surveillance drones. Back at the table, Zikin's mother, Wang Xin, advises him and his girlfriend that even though university life offers more freedom, they must remain focused on their studies and not get distracted. Her husband, Yansheng, reassures her that their children are responsible. He tells the protagonist and his girlfriend that it is time for them to head to the inner campus, since the parents cannot enter the restricted area. Yansheng reminds his son to take good care of Han Han, and the protagonist promises that he will. At the heavily guarded entrance to the inner campus, a guard asks them to present their admission notices. Han Han hands her over, but as the protagonist searches for his, the guard stops him. He recognizes Zikin as the second highest student from the provincial exams who joined Tien Ren and allows them to pass without further checks. Inside, the campus is bustling with gene fusers and cyborgs, a common sight in this specialized area. After they complete their registration paperwork, it is time for them to go to their separate dormitories. His girlfriend waves goodbye to the protagonist, promising to see him that evening before heading to her dorm in the Evolution Academy. Upon arriving at the Martial Arts Academy, the protagonist is immediately swarmed by a group of enthusiastic female seniors. They shower him with compliments about his looks, offer to carry his bags, and eagerly ask for his contact information. Just then, a confident blonde senior steps forward, volunteering to personally escort the protagonist to his dormitory. He gratefully accepts her offer. As they walk, the senior asks if he would like to see the school's combat power rankings. She leads him to a display with two lists, the peak ranking for the top 500 students school-wide, and the new student ranking for the top 100 freshmen. She explains that the top 3 students on the peak ranking are all powerful fourth years from the Evolution and Mechanical Academies. In contrast, only 3 students from the Martial Arts Academy are on the list, and their ranks are much lower. The senior then tells him about a former star student from their academy who, like him, was a top scorer on the entrance exams and even reached 6th place on the peak ranking. However, because she was a pure-blooded human, her progress eventually stalled and she was surpassed by gene fusers and cyborgs. The senior reveals that her name is Song Yu Yan and that she is now an instructor at the academy and a key researcher for Tien Ren, working as an assistant to Dean Liu. Soon they arrive at his room. The senior leads him inside, revealing a spacious private apartment instead of a standard dorm room. She remarks with envy that being the top scorer comes with amazing benefits, fanning herself. She then comments on how hot it was walking outside and suggestively asks if she can use his shower. Our boy, however, thanks her for her help and offers to buy her a milk tea from a shop across the way. The senior is left completely confused by his response but agrees, wondering why he did not take the bait. After the senior leaves, the protagonist stands alone in his new room, thinking that by treating her to a drink, he has repaid the favor of her showing him the way. He then receives a message from his girlfriend asking to see pictures of his dormitory. She has already sent photos of her own accommodations, which are incredibly luxurious and even include a private gym. Comparing her lavish apartment to his simple single room, the protagonist feels a pang of envy and realizes how much wealthier the Evolution Academy is. He reluctantly takes a few pictures of his modest room and sends them to her. Upon seeing them, the girlfriend is surprised by how small his dorm is and immediately suggests that he move in with her, telling him her bed is even bigger than the one she has at home. Without hesitation, our boy grabs his suitcase and phone and declares that he is on his way over. As he leaves the Martial Arts Academy dorms, he grumbles about the stark difference in funding between the academies, feeling that his room, the best his school could offer, is nothing compared to the student housing at the Evolution Academy. As he walks, he sighs, briefly wondering whether Dean Liu Chuanwu will truly be able to deliver on his promise of tripling the benefits. When the elevator doors open on her floor, his girlfriend greets him with a bright smile and happily welcomes him into her spacious, air-conditioned apartment. Looking around the clean, luxurious space, the protagonist comments, as they unpack his stuff, that her master must care for her a great deal to provide such a place. Han Han agrees, saying her master treats her very well. The protagonist's girlfriend stretches her arms wide and joyfully declares that this is now their little home. a place where they can be free without their parents around. A blushing Zekin quickly tells her not to get too carried away with the idea. Announcing that she is sweaty from the move, she says she will shower first and begins to undress, leaving her clothes on the floor. The protagonist can only watch, reminding her not to leave a mess. While she showers, a flustered protagonist picks up her clothes and decides to check out the new university campus app he downloaded. He discovers an in-app store where students can use school credits to purchase resources for gene fusion and mechanical modification. He learns there are 3 ways to earn credits: placing on the school's power rankings, completing official school tasks, or achieving outstanding results in competitions. He realizes that for him, this will be even easier than earning money. His exploration is interrupted when his girlfriend calls out from the bathroom, asking him to bring her clothes. He walks in to give them to her and finds her relaxing in the large bathtub. Blushing, she comments on how comfortable the water is and invitingly asks if he wants to join her. Han invites, explaining that it would be a waste of so much hot water for one person. A blushing Zekin hesitates, then agrees to join her and takes off his clothes. In the tub, he offers to wash her back, and she happily accepts, promising him it will be her turn to wash his back afterward. Later, after their bath and a meal, the protagonist meditates on the bed while his girlfriend lies beside him. He begins the second stage of tempering his skin. The process is grueling. He finds it much harder than the first time, taking 2 full hours just to temper his right hand. Curious, he asks his girlfriend for a sewing needle to test his skin's new strength. To her amazement, he presses the sharp needle against the back of his hand, but it cannot pierce the skin. A system notification confirms his skin's toughness is increasing. When he applies more pressure, the needle shatters against his hand. The protagonist's girlfriend is in awe, exclaiming that the blood tempering technique is so incredible that it makes her want to pursue the pure blood path too. The protagonist then announces the next test: heat resistance. He calmly holds his hand over a lit stovetop flame. A system notification confirms his heat resistance is increasing. He reflects that it took over a minute before he felt a slight burning sensation, and concludes that with the blood tempering technique and his system's attributes, he is on his way to achieving a saintly body. Just then, his phone buzzes with a new message from Liu Chuanwu, the dean of the martial arts academy. The dean asks if he is settled in and invites him to visit the Tien Ren Headquarters to familiarize himself with the environment and meet the other members. Our boy agrees, and the dean instructs him to wait downstairs for someone to pick him up. Since he is not at his own dorm, the protagonist replies with his girlfriend's address. After receiving confirmation, he sighs and decides to head downstairs. He informs his girlfriend that he has to go out for a while, explaining that the dean invited him to the organization's headquarters. She encourages him to go ahead. Outside, he finds a shady spot under some trees. While leaning against a tree, he is noticed by a young man with spiky orange-brown hair. The young man approaches and recognizes him as Zekin, the top provincial exam scorer who joined Tien Ren. The protagonist greets him, thinking to himself that he has become well known. The young man expresses his admiration for the protagonist's decision to forego gene fusion for the pure blood path. He shares that he is also a freshman and grew up near Kyoto, where a similar research institute for pure-blooded humans once existed, but was shut down after 20 years of little progress. He passionately expresses his hope that the research at Shanghai University will succeed. The protagonist finds the guy a bit too talkative. The young man gives him a final thumbs up and an encouraging good luck before walking away. Shortly after, the protagonist hears the roar of an engine. He turns to see a woman in a helmet pulling up on a sleek red motorcycle. She asks if he is Zekin, and after he confirms, she dismounts. Removing her helmet, she introduces herself as Song Yuyan, an instructor from the Martial Arts Academy and a researcher for Tien Ren, explaining that she has come to take him to their headquarters. As they shake hands, the protagonist internally recalls her story as the former top student who chose the pure blood path. He gets on the back of her motorcycle, and she playfully advises him to hold on tighter. As they speed off, she asks if he is happy that a beautiful mentor came to pick him up, to which he replies that it is an honor. Curious, she then asks why a student from the Martial Arts Academy was waiting outside the luxurious dorms of the Evolution Academy. Our boy casually explains that his girlfriend lives there, and that he has moved in with her. Hearing this, the assistant laments her own love life, complaining that she has never even lived with a man. Soon, they arrive at a large modern building. The mentor leads the protagonist to a building with a sign that reads, Pure Human Research Institute. She beckons him inside, and he wonders if the sign is an abbreviation for the Pure-Blooded Human Research Institute. She shows him a common area for researchers to relax and offers him free drinks from a stocked refrigerator. As they walk through an empty hallway, the protagonist asks why no one else is around. The mentor explains with a sigh that Tien Ren is not well regarded by the university, so their funding is limited, and they cannot afford a large staff. She reveals that the entire organization consists of only Dean, herself, Zekin, and 3 senior martial arts students. This shocks the protagonist, who now understands that the large group of men in karate uniforms with the Dean when they first met were just hired actors. Feeling a bit let down, he thinks that as long as he gets the promised triple benefits, nothing else matters. The mentor then calls out to the Dean, announcing that she has brought Zekin. A disheveled and exhausted-looking dean appears and invites them into his cluttered office. The mentor comments on the dean's haggard state. The dean explains that he has been there for almost half a month, struggling to make a breakthrough in his research on the aperture-opening chapter of the blood-tempering technique, with no progress. Despite his research struggles, Dean gives the protagonist an encouraging thumbs up, confident that his involvement will lead to great progress for the pure blood path. He then boasts that Sister Yan was once the top scorer in the Kyoto entrance exams. The mentor proudly adds that her own physical test scores in her youth were even higher. The dean casually chides her to stop bragging. The dean's tone turns serious as he explains that with Sister Yan's help, he finally broke through a decade-long plateau and completed his third body tempering. This breakthrough gave him the power, as an ordinary Tier 9 human, to defeat a high-level gene fuser. Placing his hands on the protagonist's shoulders, he assures the protagonist that with time, he has the potential to surpass even Sister Yan. The mentor places her hands on his other shoulder, also reassures him that it is possible. Changing the subject, the dean asks about our boy's progress with the blood tempering technique. He asks whether the protagonist has managed to learn blood control and reach the required ordinary Tier 4 to begin skin tempering. The protagonist calmly confirms that he has. Pleased, the dean assigns Sister Yan as his mentor, explaining that with her guidance, he should be able to complete his first skin tempering by the end of the semester. He notes that she herself accomplished this in just 3 months. The mentor confidently accepts. However, our boy interrupts, plainly stating that a mentor will not be necessary. He reveals that he already completed the first round of skin tempering during his summer vacation. This shocking announcement leaves both the dean and Sister Yan completely stunned and speechless, wondering if they heard him correctly. Sister Yan finds it impossible that Zichen could have mastered the complex technique of skin tempering on his own over the summer. The protagonist casually explains that the book had detailed instructions, and he just studied it for a few days, though he internally admits it only took him half an hour. Still skeptical, Dean Liu asks to examine his hand to confirm. Before presenting his arm, the protagonist discreetly activates his natural camouflage ability, deciding to mask his true power. He sets his visible biological level to ordinary Tier 5, just high enough to be consistent with having completed 1 round of skin tempering. He then allows the dean to inspect his arm. The moment Dean Liu touches him, both he and Sister Yan are left speechless. The dean confirms in amazement that the protagonist has indeed completed a full skin tempering. Still shocked, Liu asks what his current biological level is. Feigning nervousness, our boy tells him it is an ordinary Tier 5. This revelation sends the dean into pure ecstasy. He throws his hands in the air and shouts that the protagonist is a peerless genius, and that the future of the pure blood path is secure. Overjoyed, he pulls a surprised protagonist into a tight hug, declaring that with such talent, they will surely break through the limits of ordinary beings. Watching them, Sister Yan reflects that there is always someone more talented. She smiles, thinking it is good to have a more capable person leading their cause. Filled with renewed hope, she excitedly suggests to the dean that they should immediately publicize the protagonist's potential to attract more talented individuals and secure more funding. However, Liu immediately rejects the idea. He sternly explains that the protagonist's abilities must be kept secret for now, as suddenly revealing his progress on the pure blood path could expose him to danger. The dean elaborates that their strategy should focus on quality, not quantity. Now that they have a prodigy like Zichen, they must concentrate all their resources on helping him break through the ordinary biological barrier. When Sister Yan raises concerns about finances, the dean reassures her. He promises to use all his connections to gather the necessary evolution resources. He plans to wait until the protagonist's power is undeniable, find him a powerful backer, and only then begin promoting the ideals of Tien Ren. Sister Yan praises the dean's thoughtful planning, and he proudly accepts the compliment. The protagonist listens quietly, thinking how shocked they would be if they knew his true power, that he is already at ordinary Tier 9, has completed tempering his muscles and bones, and is in the middle of his second tempering cycle. The dean then informs the protagonist that he no longer needs to attend basic classes at the Martial Arts Academy. Instead, he will work directly at the Research Institute with Sister Yan as his assistant. An annoyed Song Yu-yan clenches her fist, protesting that making her an assistant to a junior is an insult. The dean dismisses her concerns, telling her that pride is worthless in their research. Changing the subject, he announces that the following afternoon, the university will hold a freshman trial to determine the new king, the strongest first-year student. He confidently tells Zichen that with his abilities, the title is practically his. He encourages him to participate to bring honor to the Martial Arts Academy, offering a reward of 10 ki and blood pills. He adds that the winner will also receive 10 school credits. The mention of credits immediately grabs the protagonist's full attention. Soon, the day of the freshman assembly arrives, and a large crowd of students gathers in the university auditorium. As the protagonist and his girlfriend sit together, they become the subject of gossip among other students who recognize the protagonist as the top scorer who joined Tien Ren, and wonder about his relationship with their goddess, Han Han. Their conversation is interrupted by a familiar face. The talkative, spiky-haired freshman from before approaches and asks if Zichen remembers him. The protagonist confirms he does. Leaning in, the freshman bluntly asks what their relationship is. Holding a blushing Han-Han's hand, the protagonist plainly tells him they are engaged childhood sweethearts who plan to marry after graduation. This news disappoints the freshman, who can only manage forced smiles. As the assembly continues, the auditorium fills with other first-year students. In the crowd, a girl with dark hair, purple tips, and cat-like ears sits quietly. She turns and gives the protagonist an intense, somber stare. He notices her gaze, feeling a slight sense of unease. Meanwhile, the talkative freshman has returned to his seat and is chatting animatedly with his neighbors. Soon, a man at the podium announces the start of the ceremony and calls for the freshman representative to come to the stage. To everyone's surprise, it is the talkative, spiky-haired freshman who stands up. As he confidently walks toward the stage, other students murmur in disbelief, questioning why someone with dyed hair and a chatty personality was chosen for a role usually reserved for the strongest student, whom they assumed would be a gene fuser. The freshman is pleased by their reaction, thinking this is the perfect opportunity to make a big impression. Taking the microphone, he begins his speech by asking the crowd if they have heard of Li Yijin. Zichen internally scoffs, thinking that everyone knows about the famous genius from Kyoto. Continuing, the freshman reveals that this prodigy has an equally talented younger brother, who was the top scorer in the Kyoto entrance exams, boasting a 16% gene fusion compatibility and the highest national physical test scores, tying with the top scorer from Nanjing province. With a confident smile, he dramatically reveals that he is that very brother, Li Moyu. He declares that he and his older brother made a pact to dominate the records at Shanghai and Kyoto universities. To demonstrate his power, Li Moyu unleashes the full force of his biological pressure, announcing that this is the power of an ordinary Tier 5 being. The entire auditorium is overwhelmed by the immense aura as students gasp in shock, realizing the vast gap between themselves and a true genius. Pleased, Moyu smugly tells everyone to remember his name. Back in the audience, Han whispers to the protagonist, mocking Li Moyu's arrogance and commenting that he has no idea the protagonist could defeat him with a single finger. Our boy simply tells her to keep a low profile, and she playfully agrees. After Moyu's speech, the announcer invites the next speaker to the stage, Zhou Shuihong, the president of the student council. Addressing the crowd, Shuihong introduces himself and states that he has 3 important things to share. First, he explains that student discipline is managed by the student council, which holds significant authority. Second, he announces that the student council will recruit 10 new members from the freshman class next semester, with the sole requirement being strength. He advises them to use the next few months to prove their abilities. Finally, he issues a stark warning. Shanghai University's inner campus is a ruthless environment where strength is everything, and bullying of juniors by seniors is common. He tells everyone to be mentally prepared. After delivering his points, Shuihong's expression darkens. He declares that before leaving the stage, he wants to give everyone a taste of the power of an advanced being. He then unleashes an overwhelming wave of biological pressure that crushes the entire auditorium. The freshmen are immediately overwhelmed, gasping for air and crying out in pain under the immense force. When the oppressive aura finally dissipates, Lin Zichen feels that the biological pressure released by the advanced being is definitely overwhelming from this distance. It cannot affect our guy, who is at the ordinary level, 9th rank. The other freshmen gasp in relief, as they all felt they were going to die since this is what advanced level being is like. Thankfully, this terrifying pressure lasted only 5 seconds. Once Zhou Shuihong exits the stage, Yuan Dongzi steps forward in order to continue the assembly. The woman announces that the freshman assembly ends here and they all begin their entrance test right there. With that, Yuan Dongzi explains the test rules. At the center of the gymnasium lies a huge martial arts stage. Whoever manages to stand alone on it for more than 1 minute will be crowned this year's freshman king and receive 100 credits, 10 times the reward from last year. Additionally, the second person who manages to stand alone for the same time will take second place, receiving 90 credits. Just like that, the rankings will continue. Up in the stands, a pair of overconfident upperclassmen smirk, bragging that the top 10 ranks have always belonged to geniuses of their class. Abruptly, a special rule was announced. If even one freshman from a non-genius class manages to get into the top 10, then all freshmen except the genius class will receive 1 credit. With each credit valued at 10,000 yen, every student starts calculating, realizing that they have a high chance to win if they all work together. Yu jumps on the stage and grabs the mic. Confidently, the guy introduces himself and reminds everyone that Lin Zichen, the top scorer of the entire province, is the strongest among all the freshmen. Thus, he suggests all ordinary freshmen help our boy to break into the top 10 by focusing on besieging the genius class. The whole crowd's attention shifts to our guy, though Lin Zichen remains unfazed. Everyone admits to helping the hero, promising to clear the path for Lin Zichen. Watching from the distant section of the gym, Liu Chuanwu comments that Dean Ma was being petty earlier, holding a grudge after Li Yijin thrashed him on stage at the start of the year and taking it out on his younger brother. Scoffing, Dean Ma fires back, calling him the pettiest person out there. Unbothered, Chuanwu admits that his pettiness is only directed at the person involved, not their family. Just then, their indirect argument was interrupted when Zhou mentions Ma's daughter performing exceptionally in the college entrance exam. The president hopes that the dean's daughter will join the union, as he will be looking forward to training her. Dean Ma assures Zhou that his daughter, Shiwei, will definitely join the Union. As long as Jiwei is a genius, the president will make sure she receives proper support. Curious, Zhu wonders aloud about who will take the title of the freshman king this year among Li Moyu and Shiwei. One faculty member believes that Li Moyu will win the title due to his 5th rank and physical strength. Another, however, is convinced that Dean Ma's daughter will win the title. It was true that her score was slightly lower than Li Moyu's. She successfully fused with the genes of the Shadow Knight cat during the vacation, meaning her current strength may not be inferior to Li Moyu's. At the same time, Chuanwu interrupts, claiming that neither Li Moyu nor Ma Shiwei will take the victory since the freshman kill will definitely be Lin Zichen. Irritated, Dean Ma reminds Chuanwu that our boy's test results didn't even place him in the top 10 among this year's freshmen, so this opinion is entirely nonsense. In addition to that, Dean Ma suggests his rival stop bragging about a member of the Tien Ren Pavilion as if he is selling overpriced fruits. Having said that, both the egoistic men place a bet of 100 credits. Chuanwu even drags Yan into it, and the others join as well, finding the whole thing fun. At this point, Dean Ma can't help but question whether Chuanwu bribed Li Moyu to lose on purpose, though Dean's daughter is still in the competition, so he worries a little less. However, a seed of doubt forms in his mind. What if Lin Zichen actually becomes the freshman king? In that instant, the dean of the mechanical college approaches Dean Ma, questioning if it hurt him that Lin Zichen, the second highest scorer, was supposed to join his evolution college, but Dean Chuanwu poached him halfway through. Pretending not to care, Ma clarifies that his elite college has plenty of talents like that, so not having one of them doesn't really affect him. That being said, the dean from the mechanical college smirks, knowing damn well that this man poached the last 3 senior students from Tien Ren Pavilion, yet he is acting all nonchalant. Since Principal Yuan is betting 1,000 credits while others are placing 100, Chuanwu is quietly amused, confident that he will win. Thus, he will be making a big fortune this time. After a while, the entrance test began. Instantly, many freshman students stormed the platform, united by their mission of defeating the genius class. The arena explodes into total chaos. Standing at the corner, Lin Zichen's mind races with thoughts. He is aware that many students in the genius class got in because of high compatibility with gene fusion. However, the greater threats are the 12 elites from the genius class, led by Li Moyu and Ma Shiwei. Suddenly, Lin Zichen's danger perception ability activates, allowing him to see the actual biological strength levels of every student present. Both Li Moyu and Ziwei have reached the ordinary level, 5th rank, while the other 10 are at the 4th rank. At that moment, many genius class students lie unconscious on the floor, defeated by the ordinary freshmen. These freshmen charge forward at the stands to attack the remaining 12 students from the genius class, challenging them to get down and accept their beating. Hearing those challenging voices, a huge muscular guy, Lu Qiji, drops from above, landing heavily on the stage. Angrily, Qiji accepts the challenge, reminding the ordinary freshmen that they just defeated the weak ones from the genius class by relying on numbers. Having said that, the ordinary freshmen lunge forward to take him down, but with one strong sweeping kick, the muscular guy pushes these students backward, as if they have boneless bodies. Scoffing, Lu Qiji declares that ants will always be ants, no matter how many there are. The injured students are in disbelief. They all turn toward Lin Zichen, shouting that the arrogant guy needs to be humbled, urging our boy to step in. Observing everything, our hero steps on the stage, assuring us that he will take responsibility, and everything has escalated this far. Qiji lands in front of Zichen, admitting that he has been itching to fight the top scorer in Nanjing Province's physical fitness test. Arrogantly, the muscular guy brags about his physical fitness score from the college entrance exam, challenging our boy to announce his results now. After a brief pause, Lin Zichen calmly responds that he doesn't need to brag about his results, as his opponent will get to experience them himself. In a split second, he delivers a strong kick. The impact of that kick was so intense that the heavily muscular guy was launched across the stage, and his body slammed onto the ground with a horrific noise. The match ended immediately, leaving no room for dodging or counterattacking. At that moment, all the ordinary freshmen loudly cheered, screaming our boy's name. The faculty members stared in disbelief. They all believed that Lin Zichen would win through his strategies, but he won with pure strength. Even Dean Ma is stunned by all of this, as he had always considered our guy to be calm and refined. Without any warning, another guy, Luo Yongjian, gets onto the stage. He proudly introduces himself and his achievements, but all his bragging comes to an end when Lin Zichen attacks him by swinging his leg straight into his opponent's face. On the stage, Lin Zichen could clearly hear all the ordinary freshmen being proud of him and praising his capabilities and strength. A sudden announcement was made, calling Li Moyu and Ma Jiwei to step up now, or else the title of freshman will fall into the hands of the ordinary class. Having said that, Ziwei efficiently lands on the stage. Everyone has great expectations from her, being sure that she will crush the ordinary freshman. Simultaneously, Lin Zichen's people also cheer for him, encouraging him to not show mercy just because he is facing a girl. As Zichen faces his new opponents, this was the first time he was observing a gene fusioner up close. The battle begins without any warning as Ziwei charges forward with a lightning-fast speed. With the blink of an eye, the girl closes the distance between them, launching a strong kick. Yet, our boy dodges the attack by slightly leaning backwards. Noticing this movement, Lin Zichen wondered if this was the boost she gained from fusing with the Shadow Knight cat genes. In contrast, Wei is shocked by how easily Zichen dodged her attack. Just then, Wei senses an incredible gap between their strengths, which means continuing like this is baseless. Leaping backwards to create a distance with the opponent, the girl requests our guy to give her 30 seconds so that she can fully activate her Shadow Knight cat genes. This is a rare chance to witness genes activation. Lin Zichen would be foolish to refuse, thus he agrees quickly. As Ziwei prepared herself, her body began to change. She lowers herself onto all fours like a cat and gets into an attacking stance. From the crowd, the faculty members turn to Dean Ma, praising his daughter's ability, calling her worthy of being the third highest scorer in the Kyoto College entrance exam. Though this was not a proud moment for the dean since he is worried due to the fact that Wei completed her gene fusion recently. If she continues like this, her body will face severe backlash. As Wei's transformation is fully completed, she calls Lin Zichen arrogant for actually waiting for the activation of her skills, vowing that he would pay a heavy price for that arrogance of his. Immediately, Siwei lunges forward, aiming an intense kick at our boy. Fortunately, Zichen shifts at the last moment, avoiding the blow. Observing her moves, Lin Zichen grasps that before this girl was an ordinary 5th rank, but now, without doubt, she is close to the ordinary level of 6th rank. By now, the top scorer of Kyoto College is livid and in disbelief. Even after activating such a skill, she couldn't hit her opponent. Enraged, Ziwei launches several attacks, but all of those moves are a waste, as our boy doesn't let her touch even a single hair. After wasting her energy, Lin Zichen comes to the conclusion that he has already gathered necessary data on the Shadow Knight cat gene fusioner, which means there is no need to drag this any further. Just as Ziwei lunges forward once again, Lin Zichen finally strikes at her, directly punching her face. The girl's body crashes into the bunch of defeated students. Worried, all the people gather around her, feeling bad that such a beautiful face got ruined only because of Lin Zichen. Moments later, Ziwei sits up while her father runs up to her, being very concerned. At the top of his lungs, Dean Ma screams at our boy for hitting a girl. Very calmly, Lin Zichen clarifies that there is no distinction between men and women on the path of evolution, and only strength matters at the end. From the crowd, Li Moyu agrees with our boy and leaps from the viewing stands onto the stage, facing Lin Zichen. Instantly, the genius class students shout, telling their fellow students to avenge Wei. Li Moyu approaches our boy, stating that he never expected Lin Zichen to be a mastermind, intentionally posing as nothing more than the second highest scorer in the college exam, only to strike down top scorers after the entrance test. An evil smirk appears on his face as he adds that Lin isn't the only one who hid his strength. As he speaks, Li Moyu unleashes his actual powers, leaving everyone shocked. This guy is also a gene fusioner, and it is the demonic eye's great ape genes. This can only be fused by someone who has reached the advanced level of physical strength. It is pretty evident that he has reached the ordinary level, 6th rank. While everyone was busy admiring the young boy's power, Chuan Wu's only concern at this point was losing the bet. On the flip side, Lu Gong and Wang Shujie talk to someone through Gang's digital watch, who informs them that the organization has assigned a mission. The person informs both the guys that he has already placed an advanced level demonic seed in the park outside the university. Their task is to retrieve it and then find an opportunity to make Li Moyu consume it. Shuji is pretty concerned, as Moyu is the young master of the Li family. Therefore, this is pretty risky. However, the person on call clarifies that the organization's organization is much stronger than they can imagine. The whole Kyoto Li family could be annihilated with a single order. Scared, Gang exchanges glances with Shuji, uncertain about all of this. Though Shuji knows that they have no choice, Lin Zichen is aware that the demonic-eyed great ape is a mutant beast that has maximized both strength and defense, though its speed is slow. After reaching adulthood, most people reach advanced biological levels, while a few powerful ones reach rare levels. With a mocking grin, Li Moyu taunts Lin Zichen, questioning whether he can remain calm when the fight begins. There is a great gap between their strengths. Instead of answering, Lin Zichen surges forward and throws a punch. However, Li Moyu reacts just in time, making our boy realize that his speed is quite decent. To test him more, Zichen increases the intensity of his punch to the ordinary level, 7th speed. The difference is evident as Li Moyu couldn't dodge this time, and Lin Zichen's fist hits his enemy's face directly. Humiliated, Li Moyu complains about the sneak attack, calling it dishonorable. Ignoring the accusation, Lin Zichen figures out that his enemy's defense is exceptional compared to others at the same 6th rank. Alternatively, Li Moyu declares that he'll be more focused now so that Zichen never touches him again. Without any warning, our boy charges forward with great speed, launching relentless strikes. However, he cannot deal any significant damage to Li Moyu. Even though the beast is slower, he blocks all the attacks, as his superior defense gives him a wide margin for error. At this moment, people believe that Li Moyu would win this fight easily, because one punch from this beast will knock out Zichen. After testing Li Moyu's reaction speed, our boy leaps backward, creating a distance. Now he plans to test the final attribute strength. At the same time, the beast smirks slyly, admitting that he underestimated his enemy's speed, but scoffs at his physical strength, claiming that it is far too weak to cause any damage. Declaring that it is his turn to attack now, Li Moyu unleashes a massive punch. Everyone screams for Lin Zichen to move out of the way to dodge the attack, but our guy stands motionless. In the crowd, Chuanwu looks sorrowful, while the other reminds him to transfer 100 credits that he wagered. Back on the stage, the punch lands on Lin Zichen's face, but to everyone's surprise, something else happens. A sharp cracking sound echoes in the arena. Li Moyu drops to his knees, screams in pain, and claims that his hand is broken. The audience is confused, not understanding what just happened. Everyone is assuming that Lin Zichen probably won by chance. Towering Li Moyu, Lin Zichen analyzes the situation, realizing that the demonic-eyed Great Ape Gene fusion granted the beast so much strength that it broke his own hand. It turns out that Moyu's offensive power exceeded his own defense. Immediately, Zichen calls out for the medics, informing them that Li Moyu's right hand has suffered a comminuted fracture. Principal Yuan Dongzi requests Lin Zichen to step aside. After a brief examination, she comes to the conclusion that Moyu's entire hand is fractured. She understood that he suffered a backlash from his own strength. Quickly, Yuan retrieves a pill and feeds it to the poor beast. However, something comes to Yuan's mind. If this is really the case, how tough is Lin Zichen's face? Curious, the principal tries to probe our boy's strength using mental power, but as Lin Zichen expected, the natural camouflage concealed his true level. Yuan is pretty confused to find out that our guy's biological level is at the ordinary level, 6th rank. Yet his skin toughness far exceeds that of others at the same level. The principal reports her findings to everyone, which puts Zichen at ease since his trick fooled everyone. Consequently, Li Moyu is stunned since he is fully recovered after eating the pill. Just then, Zichen approaches his opponent, asking if his hand is completely healed. Once Li Moyu confirms it, Lin Zichen delivers a light kick, sending the poor guy flying off the ring. The beast's face turns crimson red with anger, declaring to defeat him once his gene fusion reaches a new level. Having said that, all the ordinary freshmen remind that beast that Lin Zichen can do it too. With that, the whole arena erupts with cheers, celebrating the victory of the ordinary freshmen. Suddenly, Lin Zichen leaps off the stage into the crowd. Before anyone could understand what was going on, he scooped Shen Qingqian into his arms. At that moment, Shen Qingqian's face turns red as she wonders whether our boy intends to reveal their relationship right now. Smoothly, both of them landed on the ring. Now facing the audience, Lin Zichen announces that he will be taking all the spots from 2nd to 10th. The moment the genius class hears this, they start screaming, warning our boy that he has gone way too far. All the students surge forward together, vowing to crush both Shen Qingqian and Lin Zichen. They all call Qingqian a traitor for taking her friend's side instead of the genius classes, despite being a member herself. The attackers rush from all sides, but Lin Zichen moves effortlessly. Our boy dodges all the attacks and retaliates with efficient moves. Each strike sends bodies flying to the side. On the other hand, from above, Shi Wei dives down, directly aiming her attack at poor Qingqian, calling her a traitor. The poor girl barely has a chance to react before Lin Zichen appears. In the blink of an eye, the enemy is once again knocked away while her father lets out a horrified scream for his daughter. At this point, all opponents from the genius class have been completely defeated. Now, Lin Zichen is satisfied that there shouldn't be anyone left who dares to object. At that very moment, an announcement was made about Shen Qingqian securing 2nd place in the entrance test. Lin Zichen then shifts his attention to the ordinary freshmen, informing them that he will give them all the remaining ranks from 3rd to 10th place. In return, all the academy credits awarded for those positions will belong to him. The students erupt in cheers, calling our guy to let them experience being in the top 10. By the calculation, the top 10 account for a total of 550 credits. Adding the 9 credits awarded to ordinary class freshmen, that makes 559 credits in total. Turning towards Principal Yuan, Dean Ma complains about the situation, calling it unacceptable, stating that Lin Zichen violated university rules by continuing to fight for rankings and dominate the top 10 despite already holding the freshman king title. Before his rant can continue, Chuanwu interrupts him. He challenges Dean Ma to point out any regulation that forbids hiring fighters to seize a spot in the top 10. Dean Ma tried to strike back, but he could not find a single clause to support his claim, though he insists that Lin Zichen is clearly exploiting a loophole in the rule. Principal Yuan agrees with Dean Ma, stating that his concern is valid and acknowledging that it is indeed a loophole in the rules. Though she adds it can only be fixed next year, changing it now would be unfair to the ordinary freshmen. On the flip side, the plan has been changed. Gang and Shuji have been asked to replace Li Moyu with Lin Zichen, ordering them to make our boy consume the advanced level demonic seed and bring him a member of their organization. After the entrance test ends, Chuanwu excitedly rushes towards Lin Zichen with open arms to congratulate him. Our boy sidesteps, avoiding the embrace. Instead, he asks whether the dean has forgotten his promises. Chuckling, Chuanwu pulls out a flask, explaining that it contains the 10 Qi blood pills, along with the promised triple benefits for this semester. Additionally, the dean has transferred 300 academic credits to his accounts. After all, Lin Zichen helped him win 1900 credits in the bet. With that, lowering his voice, the dean asks about Lin's actual hidden strength. Our guy reveals a partial truth, admitting that he is ordinary level, 6th rank. He has completed 1 round of skin tempering and tempered a bit of facial muscles. The answer shocks Chuanwu completely. He nearly shouts in disbelief. The dean states with absolute confidence that Lin Zichen will become the advanced level while remaining a pure human blood before he graduates. Overwhelmed with excitement, he begs our guy to stick to the pure-blooded human path to achieve success. Later that night, Lin sits alone on his bed, swallowing the Qi blood pill to test its effect. Immediately, heat surges through Zikin's body. A system notification appears, but the result is disappointing since only a minor increase of 108 points occurred. This boost is not even as good as running a few kilometers under the effect of using it or losing it. Thus, he decides to give it to Qingchan. At that moment, she walks into the room. Without wasting any time, Lin hands Qingchan the pill, asking her to have it. After having it, Qingchan's whole body feels warm, and the qi and blood inside her have become much more abundant. Smiling, Qin hands her the rest of the 8 pills, explaining that she can have them since they don't help him much. The following morning at the Tien Ren Institute, Lin Zixin arrives early and runs into Yu Yan, who is busy with her training routine. Seeing him, Yu Yan teases him for being the new king. She mentions the dean disclosing that Lin is already at ordinary tier 6 and has already grasped the basics of skin tempering. When Lin confirms that it is true, Yu Yan's eyes light up as she rushes towards him while praising him because the Tien Ren Pavilion will improve as he has joined them. Soon after, Zixin gets busy with his research since Chuanwu and Yi Yan failed to comprehend the aperture opening chapter of the blood tempering. With the heavy wisdom root biological attribute boosting him, research like this is easy for him. His concentration is broken when Yu Yan approaches him again. She informs him that the students' union members are waiting for him outside the entrance of the research institute, as they want him to join because he did so well yesterday. Without hesitation, Lin dismisses the idea, but the moment he gets to know that the union members receive monthly credit allowances, his expression changes immediately. Without another word, our guy meets the student union. It is Zhou Shuihong, the student union president, politely greeting Lin and inviting him formally to join the union as a presidential candidate, groomed to become the future president. With that, he explains the benefits of joining. The students' union includes special meals for all 3 daily meals, and he'd take part in both big and small decisions across the university, and receive monthly credit allowances. Tempted by the practical advantages, Lin Zikin agrees without much hesitation. However, the president puts a condition, mentioning that Zikin has to follow the gene fusion path, or else even the greatest talent will eventually be trapped at the ordinary level. Zhou sees Yi Yan and Dean Liu Chuanwu as living examples of those who refuse that path. Calmly, Lin asks if it is necessary to follow the gene fusion path in order to join the student union. When Zhou confirms that it is mandatory, our boy walks away, leaving the entire group stunned. While walking off, he compared the benefits offered by the student council with what he is already receiving from the Tien Ren Pavilion's benefits. Behind the student union members, mocks his decision, calling him arrogant for sticking to the pure-blood human path. They all are damn sure that Lin will be regretting his decision sooner or later. The union members told Zhou that the Tien Ren Pavilion was definitely brainwashing people. Ignoring it, the president decides to recruit other geniuses instead, as he is confident that a genius with no future is just trash. Afterwards, Lin Zichen spills the whole tea to Yu Yan, who is furious about the narrow-mindedness of the Union Society. Their conversation is interrupted by the sudden arrival of Dean Chuanwu, who looks completely drained. Immediately, Yu Yan praises him for his magnanimity, for working day and night for the sake of the development of the pure-blooded human path. She even mentioned him selling his body to secure funding. Irritated, Dean Liu snaps back, asking if she really needed to include stuff like the dean selling his body. He then turns to Zikin, suggesting he stay away from women, calling them a distraction. With that, the dean brings up something different, informing our guy that the university provides housing for the families of talented students and can even arrange internal jobs, which means Lin Zichen can bring his parents to live here. Having said that, Lin states he will discuss this with his parents over the weekend. Additionally, the dean even enabled Zichen's permission to accept university-issued missions. With his current strength, there is no need to wait until the second semester. Thus, he can start doing missions immediately and earn credits. Upon hearing this, Yu Yan suggests he join her as she goes off campus every week to complete missions and convert them into credits. After some time, she will accept a mutant beast hunting mission and bring Lin along to broaden his horizons. Being okay with it, our guy checks the mission available on the university app. Upon checking it out, Lin finds out that the missions issued by the university are all trivial errands, and most of them are worth 1 or 2 credits. Although the rewards are low, the difficulty is also low, which makes the mission very popular. Curious, our hero searches if there are any student-posted missions worth considering. To his surprise, he finds a mission where they have to recruit 1 gene fusioner as a sparring partner. Though the person should be female, fair-skinned, attractive, and preferably beast-eared. The reward is 5 credits per month. Alternatively, the off-campus missions have high credits, but the location is far away. However, the off-campus missions involve capturing robbery suspects or hunting mutant beasts. Exactly the kind of missions Lin prefers. Just then, Lin accepts a mission of capturing a female gene fusion who went berserk, a Catwoman whose overall strength is of the rank of an ordinary-level, shadow-type fusioner, and the reward is 50 credits. At that moment, Yu Yan suddenly leaned in close, being shocked that he accepted the Catwoman mission, and requested him to let her join the mission as well. Confused, Lin Zikin wonders aloud how she knows. Yu Yan explains that the mission details page displays the name of everyone who has accepted the mission. Checking his phone, Lin finds out 28 people have already accepted the mission, including Ma Shiwei, who is only at the ordinary level, 5th rank. He finds it strange that this girl dared to accept this mission but thinks that probably she has a backup. Right then, our boy announces that he is heading back for lunch. On his way back home, Lin senses someone following him. With the help of his danger sense ability, he finds out that the stalker is a 7th rank ordinary level. In that instant, a simp steps out from behind, claiming that our boy is deliberately targeting someone sweet like Shi Wei. He angrily asks if Lin has some grudge over Wei now that he is competing with her for the same off-campus mission. The man continues ranting, calling Lin a bully who hits women. Once the shouting pauses, our guy asks if Dean Ma or Wei sent him here. The man immediately denies it, claiming he came on his own. Realizing he is dealing with someone foolish, Lin Zichen starts walking away. Enraged, the simp screams at our guy to stop. Irritated, he turns around and delivers a punch to the foolish guy. The man who is all bark and no bite collapses on the ground. Later that day, Lin Zichen reaches his apartment. From the kitchen, Qingchan tells him to get ready for dinner. She even mentions that the 4.5 kilos undead slug mutant beat the meat he ordered from the credits, which just arrived and is in the fridge. Approaching the fridge, Lin admits that at first he wanted to buy the entire batch and unlock the codex right away, but that would have drawn too much attention. Placing his hands on the undead slugs, he absorbed a large amount of their life essence. Now the undead slug's codex is 10%. With that, he begins throwing it away, but Qingchan notices him doing it. Confused, she asks what is wrong. Our boy explains that it has already been utilized and is of no use now, as he absorbed all the life essence from it. At first, Qingchan didn't understand much about it. Thus, Lin explains that he can absorb life essence within mutant beast meat and gain some of that mutant beast's abilities. That being said, Qingchan is taken aback, and now she understands why our boy is not in agreement with the gene fusion oath. With a power like this, there is no need to undergo gene fusion at all. While having food, they decide to bring their parents here as well, since Dean Chuanwu informed Lin that he had permission to bring his parents to settle in and arrange jobs for talented students. During the meal, Qingchan mentions that an exciting duel will take place in the gymnasium this afternoon around 3. It is a challenge between 9th-ranked mechanical students and 8th-ranked gene fusion. Upon hearing it, both of them plan to go there. At the university gymnasium, a massive crowd has already gathered. Besides instructors and students, people from the Mecha Deity group have also arrived. On the second floor, the prodigy cyborg that everyone knows from online is present. Meanwhile, at the center of the arena, 2 people are already ready to fight. Curious, Qingchan asks our boy who is stronger, the Kyoto genius or the mechanical genius. Right now, Lin is not that sure. If the 8th-ranked gene fusion student wins, then Kyoto University's prodigy is stronger. But if the 9th-ranked mechanical student wins, then the female cyborg prodigy is stronger. Therefore, all of this doubt will be cleared once the duel begins. Moments later, an announcement is made about the start of the duel. The cyborg reacts instantly, and mechanical wings open from its back. From above, the cyborg unleashes tons of missiles, which are aimed directly at the beast. The beast gene infuser crosses his arms, trying to protect himself from the missiles, leaving no room to counterattack. As the dust settles, everyone notices the mechanical student and gets shocked because he is now switching to melee mode. Summoning his remaining strength, the gene infuser charged forward to take his revenge. The beast even throws a punch, but it doesn't do much since the cyborg dodges and retaliates. The force sends the gene infuser flying backwards as he collapses on the ground eventually. Just like that, the cyborg wins the match. In another environment, Principal Yuan reviews a report by her assistant. Number 36 has been unusually quiet for past few months, and it is unclear whether the other side has abandoned this passage or if there is a bigger plot. The principal requests an update on Gan Shui. The report states that the girl has adapted extremely well, and her growth is astonishingly fast, as she is already close to reaching the advanced level, 2nd rank. Curious, the woman giving updates asks about Gan Shui. She finds her pretty strange since she doesn't seem like she is an earthling. Yuan reminds the subordinate to not speak out of line. With that, she ends the call due to the fact that she needs to oversee a student coordination match here. When Dogzi turns towards the live feed showing the result of the duel, noticing the cyborg's tactics, she realizes that the mechanical deity group is stronger than expected. It is true that Cyborg has greater versatility, but no matter how powerful mechanical modification is, they cannot enter the origin land since all electronic machinery stops working there. Quietly, she turns off the monitor, coming to the conclusion that even the strongest cyborg would be useless at such a place. Sometime later, Lin Zichen and Qingchan returned from a weekend visit to their parents. The 2 families had dinner as they discussed with their parents the idea of having them move to live near the university, and they all agreed. Now it is time to complete the Catwoman mission. Lin Zichen walks through the streets of the red light district while reviewing the mission. This Catwoman usually appears in Shanghai City's red light area, where she seduces male targets before killing them. This woman is extremely skilled in disguise, cunning, and adept at using various drugs. It was understandable that no one was able to complete this task, as the area is vast. Hence, our boy decides to do a wide search using his Sky Eye and Danger Sense biological attributes. As he begins his task, people surrounding him get scared by his gaze. A thug steps in, angrily demanding to know what Lin was staring at. Without hesitation, Lin releases his biological pressure. The invisible force slams into the man. As a result, the thug collapses. After observing for a while, Lee gets satisfied that there is nothing suspicious here. Thus, he decides to check the next red light district. Just as he turns away, a familiar presence catches his attention. Upon looking, he finds out that it is Shi Wei, with 2 senior students at the ordinary level, 7th rank. They are here probably to assist her with the Catwoman mission. Before he could react further, Wei and her female companion noticed him as well. Annoyed, they decide to stay far from him. Witnessing this, our poor guy gets stunned. Walking away, the trio plans to find Catwoman before Lin Zichen does so, that they win. The male companion assures them to leave it to him, as he is fused with demon hound genes, and his sense of smell is insanely sharp. Moments later, the male companion catches the Catwoman's scent. Pointing across the street, he confirms that the target is inside the bar. Determined not to lose, Shi Wei and her companions rush towards the location, eager to drag the target right in front of Lin Zichen to make him angry. The 3 of them make their way through the crowd. Just then, the male companion points at the girl sitting at the corner, using her phone. This girl looks like an ordinary college student, because of which everyone is unsure. However, the male companion is sure of it, as the scent coming from her is exactly the same as what he smelled on Catwoman's personal belongings at the security bureau. The guy is sure that this would happen, as this Catwoman is highly skilled at disguise. Without any warning, all 3 of them surge forward to capture the girl. Just as they close the distance, the girl looks up, with an evil grin. In an instant, the Catwoman smashes through the glass window and runs out the exit. Everyone runs after her, but she is way too fast. However, it is fine since the male companion can track her scent. Guided by the scent, the trio chased her into a narrow dead-end alley. A smirk appears on the Catwoman's face as she mocks them, asking whether the 3 of them truly believed they could catch her if she had been serious about escaping. Suddenly, she releases her biological pressure, clarifying that the most skilled hunters are often her prey. The Catwoman has completely transformed, leaving the trio frozen. In that moment, they realize that she is actually at the ordinary level, 9th rank, and has been hiding her true strength. In the alley, the trio are now running for their lives, as they have come to the conclusion that this mission is impossible. Behind them, the Catwoman suggests stopping running, as they won't be able to escape this easily. Leaping up, the evil woman gets ahead of them and blocks the male companion's path. She admits how he caught her attention the moment he entered the bar. Having no choice, Wei throws fumes in the alley. Without wasting any time, once again everyone starts running again due to the fact that these fumes will be dulling her senses. Exhausted, the trio finally arrives at the crowded street. The male companion can't believe what just happened. He even suggests calling Dean Ma immediately to fix the Catwoman's info immediately, because this is very dangerous. Agreeing with him, Wei pulls out her phone to call her dad, but this is when she remembers that Lin has also accepted the mission, which means he might run into that evil as well. Worried, she thinks of a way to contact him and decides to call Ching-chan so that she can warn our boy, or else he will definitely die. Back at the alley, the Catwoman is annoyed that her prey ran away. Just as the dust settles, she notices someone else with her. On the other end, Lin Zichen is standing calmly. The Catwoman is amused, since what looked like a loss has turned out to be a blessing. The Catwoman can't help but laugh at Lin's bad luck. Deciding that this is her new prey, the Catwoman charges forward. Lin notes that his target is just at an ordinary level, 9th rank. With that, our boy also rushes to meet her attack and instantly dodges it. The Catgirl is baffled, wondering how her prey could be faster than her. Before she can react, Lin unleashes a powerful flaming punch, slamming her into the wall. Kneeling injured, the Catwoman grits her teeth while our guy is disappointed that his target is barely hurt, even after he used 50% of his strength. At the same time, the Catwoman is confused, unable to understand how someone so young can be this strong without undergoing gene fusion. Realizing that this would be suicide if she continues to fight, she turns back and starts running. But to her shock, Lin matches her speed, chasing after her. To not take any risks, our boy announces at his full strength. He kicks her as hard as he can, which sends her crashing into another wall, snapping her neck. Noticing that she is alive, our boy unleashes a relentless kick. Yet, he can sense that she is still alive, but her biologic pressure is getting weaker. Thus, he picks up a rock, deciding to kill her quickly before she recovers. But just as he is about to strike, he looks up surprised. An insane amount of aura envelopes the girl. It turns out that her biological pressure just increases. At the brink of death, the Catwoman triggers a blood burst, and Lin can sense that she is about to reach an advanced level. The newly transformed and livid Catwoman demands to know who Lin is. At this point, she thinks about how activating her Shadow Knight cat gene saved her life and made her stronger, but it will also make her vulnerable to gene backlash from mutant beasts. Smiling, Lin casually apologizes, pretending that he mistook her for someone else. Watching him leave, the Catwoman decides to leave, because for her, staying alive matters the most. However, the Catwoman hears a voice. Confused, she stops to look back, but this was her biggest mistake. Within seconds, a metal pipe pierces her forehead, pinning her against the wall. Additionally, Lin charges forward with another pipe and stabs her chest. Standing in front of the lifeless Catwoman, our guy senses the Catwoman's biological pressure completely disappearing. Tossing the bloody pipe aside, Lin begins to leave as he has confirmed that this time his target is truly dead. After killing the Catwoman, Li Zichen takes a photo of her and uploads it to the university app as proof of completing the mission. He then calls the public security department to clean up the mess and tells them the address. After that, our hero begins absorbing the Shadow Knight Cat's genes. As he absorbs them, he's surprised to see the codex boost to 36% and thinks it's probably because of the severe gene backlash that caused a high concentration of Shadow Knight Cat genes in her body. Meanwhile, Wei Wei calls her dad to complain about how the Catwoman mission almost got her killed because of the false description on the app, as the Catwoman was not an ordinary level 6, but a level 9 instead. Wei Wei asks for all the details so he can talk to the director in charge of the mission system. After explaining everything, Wei Wei decides to return to the university, fearing that the Catwoman might come after them for revenge. But then, her friend shows her a photo of Li Zichen completing the mission. Wei Wei is surprised, wondering how a freshman could defeat a 9th rank. After the weekend ended, Li Zichen and Han Han return to the university dormitory together. Our hero sees the reward credited to his account, but he's surprised to see the amount is higher than what was mentioned. The description shows that the original 50 points were increased to 200, with an additional 100 points as compensation for incorrect information. Han Han feels relieved that her friend is strong because the university app is really unreliable, and Li Zichen agrees that he also needs to be more cautious. He offers to take Han Han with him on a suitable mission so that she can have some real combat experience, and Han Han jumps in excitement. Next, our hero proceeds to place an order for 45 kilos of undead slug mutant meat to unlock the codex. He used to worry about drawing attention, but now it doesn't matter. The mutant beast meat is extremely nutritious and helps with evolution, which Han Han's weak body needs a lot of. He offers to place an order for her too and asks her what she wants. Han Han starts looking through the items and decides on some fierce great eagle meat. 1 credit gets them 2.5 kilos, and they can store it in the fridge for days. Our hero proceeds to order it, but Han Han stops him because she wants to order it with the 90 credits he gave her. While our hero and his friend are eating their meal, the doorbell rings, and he's surprised to see his order delivered so fast. He gives her a batch of great eagle meat to put in the fridge first, and starts absorbing the other. As Li Zichen absorbs the meat, he unlocks 100% of the undead slug's codex. When he first saw the undead slug, he was impressed by its self-healing speed after seeing how it fully healed in seconds. Now, our hero has unlocked the undead slug's codex and obtained its biological attribute, rapid regeneration. He's amazed to see the stats of his ability and proceeds to test its effectiveness. He cuts his hand, and to his surprise, the bleeding stops, and the wound fully heals in just a few seconds. With this rapid regeneration, as long as our hero is not dead and still has breath and some energy left, he can repeatedly recover to full health. Right then, someone knocks at the door. Li Zichen thinks Han Han ordered something, but when he opens the door, he's surprised to see Wei Wei. Wei Wei is curious to know how Li Zichen finished the Catwoman mission and asks him how he did it, but our hero refuses to talk about it. Wei Wei quietly accepts it and walks back out. Han Han invites her in to have some tea from the leaves she brought from her mom, but Wei Wei declines. After she leaves, Han Han tells her friend that she thinks Wei Wei is a good person and even messaged her to check up when she found out the Catwoman intel was wrong. She asks our friend to hang out with her more in the future, and he agrees to invite her sometime. Meanwhile, Lu gossips about how Ma went to confront Director He and how they started arguing and turned it into a full-on fight. It was because of the wrong info, because Ma's daughter accepted the mission and the target's biological ranking nearly got her killed. Yu Yuan, too, heard about how the description showed target level 6 when it was actually 9. However, Li Zichen is the same level as Wei Wei, and he still completed the mission. His mentors wonder how he did it, thinking it was a trap or a team-up with someone strong. Our hero casually answers that it was pure physical strength, without a team-up or traps. Yu Yan and Liu are shocked, now questioning his true strength and refuse to believe it. By now, our hero has realized that they are decent people, so telling them about his actual body tempering progress and biological level will bring more benefits, and they can even help him research the aperture opening issue. So he decides to reveal the truth. Li Zichen reveals that his true strength is already at ordinary level 9. He completed his first round of body tempering and is currently in the process of completing the second round of skin tempering. Liu is shocked to hear the truth, but then he cries out in joy that his years of persistence have finally paid off. He believes that with our hero, the pure-blooded path will be successful, and his name and the name of the Tien Ren Pavilion will echo across the world. Liu starts ranting about how he has dedicated years of his life and sacrificed everything for the pure-blooded human path without any real breakthrough. But now, with his disciple, he can feel that the pure-blooded human path will finally become humanity's strongest hope. Seeing our hero's extraordinary physical talent would have made Liu think that he was one of the extraordinary beings from the Origin Land if he had any traces of Origin energy in his body. Our hero is shocked, and Liu explains that if there are mutant beasts in this world, it's natural that extraordinary beings exist as well. But these beings usually reside in the origin land and not on Earth, so it's impossible to encounter them. Yu Yuan is jealous that Liu never told her despite being at the pavilion for years. Liu further explains that origin energy is a unique form of energy exclusive to origin land beings, similar to Q1 and blood or mental power, but he can't tell its effects or how it's used because he has only encountered 2 extraordinary beings in his life. Yu Yin thinks the Dean is boasting because he's been stuck at ordinary level 9 and couldn't have encountered them if he can't even enter the origin land. Our hero is surprised to hear that entering the origin land has a biological level requirement. It's a rule set by the higher-ups that only those at the advanced level or above can enter to avoid anyone from becoming cannon fodder. However, Liu didn't say anything about encountering the extraordinary beings in the origin land. He met them on Earth. One was a female disciple that his ex-wife took in 10 years ago, and the other one was encountered in a mysterious ancient ruin where he found the blood tempering technique. Everything that Liu told his disciples is top secret, and he forbids them from telling anyone else. He asks Li Zichen to keep his strength a secret for now, so that he doesn't draw the attention of the heretic cults, because they have eyes and hands everywhere. If our hero still wants to accept missions that match his real strength to earn credits, he can use Yu Yuan's account since she's also at ordinary level 9, allowing him to fight freely without worrying about exposing himself. Our hero wants to know more about the origin land, but everything related to it is classified, and even the Dean doesn't know much about it. Even so, knowing about it before reaching an advanced level is useless anyway. All Liu tells him is that most of the beings inside the origin land are enemies, always trying to find a way to invade Earth. As for the motive, some of the experts believe that Earth has something that the monsters desperately want. Right then, the Dean's phone starts ringing, and he leaves, saying an old friend has invited him for dinner. After the Dean leaves, Yu Yuan asks our hero how he can hide his biological level and body tempering so well that not even the Dean and Principal Yuan could see through it. Li Zichen refuses to talk about it because he doesn't want anyone knowing about his system. Yu Yuan acts all cutesy and tries to convince him, and even offers to tell him one of her secrets, but our hero still declines. Yu Yuan gives up on convincing him and instead challenges him to a friendly spar since they're both the same level. Our hero agrees because sparring against someone with the same level as him will help him sharpen his combat skills. Yu Yuan's body tempering has also reached the second round of skin, flesh, and bone, with 20% progress, so she dares his opponent to try his best. The fight begins, and Yu Yuan allows her opponent to go first to see how strong his strikes are. Li Zichen takes a leap forward and lands a kick in her abdomen. As Yu Yuan takes the hit, she's shocked to see his strength. Our hero has only completed the first round of body tempering, and yet he can injure someone who has reached the second round of muscle tempering. Yu Yuan realizes that her opponent will surpass her soon enough. But even so, she decides to take advantage of the fact that her opponent is still weaker than her and shows off hard while she still can. She shows disappointment in Li Zichen's attack and tells him to aim to injure the enemy. She teaches him that real combat is a life and death situation, and he should aim for her vital points. The fight begins again, and Yu Yuan dares her opponent to last 5 minutes against her. Our hero takes a leap and begs his senior to go easy on him. After exchanging a few blows, Yu Yuan is surprised to see how her opponent is going toe-to-toe with her and thinks that she's going to lose. As she swings her fist, our hero decides that it's time to pretend to lose. He takes the hit to the face and gets knocked out on purpose. Yu Yuan helps our hero get back up and compliments his strength. From how he forced her to use 99% of her strength for a close win, it makes her think that he'll definitely surpass her in a year. Having completed the first round of body tempering, our hero can start attempting to open his apertures now, and Yu Yuan offers to teach him the latest method she's researched. The two sit down to practice the technique, and Yu Yuan explains that a human body has a total of 366 acupoints spread throughout the body. According to the blood tempering technique, the 4 apertures located around the heart are the easiest to open. The method involves first sensing the 4 apertures surrounding the heart, and then channeling Q1 in blood to strike them at a frequency of 10 impacts per second. The stronger the impact, the better, but our hero needs to be careful to not injure his heart. Li Zichen starts trying the method, but it becomes too painful for him, and he fails. Yu Yuan advises him to not rush because his body might not be strong enough, or her method could be wrong. Meanwhile, at the Liu family ancestral residence basement, Liu informs the pavilion master about the peerless genius who has the potential to open apertures. He feels confident that our hero will be able to break through the limits of the ordinary level as a pure-blooded human and evolve into an advanced, rare, or even epic level being. At that time, the pavilion master will be able to rely on Li Zichen to supply him with Q1 and blood every day to sustain his life and leave the coffin. Liu tells her that with her powerful protection and support, she and the genius will lead the Tien Ren Pavilion forward and lift up humanity. Liu is confused, wondering why he hasn't received any response, but then he gets a one-word reply. He realizes that it means the pavilion master has drained her day's worth of energy. She's growing weaker with each passing day, and Liu hopes that Li Zichen can evolve into an advanced being before she falls. On the other hand, Li Zichen gets home, bringing groceries to cook, but Han Han decides to tell him something. Her master wants her to undergo gene fusion ahead of schedule and said she should fuse with the azure jellyfish's genes because they suit her well. Our hero is surprised because the azure jellyfish is a low-level mutant beast with adults averaging around ordinary level 7. But the powerful jellyfish king can evolve into the advanced level. The defining trait of the beast is that it surpasses the mental power of other mutant beasts at the same level and can control dozens of cubic meters of seawater with just a faint trace of mental power. So, Li Zichen tells his friend to just follow her master's advice, but the master told her she wants her to fuse with the jellyfish king's genes, whose biological level is at the advanced level. She worries that her body is weak and might end up going berserk if she can't handle the mutation. Our hero's eyes light up in excitement because the azure jellyfish genes are already extremely rare, let alone in 1 in 10,000 jellyfish king variants, and he wishes that he had such a generous master. He assures his friend that the jellyfish mutant beasts have a high compatibility with the human body, and her gene fusion compatibility is at 21%, so fusing with an advanced level mutant beast's genes is easily manageable. However, Han Han worries about side effects. She might lose reproductive capability and display some external beast traits, but she can use the eggs she has frozen in the future. The appearance changes are concealable if she puts the mutant beast genes into a dormant state. Some mutant beast traits even enhance appearance, such as cat ear girls or foxtail girls. Han Han gets excited thinking about the kinds of traits she'd show and wonders if she'd be even prettier. She shows our hero a picture of the azure jellyfish to show how beautiful it is. Han Han reveals that the video was taken by her master without any equipment. She just dove 10,000 meters into the deep sea with her bare body. Li Zichen thinks that her master must be at least a rare level, and Han Han wonders if she can reach that too. With her 21% compatibility, Li Zichen believes she could even reach the epic level. However, one's physical constitution and evolutionary resources matter as well, but our hero assures her that her constitution is already extraordinary. She's naturally attuned to water, so if she takes the water attribute gene fusion, she can definitely surpass her master. As for the resources, Li Zichen assures her that he'll work hard for her and get the money. Han Han finally feels reassured, and to satisfy him, she asks him about the color of stockings he prefers. Han Han leaves to attend her class, and Li Zichen skips the Pure Human Research Institute to train at home by himself. He first looks through the news and finds some headlines about mysterious unknown plants with various bizarre shapes appearing throughout Shanghai City. The nature of the plants is still unclear, and the public is advised to stay away from them. Our hero recognizes the plants looking similar to the ones in the background of Han Han's senior's photo and wonders if they're from the origin land. Thinking about how the plants could have appeared on Earth makes our hero wonder if it's the divine plant cult's doing, and he's annoyed that the human traders keep coming up. However, Li Zichen still needs to increase his strength as quickly as possible. He's consuming Q1 and blood too fast after the second round of body tempering and can barely keep up. He starts looking for some pills to quickly restore Q1 and blood and finds the blood restoration pill. Made from expensive century-old medicinal herbs, it recovers blood and Q1, depending on the biological level. The higher the level, the slower the recovery. After ordering the pills and having unlocked the Undead Slug Codex, Li Zichen decides to look for the next Mutant Beast Codex. He finds the Myriad Poison Mongoose, which isn't actually poisonous at all. Instead, it eats poisonous beasts and has a very strong resistance against poison. Our hero thinks that unlocking its codex might grant him poison-resisting biological attributes to avoid poison exposure. But with only 200 credits left, he buys only half a kilo to start the codex progress. Our hero then starts training because he thinks he can't break through the apertures yet, because his physical strength is insufficient. He continues pushing forward with the second round of skin tempering for 2 hours. But then, he gets exhausted because his Q1 and blood are consumed too quickly. He looks through the fridge to eat something and recover his energy, and suddenly the doorbell rings. Li Zichen opens the door and sees the delivery service with 2 packages he ordered. The post girl trips and drops the boxes, but our hero dives and catches them before they fall. Li Zichen tries out the blood restoration pills first. A bunch of pills in, his head stops spinning, and his arms and legs feel solid again, which is expected of a luxury pill that costs 1 credit each. He then absorbs the Myriad Poison Mongoose's life essence, and the codex progresses 1%. With the blood restoration pill, the recovery time of Q1 and blood is drastically shortened, increasing the efficiency of body tempering again. He begins training again, realizing that using credits for faster strength gains is worth it. A while later, Han Han returns back home and brings Chu Xin with her. Chu Xin is amazed to see their luxurious apartment and mentions how she has to squeeze in with a roommate at the dorm. Li Zichen offers her to move into the room he has at the martial arts college, but Chu Xin enjoys living with her roommate. She reveals that she came to complain about how outrageous the seniors at the school are. No one dares to bully the geniuses, but ordinary situations are constantly crushed. The other day, a senior came to Chu Xin's dorm and liked her cosmetics. She just took them, saying she was borrowing them. Another guy in her class got his century-old blood ginseng snatched. When they went to complain to the student union, they just said the university follows the survival of the fittest and told them to beat the seniors themselves. but the freshmen are no match for the seniors, which shows it's a favoritism towards the seniors. Our hero and his friend tell Chuckson to just tell them, and they'll take care of the seniors. Suddenly, everything starts rumbling in an earthquake. Our hero gets a bad feeling and he activates his danger sense, but it doesn't react very strongly. Meanwhile, a masked man tells the Divine Envoy that he's going to push himself to reach the advanced level and asks for some evolutionary resources. The Divine Envoy rewards him with an enchanting demon flower. However, the flower has an aphrodisiac effect, so he suggests having a woman by his side. The masked man starts thanking his lord and tells him that he's arranged for someone to feed an advanced level demonic seed to someone with absurd physical talent. The Divine Envoy shows no care about it because the true geniuses are all in the origin land. Right then, the Divine Envoy gets a message that the same nexus point has been found and identical biological coordinates have been set, and is asked to personally go and activate the connection. Upon receiving the message, the Divine Envoy leaves and threatens to replace his subordinate if he fails to make Li Zikin consume the advanced level demonic seed in 3 days. When Xiao and Han Han walk out, they're interrupted by 2 guys who ask for our hero's help with a third-year senior who's been bothering them. They know that the senior won't dare offend the freshman champion of the year. The guys offer our hero spirit fruits that can enhance beauty, calm the mind, refresh the brain, replenish blood, and boost yang vitality. They hand over all of the fruits they got from their family and ask our hero for help. The senior is an ordinary level 6th rank, which isn't a problem for Li Zichen, so he asks them to meet him at the Pure Human Research Institute entrance at 5:30. The guys leave happily, thanking their classmate. Han Han hurries our hero to open the bag because she's never eaten spirit fruits before. Our hero picks up a small one for her because she can't finish the big ones. When Han Han takes a look at the fruits, they look gross, as if they've gone bad. Our hero takes a look at the fruits, and his danger sense is triggered, showing that it's a demonic goo seed tree. Li Zichen hurriedly jumps in front of his classmates, stops them in their tracks, and tells Han Han to call her master. Yen immediately flies in. Our hero shows her the spirit fruits and tells her that he suspects they might be related to the divine plant cult. Yuan explains that the seed comes from a mutant tree, and anyone who consumes it will be completely enslaved by the tree, losing all their control. It's used by the divine plant cult to force people to join them. Principal Yuan uses her water magic and takes the students away for investigation. The guys struggle to speak, and Yuan tells our hero to always be on guard because the cults have infiltrated every place. After Yuan flies away, Han Han is left amazed by her power to levitate objects and fly away. Seeing how Lu Gang and Wang Shuji tried to harm our hero, he knows he needs to be more careful. The next day, the investigation results on Lu Gang and Wang Shujie came out, confirming that they were members of the divine plant cult. It was revealed that a safety officer forced them to consume demonic seeds during the practical assessment. As a punishment, they were both expelled from university, facing criminal charges. Han Han and Fusion and our hero's parents moved near the university. With the support of blood restoration pills, Li Zichen successfully completed the 2nd round of skin tempering, and his 2nd round of flesh tempering has progressed to 40%. The day of Han Han's gene fusion has finally arrived. She felt a little nervous and brought her friend with her. Yuan explains that the azure jellyfish is a water attribute mutant beast and tells Han Han to drink some water first because higher water content makes the fusion easier. Han Han continues drinking water until she can't drink more. Her master tells her to lie down and explains that she'll be injecting the Azure Jellyfish King's genes directly into her heart. She uses her mental power to numb Han Han's pain receptors to stop her from feeling anything. However, the pain will intensify once the gene fusion begins, and if it becomes unbearable, Han Han can scream. The principal begins injecting the gene. The fusion process requires precise monitoring equipment to constantly monitor the subject's physical data changes in real time, but with Yuan's overwhelming mental power, it's completely unnecessary. The genes are fully injected, and once the fusion begins, Han Han is going to feel intense pain, so her master tells her to prepare mentally. 2 minutes later, Han Han still doesn't feel anything. Our hero is confused, wondering if something went wrong with fusion, and Yuan raises the question, worrying that the gene fusion might have failed. Han Han couldn't successfully fuse with the Blue Jellyfish King gene, but it's not a complete failure. Normally, if the beast gene injected into the heart causes no severe rejection reaction, then with the aid of various drugs and the gene reagent, one's own genes are quickly merged with the exotic beast genes on their own, gaining some of the exotic beast's abilities. Red are the Jellyfish King genes and blue, Han Han's genes. But Han Han's situation is strange. The injected jellyfish genes didn't cause any rejection reaction, but they didn't fuse either. Yuan's spiritual perception sensed that Han Han's genes have a self-awareness. They surrounded the invading blue jellyfish king genes, restricting their freedom. In that time, some genes wanted to instinctively fuse, and as a result, they were strangled by Han Han's genes, turning them into fragments and absorbing them as nutrients. In the current situation, blue jellyfish king genes are all restricted in freedom, which is something Yuan has never encountered. Suddenly, Han Han's hair starts changing color. Principal Yuan is shocked because it's one of the traits expressed by blue jellyfish genes, so if it didn't fuse, her hair shouldn't change color. Han Han feels something extra inside her body. She can sense it and even control it. Yan jumps hearing that because it's a sign of gene fusion and tries probing with spiritual power again to see if she missed something. She asks her disciple to try her spiritual power and control the blue jellyfish to make it go dormant. Han Han does as her master told her and tries to control the jellyfish genes. Wen then asks her to make it express itself again, and her hair turns blue again. She's surprised to see the progress because the geniuses Li Moyu and Wei Wei mastered this method half a month after gene fusion, and Han Han has mastered it in an instant. Wen tells her disciple that there's good news and bad news. Han Han chooses bad news first, and she learns that she can never be a gene fusion user. But the good news is that she's a higher level than a gene fusion user. She can do what the gene fusion users can do and can do it better. Han Han's genes can enslave, and she can use the beast gene's abilities without fusing with them. On top of that, she doesn't have to worry about the backlash about the beast gene because she's still a pure-blooded human. For now, there's no pure-blooded human who has broken past the limit of ordinary biology and evolved into an advanced creature, and Han Han is likely to be the first person to evolve into an advanced creature as a pure-blooded human. Yuan believes that if it's possible at all, then her disciple has to be the first person to do so. Although Han Han is not a gene fusion user, her main method of improving strength is still inseparable from the exotic beast genes. So, she's still a gene fusion user on the surface and cannot tell anyone this secret. As for the gene enslavement ability, it still needs a lot of research, so Yuan asks her disciple to come to her office at 8 to study it. Half a month later, while our hero is training, his friend excitedly calls him and shows him how she can control water with spiritual power. She starts playing with it, controlling water smoothly like an expert. Even more so, she can control the vitality in other people's bodies. Mildly, it can cause the opponent's blood to flow chaotically, and severely, it can make them explode and die. Our hero realizes that this means that Han Han should also be able to control her own vitality to temper her body. But Yuan told her that her vitality, intensity, and physical talent are too weak to take the pure-blood human path. Li Zichen reassures her that she's special and can do things that ordinary people can't, so she might be able to do it if he teaches her. Han Han starts blushing, thinking he's confessing to her, and feels confident that she can use vitality to temper her body. So, our hero started teaching his friend how to control her own vitality to temper her body for a while. After some training, Han Han is surprised to see that the blood tempering worked. Our hero only wanted her to try and didn't expect it to succeed. Han Han's biological rank is only ordinary rank 2, and she can still cultivate the blood tempering art that requires rank 4 vitality intensity. Han Han feels joyful that she can enslave beast genes to obtain beast abilities, while our hero can devour beast meat to obtain their abilities. They both can walk the pure-blood human path, making them the true double pride. In less than half a month, Han Han followed Li Zichen in cultivating the blood tempering art and completed 1 skin tempering. Her biological level evolved directly from ordinary rank 2 to 3. Li Zichen decides that it's time to take her into real combat so she can toughen up and decides on a capture mission against drug dealers. Inside the Shanghai City Public Security Headquarters, Captain Fang introduces the 2 university students, saying that they are the ones who accepted an off-campus mission and are here to assist on a case with them. The silent acknowledgement pleases Zichen as Fang continues introducing him as the famous second highest scorer in the college entrance exam of the Nanjiang province. The silent appraisal turns into surprise as the other subordinates start praising him. Fang turns to them and adds how he also has a godson who is also a freshman at their university, and he entered as the provincial top scorer. Now he is known as a genius of his class. He says that it's a pity Zichen can't join the genius class as well, just like his godson, even with all his immense talent, since he has already joined the Tien Ren Pavilion. He advises Zichen to leave the pavilion and transfer to the genius class while he still can, but Zichen stands still, taking no part in his advice. Moving on, Fang informs them that his godson is also invited to tonight's operation to assist with them, so Zichen should take a chance to become friends with him. If any seniors give him a hard time, his godson will be able to handle them. Just then, Jean enters the room, passing the 2 students, and makes his way toward his godfather. The room lights up with hushed murmurs again, saying that Fang is lucky to have a godson who possesses an extraordinary aura, because Jian is the provincial top scorer and now he is bound to rise in power at the headquarters. Fang smiles at him, asking if it's true that he reached the ordinary level, 5th rank, just a few days ago. Jian proudly tells him that it's nothing. Fang tells him how 2 freshmen from his university are here to join them on today's operation, and one of them is a pretty girl. Jian smiles to himself, thinking he can impress the pretty girl, but his mouth opens wide when he sees the 2 students. He understands that there is no chance of showing off in front of them. On the other side, Han Han asks if Jian is the guy who Zichen defeated instantly in the entrance test. Zichen gives a proud nod. Jian quickly sides with the students, saying that he already knows them, and that the pretty girl is the provincial top scorer who is also in his class, and the boy next to her is the provincial second highest scorer, known as the King of Shanghai University this year. He proudly tells his godfather how Zichen single-handedly defeated their genius class and also won the king title. Zichen thinks how Jian is exaggerating a little bit now, since he has to keep a low profile. Captain Fang gets amazed, thinking that maybe he underestimated Zichen before. At 11 o'clock, they reach the targeted place. The man informs them that they are right outside the drug dealer's ring and offers them bulletproof vests, but Zichen refuses, saying he does not need one. Trying to show off, Jian also refuses, thinking that he might not be as strong as Zichen, but he is still a provincial top scorer, and soon he'll show the ordinary officers that he truly belongs to the genius class. The officers burst through the building while the students follow behind. The drug dealers get into their positions and start shooting. Captain Fang screams, telling everyone to take cover. Qian wonders if it's okay to charge at them without a vest, but Ziken comes outside and starts running toward them. The drug dealers start shooting, but it does not affect him. It leaves both the officers and the criminals wondering if he is bulletproof. He charges straight at them, punching with immense strength. The criminals start yelling that they surrender, begging him not to kill them. During this chaos, a criminal tosses a grenade at them, but Ziken comes outside, thinking of leaving some criminals for Han Han to practice. He tells her that it's her turn, and the girl controls their chi through their blood. The criminals stop moving, wondering why they can't move, as the girl knocks them out. Later, an officer informs Captain Fang about an unusual box they found with seeds inside. Fang arrests the drug dealers and looks into the box, saying that these are demonic tree goo seeds, hinting that the divine plant cult is involved again. According to the dealers, 2 months ago, a masked man paid them generously to spread the seeds. Ziken examines the scene and takes his leave with Han Han, saying that he still has some work at the university, since it's best to avoid getting involved with these cults. Suddenly, he notices a rat and understands that the rat is planting a tree goo seed. He tells Han Han to inform the headmaster that the rat god cult may be colluding with the divine plant cult and is helping them spread the demonic tree goo seeds. Han Han nods as he informs Captain Fang. Half a month later, Han Han and Zichen successfully completed another mission and apprehended the armed smugglers. 3 days after that, Yan and Zichen completed another mission that was advanced level and defeated the first-rank cyborg robber. Time passed by, and before even realizing it, the first semester of Zichen's freshman year was already ending before his eyes. He sits on his bed, completing the second round of the body tempering ritual. Suddenly, Han Han jumps on him, informing him that she also successfully completed her first round of body tempering. This news surprises him as he holds her firmly, asking how she is this fast since she has only been cultivating the blood tempering technique for 3 months, and yet she is already done with the first round of body tempering. He praises her, saying that her talent far surpasses that of ordinary people. Han Han confusingly asks that, according to him, after the first round of body tempering, the biological level would increase to the ordinary level, but she is still stuck at the ordinary level. Ziken wonders if this is because Han Han's physical talent is too weak, but her control over chi and blood is exceptionally strong, so the tempering strengthened her control more than her raw body strength did. She excitedly asks if this means that she will be able to catch up to him someday in the future. Ziken only smiles at her, thinking that if she actually manages to catch up to him, it would be terrifying since he is a cheetah code user. Later, Yan asks if he knows how the apertures are supposed to open. Ziken adds that if he completes all 5 rounds of body tempering, then he will be able to open his apertures. But Yan disregards this idea because it would mean that ordinary people like her would have 0 chance of ever cultivating. That only adds more confusion to him, but Yan tells him to leave this topic since she has some juicy gossip for him that can make him happy. She starts by asking if he is aware of the chaos in their university's higher-ups' private lives, thinking that he will take interest in the gossip, but instead, Ziken asks how many credits she has stored with her now. Yan thinks for a while, replying that he used her account to complete many advanced level missions along with her, and they earned a total of 2,400 credits. He thinks that since the myriad poison mongoose meat costs 40 credits per kilogram, he would buy around 45 kilograms to fully unlock the codex. He tells Yan that he wants to buy the myriad poison mongoose meat and asks if she can buy that for him. She asks why he is suddenly buying the meat, but the boy only tells her that the explanation is confusing. Later, he stares at the box on his dorm room table, thinking how his meat arrived at the Research Institute address, but it's safe to open the box in his dorm. He absorbs the meat as his codex reaches 100%. Within seconds, the notifications indicate that he has successfully unlocked the myriad poison mongoose codex and gained the biological attribute, which is poison immunity, dramatically increasing his resistance toward poison. He quickly takes out the syringe, inserting it into himself, thinking if the neurotoxin with anesthetic effects can still affect him. 2 hours pass by and nothing happens. The neurotoxin is completely neutralized by the poison immunity. Soon after that, he goes to check with Principal Yuan for her second mutant beast injection, along with Han Han. The girl lays down as Yuan informs her that before injecting, she has to check the Azure Jellyfish King's genes to see whether they are compatible for the second mutant beast genes. After checking, she confusingly asks why her biological level jumped from ordinary level to 6th rank so quickly. Han Han tells her that she perfected the blood tempering technique, which helped with the rank jump. Wen asks how she did that. The girl replies that she used the Azure Jellyfish King's water controlling ability to manipulate chi and blood. Wen gets impressed, calling her a prodigy, and without further ado injects 5 different mutant beast genes to see if there is any limit to how many genes she can enslave or what attributes she can handle. She injects her with 1 metal attribute for hallucination ability, another metal attribute with camouflage ability, 1 earth attribute, another fire attribute, and lastly 1 water attribute with self-healing ability. Soon, the genes enter her body and are instantly killed by her own genes, only absorbing the attributes, while the genes containing infections are completely neutralized by the blood. Only the last genes of the undead slug are left untouched, which are enslaved by Han Han's genes. She tells her that so far only water attribute genes have been enslaved, suggesting that she should inject different water attributes to check the effect. They proceed with the experiment as Yuan asks how she feels after injecting all of them. Han Han tells her she feels like she has eaten way too much, saying that it does not feel quite good. Yuan concludes that among 3 water attributes, Han Han can only absorb 2 attributes at one moment. She tells her that her current physical strength is probably not high enough, or maybe her mental power isn't strong either. That's why her body is limiting only 2 water attribute mutant beast genes for now, but once she improves her strength in the future, she will be able to enslave more of them. That makes her happy as Han Han promises to train even harder. Yuan adds that the slug genes she absorbed can help her secrete a special kind of mucus. Since she was able to enslave it, the mucus should contain healing properties. Zikan helps her put her clothes back on, as Yuan informs them that this year's freshman competition has been moved up, and now it's happening in mid-January, right at the end of their semester, and ends by saying how she is excited for Han Han to show her abilities. Han Han smiles, saying that she will train even harder, but Zishan only focuses on how the freshman competition has moved up and does the same.